I feel like that was the only thing we did. I don't feel like there was some other. I mean, we got together with my family. Doesn't get together for Easter, but my wife's
kids
family
do like Easter egg hunt or something.
Yeah, they did.
Oh, okay.
But you know, like there are 5 total kids between the two families. One is like a full blown, like almost high schooler, so like not real interested in the Easter egg hunt.
Yeah.
One is like 13, 12, right? 13. So like coming up on that age where you're like lower interest. And there's our 2 kids. So like they went through the process, but like, it was relatively low key. Plus we did it inside because
the weather
was rainy and terrible. And we didn't dye eggs this year for the first time in a long time. Too expensive, I guess. I don't know.
Just go with the plastic ones or what?
Yeah, my wife or my mother-in-law, she wanted to do like they painted flower pots. And then they like planted some herbs and stuff was kind of the idea. So they just did a different craft activity this year.
Okay. Different variation of stuff. All right.
I mean, I still feel like that had to be more than the eggs. I can't.
Yeah.
Like
planting
a whole pot
plants
and the paint to plant them and the plants to go in them, the soil. I mean, at least I'll get some fresh basil this spring, which would be nice, Put that stuff in my food. You don't like fresh herbs?
You are 40 or whatever. I mean, the fact that you're excited about now I get some fresh basil. Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, man. That's what it's like to cook. I like some cilantro or basil or.
I mean,
and by the way,
as do I. Just
Have you ever purchased basil?
No.
Do you have any idea how egregiously high it's priced for what it is? You get this little clamshell package.
Mm-hmm. I know what the package looks like.
It comes with like
6 of them.
6 leaves of basil, and they want $47 for it.
Oh, okay.
And so, I'm forced to use dry basil like a peasant, and I want fresh. I want the good stuff in my pasta, and I can't afford it because it's a ludicrous price for basil. So now I can grow some. It's actually good for me. That's what this is the kind of stuff at 40 you get excited about.
We'll get back into some of the happenings in the week in regards to the draft, by the way, in about 30 minutes. There's some new rumors out there. We're going to see more of them heading into it. A couple of them don't really pertain to the Chiefs, but bigger picture, what could happen at the top end of the draft could impact your chance to win $965 at our draft party at the Landing coming up on Thursday. So we'll get there. But we do start with the Royals, who wrapped up their road trip. Thank goodness they wrapped up that road trip.
Yeah.
10 games on the road. We going in said, hey, worst case, got to go 4-6. Truly, got to go 500. They end up going 2-8 on the road. They get a win yesterday to snap the 6-game losing streak. And we will only know as time goes on this week how massive it was, but it feels like yesterday's win was massive. Stop the streak. Feel good about yourself.
Especially against Skubal.
Briefly. You do it against Skubal. Some positives out of that. We'll talk about Carlos Estevez individually a little bit. He continues to be one of the biggest bright spots on the entire team to this point in time. Now, time's going to tell. Was it a massive win or not? I mean, if they go out and do not perform well against the Rockies starting tomorrow and the Astros this weekend out of Kauffman for this homestand, then Sunday's win wasn't the start of anything. And it just was a stop the losing streak, and that's kind of it. But the win at the moment, right this second, feels like it potentially could be a massive one, and we can get into expectations for the week and everything. The Rockies are not any good. They also stink on offense as well. Something's got to give there. That seems like an opportunity to truly get right, but it's baseball, right? This is not playing a cupcake in college football week 1 of the season where you feel like it's an automatic win. This is baseball. The Rockies, even if they're going to lose 110 games, they're still going to win 50-something. So that's where things stand. But I feel like yesterday was a massive, massive win, and kind of just take a deep breath for a second.
That's what it is. We can talk about, like you said, the MJ part or all this other stuff that took place this weekend. We all thought the same thing. They lose that game on Saturday, and you're like, and your reward for a 6-game losing streak is having to face last year's Cy Young Award winner on Sunday? Well, that's a nightmare. I mean, that's just one of the worst cases scenario. And as we're going to point out, the schedule does lighten up a little based on what you had been seeing, where most of these teams are where you are. A below 500 baseball team. They're in that similar area, that same spot where at least you can contend with it. Yeah, I always say it's a little too much to just straight up ask for a sweep. But if you win against Skubal and then at least win 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 3 against the Rockies, a team who is the only team in baseball with a worse offense than you, then at least you could do it. Then at least you could feel better about yourself. You'd be 12-14 or 11-15 where things were heading in a good direction. There is no way to sugarcoat it. That was a miserable road trip. and almost impossible to watch team because the offense was so bad. This is worse than at any point last year I watched this offense. This goes back to like some of the worst offenses I've seen the last decade for like a month, a 3-week stretch. It was miserable. And I think it was in their head. I think everyone was pressing in a million, other than Bobby, apparently, who doesn't matter. He's got a 14, 15 game hitting streak now. He's fine pretty 13, much all the time. So outside of him, everyone. And it's not like yesterday they didn't still struggle. But to watch Vinny get a hit off Scooble to score a run that ends up being a difference, and to watch Bobby get the game-winning run in extras, and watch the closers and the bullpen shut it down when they got a runner on second and know that they can't let someone score, at least you can feel good about yourself heading back home. You get back to Cobb and you can sigh of relief.
That's what it is. It's a sigh of relief. And as I said, we're going to find out how big of a win it was based on how this week goes. It's not just because they won yesterday, everything's not fixed. You can't erase the road trip. Now, mentally, the guys on the team, they have to erase the road trip. They have to move on. But as fans, totally understand, right? They have to prove to you once again, starting this week, that the offense is correctable. Matt Quattrero was on Sirius XM MLB Network Radio just before yesterday's game, talking about the beginning of the season and what's been going wrong with the offense.
The beginning of the season is always magnified, right? Wins and losses, ERAs. I mean, you can go countless examples, but somebody gets off to a good first week and they have a 1,700 OPS. And, is this sustainable? Like, no, it's not. No one's ever finished the season with a 1,700 OPS or a 100 OPS, whatever it is, right? I mean, things are going to change. Does it stink in the moment when it's not going your way? Absolutely. And we're all guilty of it, right? We're looking at this morning, sitting here talking about things within our group, and, you're looking at 49 plate appearances or 62 plate appearances. Like that, it's just not enough, right? And anybody that's ever been involved in hitting knows how volatile that is and how much the mental part of it comes into play too. These guys, their swings haven't changed in the first 21 games, or their physical abilities haven't changed in the first 21 games.
I got to stop the cut. Whoever the XM host there, just breathing into the mic like no other. I did not catch that until Drew ruled that in. I heard the audio on Twitter last night.
And it probably is only bothering you because you got headphones
on. Anybody else hear that? Well, that's just not me,
right?
No,
I definitely heard it. I got driving me crazy. At first I thought maybe someone was on the roof of the building.
Well, I don't know if you noticed.
Outside.
I don't know if you noticed. 10 seconds in the clip, I purposely backed away from the microphone to make sure you knew it wasn't me. Then I'm like, maybe it's Cody. And
I was being silent. I was making sure.
I'm like, holy cow.
When I was playing it and rolling it in, I didn't hear anything. Granted, I wasn't wearing headphones when I was rolling it in. So.
This is actually lesson one. I teach like day one stuff. I teach the kids in the podcast class here in KC.
Their nose was just breathing right into the mic.
Is to record part of it that you're not going to use, the room and all this, and listen back to it, your voice.
To make sure.
With headphones to make sure that and this
people on the text line said they couldn't hear it. Yeah, you're lucky because it was driving me crazy. So it was just like truly like nose, like nostril right on the microphone, just breathing in and out.
I'm not sure if he was like, he had his mouth over the top of the microphone. I'm a little bit worried for that man. Like there's other health things going on that cause him to. But look, listen to that. This is the weirdest way I have felt about a Royals team in a while, because right now the Royals are a miserably bad offense on paper, right? There's no part about it. They have scored more than 4 runs all of twice in their over 20 games this season. They have scored 4 runs or more less than 30% of the time this year, and win a lot when they're doing it, because you're like, okay, I feel bad about all the offensive stuff. I feel bad about every player that isn't Bobby Wood Jr. as far as the way they've started offensively. They've eventually sent a player down as a result of that. They have a top 3 pitching staff in baseball. So it's so hard because they're pitching lights out. The bullpen is really good. I mean, Daniel Lynch just gave up his first run of the season yesterday. You mentioned Estevez, who we can get to later. The starting rotation continues to just put out hit after hit. Keep putting the team in position to win every day. They got a chance, but then they can't score. And I'm like, if you just hit a little, it's also
that adds to the frustration. Yeah,
it does, because it feels like it should be 500 at worst based on the pitching, and you're not. Then over the weekend, something that we had discussed happening, we said it might take all the way back to the homestand, but did not, which is the Royals sent out MJ Melendez over the weekend. I don't think we can ask the longer term question. I don't think they had a choice left. MJ, unfortunately, as we discussed last week, was lost. And if you were that lost at the plate and I don't know if he's lacking confidence but like if you're hitting like that, we have to make decisions based on the future health of this team. And we need your roster spot at the moment to go to somebody else who's going to do it. The long-term question is, does MJ Melendez ever play for the Kansas City Royals Major League Baseball team again? And if he does he ever become a full-time starter for this team again? You had mentioned JJ Picollo. We'll play that and then we can kind of open up on that. But this is what JJ had to say about the decision to send down MJ.
There's never a right day or right time. It's just you get a feel for what's going on with the team and how a player's performing. But it was something we had been discussing for the last week or so, knowing that Mark was going to be back. And, unfortunately, somebody's going to be left out. In this case, it was MJ, and just want to see him go back to the minor leagues and continue the work that he's doing.
What hasn't happened make the story time for him beyond the move that was needed?
Yeah, well, first I'd just say I give him a lot of credit because he spent the whole offseason working on something that we believe he's on the right path. Made a couple other adjustments while we were in New York and saw it pay off a little bit, but changes like that need to take will take a little bit of time. And sometimes the setting is just best at not at this level, maybe in AAA where he can relax a little bit and reset and continue working on the things that he's trying to do.
So that was JJ Picollo talking with Joel Goldberg there, who put out the video and audio on Saturday when the move happened. We wondered what the corresponding move would be once Mark Canha was coming back off the IL list. We wondered, hey, would they just simply send down Drew Waters? Would Tolbert be part of it? They obviously made the decision to send on MJ Melendez, who was hitting .085. And we all saw the struggles that he was having to open up this campaign. As far as you were asking the bigger picture question, look, it feels like this is not a go down for a week or two and come back up. This feels like it's a longer term, if you're going to do a true reset and we talk about the team taking a deep breath, take a deep breath, reset, not feel like everybody is, every at-bat is magnified because you're on the big league roster where the entire team is struggling. And so every at-bat, that you don't succeed, it gets even worse for you because, the team itself has nothing going on offense. And so now you go to AAA where you can, really just focus on yourself, right? And worry about that and see what happens. It doesn't feel like this is just a couple week reset. This feels like it could be longer term. And, for me to sit there and say he'll never be up or start again, I think that's hard to say. And I would probably not agree with that. He's 26 years old. I think he'll be up at some point again. But as you said, as a starter, I don't know. I mean, injuries happen too, so keep that in mind. Some of this also does depend long term on what does Cags' season look like. If it's later on, if it's in June and Cags is in AAA, what does that do? All of a sudden, you have two options maybe once he starts to play outfield. But look, it had to happen at some point. I wondered if it was going to happen at the end of the road trip. I guess it basically did. It happened 2 days before the end of the road trip. As JJ Picollo said in some other comments as well, it's like, the team struggling anytime individual stuff is also super magnified. Like if the Royals were playing well offensively, and look, maybe because he was hitting plus 085 or .085, that would have been the result anyway. But if the team was winning, you could have been even more patient. Although that's one thing that nobody can argue with. They were plenty patient with him.
I mean, he spent, and this is what's going to be really weird for MJ Melendez, and is going to take, I think, a few days to probably not, like, the biggest challenge for MJ here is, how do you let this not ruin your career? Like, as in, like, how do you not let this take over your career? Gold, he has spent 3 straight full seasons, not like an up and down guy, not Olivares, not riding 35 down and up from Omaha. He has spent full 3 straight, or 29, sorry. He spent,
I get confused. I get confused.
29. He spent 3 straight full seasons as a big league player. Every day. Played like 130 games, 3 years in a row, started with a big league club this year, was in the lineup a huge majority of it until the last week or so when he struggled. I don't even know if he remembers what it's like to be a minor league player, to have that kind of, so like, this is going to be a massive, massive hit to anyone's confidence, I would think. And it's how you adjust coming out of that they're like, hey, we actually think some of those swing changes are still the right thing for you in the long run. But it's like, well, the thing, and I would say this is the toughest part. The thing I was doing before was at least keeping me in the big leagues. Like, I was at least a big league player. I went to your change, and now I don't even get to play in the pros. Like, it would be hard for me if they still think the changes they make are the ones that are made are still the right ones for him. It'd be hard for me to actually believe that now versus this cost me a chance to be in the big leagues. And so it's really tough. I feel terrible for him, the person. Obviously, you don't want people to get sent down. I just don't feel like the Royals had a choice.
You have to perform at the big league level. Have to perform, and he simply wasn't. And as you said, they gave him a lot of time, and he's been up with the big league club for a while, and was not able to get to the level that everybody's excited about and maybe once getting to, based on what he was doing in the minors 4 years ago or whatever, when he was hitting 40 home runs, and you were like, wow, this could be. At one point we thought, the future catcher for the organization. Then he became a left fielder, and to his credit, he became a very good left fielder, best corner outfielder from a defensive perspective.
For sure.
But the results at the plate simply were not there. And so that move happened. And we can talk later on in the 11 o'clock hour about like if things go bad this week, what's the next move? Because a lot of people would say, all right, maybe this is step one of getting things corrected. Nobody's saying that this solves the offense suddenly or anything like that. There's other issues with the team. There's other issues with the approach from other guys as well. And if you're trying to be really optimistic about it, and I see people on the text line, you're saying, all right, well, Mike Moustakas was once sent down and things changed, for sure, right? Like that's the optimistic way to look at it. And that's what if you are someone like MJ Melendez, you got to think, okay, can I do that same thing? Now, remember, you guys.
I'd have Alex Gordon almost talk to him. I'd have Mike Moustakas talk to him.
Moustakas went down for a brief stint, and an injury got him back up immediately, and then he just, for whatever reason, a switch flipped. Like, I don't know whether it's just the feeling of getting sent down or what. Something changed for him, right? This doesn't feel like it's going to be necessarily the short stint.
But if an injury happened, he'd probably be the first one called up, wouldn't he? Like if somebody got hurt in left field, wouldn't they just call him right back up immediately? Their history would suggest yes, but
maybe. I guess based on the comments though from JJ Bacola, if you're talking about the player needs to reset and there's things he needs to learn and adjust to you can't do it at the big league level, then what changed in a week? I actually don't think he would be. If an injury happened a month from now, Cody, maybe. But like, let's say somebody got hurt in 7 days from now. No, I don't think he would be the next name. I think you would see a Gentry or Rave, because if you're trying to actually fix the issue, then calling him back up after a week, even doing an injury, doesn't solve anything.
Like looking back through, I'm like, when did Mike Moustakas, like how long? You're right. I mean, it was just such a little amount of, not a little amount, but like it wasn't the amount of time that you would think for a player. And it was a little bit slightly earlier on in his career that trip happened, right? He was only 2, but same age, like similar age, 25 years old, 26. I mean, I'm not saying MJ has no chance to succeed at the big league level. I definitely think I
still think he'll be back at some point.
There's still some raw talent part of it, but yeah, this is the best thing for him. Just reality is this is the best thing for him. You had mentioned a guy in AA right now.
That went over the scoreboard.
That sounded good.
Another jack for Jack.
That's a good one.
Jack Watch. As you know, we are continuing to keep an eye on Jack Caglian in AA because we're planning our road trip down to Springfield to watch him on Saturday, May 3rd. You have until this Wednesday to put in a T-shirt order if you are planning on coming down to the game. If you need that link, let us know, 913-586-7965. That is 4 people going on the trip. The tickets are available at 965thefan.com.
107. 107 listeners have already signed up to join us.
So 111 of us total going down there. That's awesome, by the way. And so if you just want to be a part of the crowd, no doubt about it, Jack had gone a little quiet, Like I thought, oh, man, maybe Jack's struggling a little bit. They figured out, he's human after all. And they gave us a little reminder about why we're maybe trying to go see him why we are going to go see him on May 3rd.
Delivers. Caglian gives it a right out to left. Continuing to carry at the track, at the wall. It's out of here. Jack Caglian, 110 off the bat. A screamer for 3 runs to put the Naturals back on top by 6. It's their 3rd big fly of the affair.
So Jack Caglian has 20 ribbies, 4 home runs, hit a grand slam over the weekend. So just going to say, if you were interested in watching Jack Caglian play, this feels like the moment as we're all going down to Springfield in less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, and an early look, I know things change, but as of right this second, it's supposed to be 72 degrees and sunny in Springfield for the game. So if you were hesitant because of weather, hesitant about, timing of everything, still time for you to get your tickets. And as you said, the T-shirt deadline is this Wednesday, but plenty of time to get your tickets as well. $10 deal through our Cody and Gold ticket offer that we've got with them, and it's going to be a full crowd. That one of the sections is almost totally full. We're moving on to the next section already. That's because we again have 107 listeners, so I think we're going to get over 150 people to join us in Springfield.
So we'll meet at Harbell's beforehand. That's where we'll hand out the shirts for everyone to go into Hammond's Field to watch the game. I just want to remind everybody. But again, 96.5 The Fan if you want look at the ticket price. They're $10 for the tickets, $10 for the shirts.
I believe we looked up the promotional schedule already, and that Saturday when we're down there, it's like that. What is it? Halfway to Halloween or something. So they're doing some special unis. I wish they were not doing the Halloween thing, and instead we're doing what they announced 2 days ago. Did you see? Now this is the Cardinals affiliate doing this, not the Royals, but Springfield is where cashew chicken was invented. Cashew chicken. Back in the 60s. Cashew chicken. And Darren Ravel put out a tweet over the weekend that I guess the Springfield Cardinals are wearing an alternate jersey at some point this season. A totally different identity. They're going to be the Springfield Cashew Chickens for a couple games this year. And the jersey is absolutely incredible. Absolutely incredible. I wish they were wearing this when we were going down there. The Cashew Chickens.
When are they? God, well, yeah, why aren't they? They should just go with that for the whole year.
The hat is pretty incredible.
Minor League is better about drawing people in with stuff like this.
They can do that stuff, right? There's not as much. Nobody's going to be upset about the tradition of the uniforms and things like that.
We get way too hung up on that. Like hundreds of millions of people watch WrestleMania. They put on like a whole show. Savannah Bananas have been selling out football stadiums. Entertainment should be a part of the sport for your own sake. That way you're not like missing out on it. But yeah, I did see those. The cashew chicken ones look incredible. Jack Caglian's doing exactly what you'd hope he'd do at AA. Hitting pretty well. Should hit for a slightly higher average. Should walk a little bit more and strike out a little bit less. Things I would expect to occur as he grows at the AA level. 10 games? 10 games away? Jack can hit a few more homers? I so bad want him to hit a home run while we're there.
Oh, it'd be incredible.
I don't know if we're going to get lucky enough. I don't know if we're just like fortunate enough people to witness that. Please let Jack Caglione hit a home run while we're there on May 3rd. Wouldn't that make this all worth it for us?
Remember, one of our listeners is going to throw out the first pitch, too. That'll be randomly selected amongst somebody that buys tickets using our Cody and Gold ticket link. So somebody will get their information to the Cardinals, and we'll get that figured out. But somebody from our group going to throw out the first pitch.
Not us.
Has to be a listener. Yeah.
Definitely going to make it a listener.
Has to be a listener.
Well, I mean, could you imagine, like, we get to throw out the first pitch and instead it's just like it's one of us? Feels very selfish.
No, it has to be a listener.
Plus, you've said you're never throwing out a first pitch ever again in your life, so it would only be down to me and Drew anyway.
Those moments are special when you only do them a few times. You know, I threw out a first pitch, now I'm done. I've won a hot dog derby race, I'm done. I've won a potato race at a minor league game, I'm done. I don't need to keep doing these things. I do it once, you go out on top, and except for the case of the first pitch, and then
you
you're
did go out on top on that one.
Nope,
you did go out on top on the races, though. I can't argue with that.
But
if someone from the Royals is listening, if you got a date in mind, just go ahead and let me know. I'd like to go ahead and get myself back in the hot dog race.
I think you should be done. I think they should ban you.
I'll be honest. I think this Sunday might be perfect. It is UMKC Day at the K.
And now you want to embarrass your alma mater.
Game. I've already embarrassed myself 4 times. What's the difference? So if you're listening and you work for the Royals and you schedule out the hot dog derbies race, I'd like to race this Sunday, please, for UMKC Day.
You should be capped. You have capped on.
Capped at what? How many? 4?
You've done it 4 or 5 times. That's it. You should be done. It's time to give other people an opportunity.
Never. Not till I win. Not till I win. You know? I'll retire when I win. I don't know if that's ever going to happen. Hopefully this time I'm not up against a former. I mean, I haven't beaten regular people either, but
you lost to me. Dude.
But I know I got no chance if it's a former professional soccer player. I'd like people who are my height or less. That feels like it gives me the best chance, but still not a perfect chance. Look, I may never win, but I'm going to try until I do. I've made that part very clear. I'll never quit.
All right, up next, we know we are now in draft week. Thursday, we'll be at the landing. So let's talk about the latest rumors and rumblings, what it could mean for the top of the draft. Plus, what is that next move if some of the struggles continue for the Royals?
What's up, Kansas City? This is Cole Reagans, and you're listening to Cody and Gold. Weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
March 2012. That's when we started Connolly Plumbing Solutions. It has been a wild ride. If you have had us take care of plumbing issues for you, we thank you. If you haven't, next time you need a plumber, we would love the opportunity to win you over. Locally owned and family operated, serving the entire Kansas City metro area. Connolly Plumbing Solutions, your neighborhood plumber. Call 913-768-7676 or visit ConnollyPlumbingSolutions.com to schedule.
Living with chronic joint pain is like trying to get comfortable on a cactus sofa. Nothing feels good. And forget trying to do the things you enjoy this spring, like golfing, hiking, and tennis. You're just trying to get by. I want you to know something. The medical pros at QC Kinetics right here in Kansas City are on the case and focused to finally get you the relief you need. They've already treated tens of thousands of patients around the country with regenerative treatments that help calm that debilitating joint pain in your knees, your hips, your shoulders, and your back. With QC Kinetics, the science is solid. They give you your life back without surgery, without drugs, and without any downtime. Curious if you'd be a candidate for these treatments? No problem. The consultation is totally free, and they're happy to take a look to see if they can help you finally get the relief that you deserve. Call now and find out how easy it is to get back to enjoying life without chronic joint pain. Call QC Kinetics now, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299.
Looking for the best food, drinks, and game day vibes? The Landing Eatery and Pub in Liberty has you covered. Happy hour Monday through Friday, 3 to 7 p.m. with great drink specials. Game day buckets, 5 beers or seltzers. Keep the party going Saturday and all day Sunday. Catch every play on over 68 TVs while enjoying our massive 102-item menu. Love live music? Our neon-lit smoking patio has bands Thursday through Sunday. Don't miss out. Check out our daily specials at landingeateryandpub.com.
It is one of my favorite times of the year, and you don't want to miss it with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook app. FanDuel is the best place to find all your favorite player props, and you can make an heads-up play with player performance trends. So that means if you want to bet on a player to score 30 or put on a triple-double, you don't even need to leave the app to find out who's hot. Plus, after the game tips off, you can even combine live prop bets into a same-game parlay for a chance to win even big. The NBA playoffs are the perfect time to join, and you can get started with $250 in bonus bets if your first $5 bet wins. So use my promo code KFNZ, go on FanDuel and get started for the NBA playoffs, and make every moment more this spring on FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA, and also 96.5 The Fan. 21 in President, Kansas. First online real money wager only. $5 first deposit required. Bonus issued with nominal drawable bonus bet, which expires 7 days after restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement Kansas Star Casino LLC. Gambling problem? Get up with your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit kansasgamblinghelp.com.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
I had the worst dream last night. You were in a car crash, and the kids and I were on our own. We had to move out of the house because I couldn't afford it anymore.
That's awful, hon.
My brother got life insurance from Ethos, and it only took 10 minutes. And he got $2 million in coverage for around $2 a day. It's all online. No medical exam. He just answered a few health questions right from his house.
Ethos, here we come.
Visit ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Sample rate is a 10-year term life policy for 35-year-old healthy, non-smoking male. Billed monthly.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
My perfect day at Sand, Salt Water and Friends.
but my moderate to severe plaque psoriasis can take me out of the moment. Now I'm all in with clearer skin thanks to Skyrizi. Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults who are candidates for systemic or phototherapy. With Skyrizi, most people saw 90% clearer skin, and many were even 100% plaque-free at 4 months. Skyrizi is just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions, increased infections, or lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, get checked for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor about any flu-like symptoms or vaccines.
Thanks to Skyrizi, there's nothing on my skin, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi, the #1 dermatologist-prescribed biologic in psoriasis. Visit Skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKYRIZI to learn more.
Royals coverage sponsored by Metal by the Foot, your metal project superstore.
Whether you're a DIY enthusiast, a contractor, or business owner, Metal by the Foot has the perfect solution for you. Located in KC and Topeka, online at metalbythefoot.com. When you need a piece of metal, remember, metal doesn't have to cost an arm or a leg, just the foot.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
We're just getting started here on a Monday. Hope you're off to a great day. Rain's out of the way. It's going to be a nice day here in Kansas City. Thanks for joining us. As always, you can interact with us on the Jay's Southland Tow Service text line, 913-586-7965. Let's talk some draft, though, because it all begins Thursday night, 6 o'clock. Hope to see you guys at our draft party this Thursday night at the Landing in Liberty. Bank and Kristen Osero have their draft special tonight, by the way. Since there's no Royals baseball, they'll be on at 6 o'clock talking all things draft. I think Chad Ryder is going to be on their show as well, one of the draft experts that are out there, well known. So they've got your draft coverage this evening. But there's some rumblings out there from the weekend. What's going to happen with some teams and potential landing spots for Shedeur Sanders? There's Adam Schefter talking about the Broncos. Let's start with the Broncos because that's in the division. We know that the Chiefs have dominated the AFC West, winning it for 9 straight years. So every team has been hunting down the Chiefs. Adam Schefter said there's a lack of teams wanting to trade up. Goes back to what we mentioned last week. Just why would you trade up as much this year? Given
it's not a good year to be in the top 10, yeah.
But he did say Denver, the Broncos, at least one of the teams who have inquired with teams about moving up in the draft. And even though it could be smokescreen, if you're thinking about the Broncos trading up, everybody assumes that that would mean Ashton Genty, right? Like, could they get ahead of the Raiders or something like that? Now, maybe it's surprise and they trade up and they want to make sure they get one of the tight ends. I don't know if they have to trade up to do that. But what else would it be if the Broncos do trade up from their draft position? Where do you think they're going? Wouldn't it be for Ashton Genty? Don't you believe? I mean,
I think it'd have to be for something for Bo Nix. Like I'm not saying
so
they
an
don't
offensive
have
skill position.
Yeah,
player.
I don't think unless they're just like because their offensive line, it's not for that.
Because they have 20 overall. I mean, can they get that? How high can they get?
I don't think they can get. Ashton Genty. There's no way. All the rumors on the Genty front. There's 3 rumors.
Mm-hmm.
There's Genty's going to go 4 to the Patriots. That the Bears are just like praying that Ashton Genty falls all the way down to 10 to them. So, like, at bare minimum, you got to get to at least 10 to get Ashton Genty. And that's if for some reason the Raiders actually pass on him, which I think is certainly possible, at least on that end. I think it's got to be for an offensive. It's got to be.
I think it's for a tight end. I think ultimately you go from 20 to 15, Warren. And it's Warren or Loveland, right? Depending on how that flow goes. There was even some rumors over the weekend that we were joking when you said that you think Loveland is just as good as Warren. There was one draft expert of the weekend said that there's a chance Loveland goes before Warren. I think that's crazy.
I still think that's I don't think that's happening. I just think Loveland is just as good as Warren.
Yeah.
That's a difference.
The Broncos would to trade from 20 to get to the top 10 to get Genty. That's way too much draft capital, I think. Now, look, the Broncos want to do that. I actually think that's a good thing overall for the Chiefs if they're going to trade that many picks away, even though Ashton Genty's the real deal. But could they, trade up 5 to 6 spots to go ensure themselves a tight end? You mentioned the style of offense Sean Payton likes. We know if you go back to what they would do with Drew Brees for many years, we saw some of it last year with Bo Nix, but they would love to have a reliable tight end that can be a difference maker, and Loveland or Warren, ensuring you get one of them could be the trade up.
I mean, they're one of the few teams that makes sense because 20 is an interesting spot. You can't really get at 20 in this year's draft, you can get your absolute pick of the litter of a lot of positions, but not wide receiver. and not tight end. Those two guys, I believe, will be gone before pick 20, which means if that's what you want specifically, let's say you want McMillan, it doesn't matter. But if you want those two positions, like you want a skill position player to go opposite your guy in Bo Nix, well, then you do have to kind of move up in order to get it. If you just want any of the other defensive linemen who are going to be remaining, no problem. You even want one of those guard tackle, which they shouldn't. They had the number one offensive line in the league last year and have a huge chunk of it under control. So if Schefter's saying, and he did in his article today up at ESPN, say that they're one of the teams who have at least inquired about trading up, I gotta think it's a tight end. I mean, borderline or one of the wide receivers. They're in love with Burden and they don't think he's actually going to be available at 20, even though he goes in mock drafts. He is the most inconsistent. As many mock drafts I've looked at this point, easily the most inconsistently mocked player in the entire potential first round. He goes as high as 14 in some and as low as 44. There's no way he's a 30-pick swing. And yet, there does seem to be some sort of movement in that. The other fascinating thing to me is, we talked about quarterback before, is similar to the Falcons. Is there any other team we should be talking about for Sanders? Or are we only entertaining Saints, Giants, or Steelers? That's the only three teams that Sanders can be drafted by.
I think it's those three, because even if you think the Browns take Travis Hunter at 2 and then get back into the first round and draft a quarterback, I don't see how the Browns get back into the first round and leapfrog.
You don't want to bring up the Cowboys
Steelers.
and do the out of left field, they just do it for Deion's kid kind of thing.
I don't think the Cowboys even do that. I don't.
The Jets, they're just whatever on fields.
I could hear the Jets. I could hear the case for the Jets at 7.
Team to entertain.
Yeah, I could hear the Jets at 7, but I do think there's more and more noise that Jackson Dart's going to go way even higher than everybody thought. That Jackson Dart could be the pick at 9. That he's the quarterback off the board before Sanders, and then Sanders goes a couple picks later. So
are we sure the Panthers definitely want Bryce Young?
Oh yeah. That I definitively think is clear. That Bryce Young is going to be their guy.
There was an interesting one that I saw.
Okay.
The Colts potentially.
So the Colts have Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones.
I don't know why they wouldn't want to draft a quarterback.
In other words, they don't have a quarterback. So they're, Chris Ballard's out there today talking about how they got to make a decision. Jim Irsay is going to be heavily involved. They got a quarterback competition. The reason why that one will be fun is the trickle-down effect. So let's say in this hypothetical, Drew, you brought it up, Sanders gets drafted by the Colts. So they have Richardson, Sanders, Daniel Jones.
They start Daniel Jones the year, and then they hand it to Sanders eventually.
If I'm the Pittsburgh Steelers, whichever one between Jones and Richardson I actually like, I'm trading for him. That's my answer to the Rodgers maybe deciding to actually retire.
You'd probably get Richardson for a 6.
I was going to say, if I was the Colts, I'd give up Richardson right now, and before the draft, you might be able to get more.
Well, that too. Either way, this is where the Steelers, how confident are they that Aaron Rodgers doesn't wake up one morning, as we joked, out, from a cave and decide not to play football again, and then the next day decide he wants to play again. So we don't know. But if he does decide not to play, right now you have Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson. So the Colts would be one to watch because there's no way they're going into the season with Richardson, Jones, and Sanders. Somebody's moving. Somebody's moving.
I think a lot of times you could put those in, I think people want to sometimes pinpoint those to the developmental guys. The Colts will take Quinn Ewers in the 3rd. But a lot of times those teams, if they love a guy, if they love Sanders, they don't do it like that. And they take their guy earlier than we anticipate versus these methodical, we'll train him behind Derek Carr for a year. Look, I mentioned the Saints as a possibility. I definitely think they're in quarterback draft mode, but
The one thing with the Saints that we don't have the answer to, and we're not going to know till Thursday, is did the Saints like Shedeur Sanders before it became more and more realistic that, the Derek Carr, it's not just the Derek Carr injury. There's more rumblings that Derek Carr kind of wants out maybe of New Orleans as well. So have they done enough research and they know that they like Sanders? If they don't like Sanders, they don't all of a sudden like him more just because there's an injury.
Whoever they liked before. If they like Tyler Show, they just liked him more.
If they liked Sanders a month ago and the injury should only enhance that, but you're not going to completely flip-flop on it. So, yes, I think the Colts, the Saints should take a quarterback. But if they don't like Shedeur Sanders, then they're not going to take Shedeur Sanders. It's that simple. I don't think they're going to reach on him unless they actually had some intrigue and liked him as a quarterback prospect. If they like Jackson Dart better, maybe they do take him. Or you mentioned Show, all of a sudden is coming out of nowhere. Honestly, I don't know.
Schefter mentioned that there are teams that have him as their number 1 quarterback on their board.
He's
above Cam Ward.
He'll be 26 by week 1.
Well, no wonder he looks good. He's playing against kids. He's a full-grown man with a 401k, and he's playing against children. Shocker. He looks good. He's going to be 26, Drew. Even I know I get accused of being an ageist on the show. You have to admit, 26 is too damn old to be a draft prospect.
Oh, well, okay.
That's crazy.
26 is old. It's like Brandon. You're entering.
Brandon Whedon,
you're entering Brandon Whedon
You get to the end of his contract and he's 30. You get to the end of his rookie contract and he's 30. Mahomes isn't 30. He just like he's 30 now.
I think the reason that people like him too is that he's in a system, and it really has always been in a system with Texas Tech in the air raid, and then with Jeff Braun. Aiden O'Connell played and looked great with Jeff Braun when he was at Purdue, and he was picked in the 4th or 5th round. I don't think Tyler Show looking good in college means that he's going to be great in the NFL. I think it's some more of the system that he's been in than anything else, why his numbers look good.
But if I'm in the not a first round, but if I'm in the 2nd or 3rd round, and I'll keep using Cleveland in this example, they get Hunter at 2, but they have a 2nd round pick or a 3rd round pick, and he's on the board. Why wouldn't they take him? Have him in the mix. I mean, that's fine. I wouldn't take him in the 1st round. But if he's there in the 2nd or 3rd round, why wouldn't you? A team like Cleveland, I'll continue to mention Pittsburgh. Why wouldn't the Steelers, who currently have Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson, if they can't get Sanders, they don't like him. They can't get Dart, they don't like him. They can't get Miller, they don't like him or whatever. Why wouldn't they look at this kid in the 2nd or 3rd round? I say kid. He's not a kid anymore. He's 26.
I mean, at that stage, you're having a slightly different conversation. You still hate that if you get him, if he's great, this is the part that stinks because it's so hard to get quarterback right. If he's great, what do you get, 10 years? I'm not saying that's better than 0 years at bad quarterback play, but man, that's kind of sucks. You only get 10 high-level years out of him.
For the Browns, though, you would take 10 good years in a heartbeat.
I know. I'm not saying that's not an improvement, Drew, but you have to admit, when you finally take the quarterback, if you took him in the 1st round, let's say, you got to be trying to get more than, if you're taking him in the 3rd, whatever, but you got to be thinking you're getting more than 10 years out of the guy.
Yeah, but if he's that, in your evaluation, if he's a starting quarterback, can be a starting quarterback for you, given some of the situations these franchises have had. I don't,
it's an improvement. I'm not saying that.
I wouldn't draft him in the top 10 or top 15, but like why I wouldn't avoid him in the 2nd round if you actually think he's that good.
If you got him as your number one quarterback,
how many regimes in the NFL don't make it 6 years? The coach and the GM are thrown out the door before that. So you're not drafting him saying, "Oh, we only got 10 years." That's why he's not a top tier pick. But 10 years, I'd love to go back and how many quarterbacks have started for the same team for the last 10 years? Not that many. Not that many.
I mean, not currently. There was probably more in the generation before. Russ probably did 10 years in Seattle, do we think? He's not starting from now, but he got 10 years in Seattle.
If he did, he barely got there, yeah.
I'll bet he got 10 seasons, didn't he?
He also was a little bit older when he came out of the draft.
My point is that
played 158 games
most of the league is doesn't have same starting quarterback for 10 years, right?
It might be 10 seasons.
If you're the Chiefs,
Cody.
you're going to. If you're the Bills, you're going to.
Russ got exactly
right
10
at
years.
10.
And it's like, look, they wouldn't go back and not take him in the 3rd. My argument is not take him at all. My argument is do not Brandon Whedon this situation. Do not take a guy in the 1st round who is also 26 years old. In an unsure quarterback draft, that ain't the time to take swings.
Well, and Brandon Whedon was also Oklahoma State ran the air raid at that time. He looked really good in the air raid system. Of course, he was, there. Like Patrick Mahomes is maybe one of the only quarterbacks to actually play in the air raid, look really good in the air raid, and still have major success at the NFL level. Where like Gardner Minshew was outstanding in college, played in the air raid at Washington State, and has been a fine,
Kyler Murray,
good backup.
The air raid guy.
Oklahoma, I don't know if they were air raid as much as they were just spread in general, but
okay, they bared it out.
I just wonder if guys that like play in that system they put up these ridiculous college stats, they don't tend to transition that well to the NFL for whatever reason. It just doesn't. Like you could pull Oklahoma State quarterback after Oklahoma State quarterback or Washington State guys, and they're just not.
But based on that, no one should have taken. The issue is like. It's true till it's not, because like that was the whole thing with Mahomes. Mahomes was the first ever quarterback out of the new Big 12 to win a playoff game. You couldn't even take, not kidding, you could not take. He's the first quarterback ever to win a Big 12 playoff game for a Big 12 quarterback. So to that point, you had to avoid him. So it's tough. Age is probably even more than that. Let's get back to the Royals for just a little bit because I am fascinated by them. JJ Picollo will join us tomorrow at 10:30, by the way. So we'll get a chance to talk to him about some of the moves they've made here recently. We have to admit that there has to be some next adjustment is if over this homestand, this continues in the way that it went on that road trip. Colorado is a team that scores worse than you. You're at home. They have a huge stretch of below 500 teams coming up on their schedule. I kind of view this as like okay, now you get like another week or two, barely, to sort some of this out. And then I'm going to be asking you what's next, as in Renfroe or lineup changes, or like, I'm going to ask you fundamentally, what is the next move if you don't do this? I guess Renfroe is probably the obvious one, but there's some other stuff order-wise that would kind of make sense to me.
Yeah, the next couple like smaller moves, if the offense doesn't get going in the next week, I still wonder why they like the ability on the base pass, but if you're not getting guys on base and you're not willing to pinch run as often anyway, then Tyler Tolbert, is much as he hasn't done anything wrong, but is that a spot you're willing to continue to hold for a guy that doesn't have the bat, right, when your offense is struggling? So something like that. Let's continue to see how Drew Waters performs. He got off to the rough start in the field, but they ended up keeping him up instead of sending him down. They sent down MJ Melendez. So how close were they to sending Drew Waters down? Is that another potential move?
Helped them win yesterday.
The bullpen wise, where they're at, like, we'll have to keep an eye. Hunter Harvey, how long is that thing going to be for the Hunter Harvey injury? I don't know what that timeline is. Obviously, Sam Long, due to performance/injury, he's on the IL right now. Where does that thing stand? That's pitching stuff. But my point is, I think as far as other moves, the biggest thing probably is lineup changes. I think we are still a ways away from having a real discussion about hitting coach. I think it's too early I agree. That's, to me, something that just lives on social media for those calling for a change there. That's not a realistic thing at this point. But you're right about the stretch of games. I know we're going to talk about more tomorrow when the series begins against the Rockies, but they are going to enter a 2.5-3 week stretch of opponents where there's an opportunity, unless you are also one of those opponents, meaning not an above 500 team, where you can get some things right, where you can correct the issues that you have had, to where you can get right back into this thing. Even not that your season is over, but for fan buy-in, right? Get back to 500. Like, if you're going to get back to 500, this stretch of the next 2 weeks is a good chance to do that based on some of the opponents on paper, at least.
There's one thing, and I do not think that this is an overreaction, because I understand he missed some time too. Mark Canha should be hitting 4th or 5th. And I think what I've learned about the Royals,
right?
What I've learned about the Royals I think he should be hitting ahead of Salvi. Behind Vinny, but ahead of Salvi. Just as a way of, like, pushing Salvi down a spot, because Canha's giving those more professional at-bats right now. I still think you want the lefty-righty thing. That's why I'm not shoving Vinny further down the order. I thought he was down the order
7th yesterday, right?
I think that was because of Skubal. I don't think that had anything to do with their normal plan. Yeah, I could be wrong. My assumption is that was because they were facing the league's toughest lefty, and they wanted to go righties all across the board. The reason for Canha is the same thing I learned about this team last year. Because of the inconsistency and the lack of on base from guys like MJ, Massey, Salvi, these other guys who've been in the lineup these last 2 years, every time they just find some like quality big league bat and eventually plug them into 4, it's smoother. Or 5th, it's smoother. It was Gurriel last year. And, like, I'm not saying those guys deserve to hit 4th for most teams. I'm not even saying they're necessarily a better hitter than the person they're hitting 4th. But because of the way they give a professional at bat in the middle of the order, it seems to change their offense for the better more commonly. Right now, the next move I would make almost automatically is Canha's moving up. He's going ahead of anybody at the bare minimum 5th behind Salvi. Like, just bare minimum.
For the time being, while
he's going there, but I would argue maybe a spot ahead.
For the time being, while guys aren't hitting well, and we had Jake Eisenberg on the show last Friday. What did he mention, Cody? He talked about how many balls are hitting in the air, right? And fly balls has been a problem, actually, for them, And so we saw a little bit of an adjustment on Sunday in particular, Saturday, I guess, also, even though they lost, but still a little bit on Saturday, where, like, for this team, that actually is a quote-unquote good sign for them, based off of what we have seen. Like, normally, you take a look at some of the metrics and you're trying to figure out what's going wrong. That would be one thing that was actually a good sign. Putting the ball in the air less is what they need to do right now, and just kind of not try to press. And we saw a little bit of adjustment. We'll see if that carries over. And for whatever reason, yesterday with Skubal, that the Royals have, for a guy that's been won a Cy Young last year, they've been able to have good approach against him. I don't know why. They've been able to.
I told you they had the league's best ERA against him
last year. They beat him multiple times. So that's just a guy that they have figured something out against him, which is a good thing. He's in your division.
It was 4 starts last year they had against him, and he went 2-2, and he had an ERA north of 4. I think it was like 4.25 or so. So, yeah, for whatever reason, they are better at getting to Skubal than most teams are at getting to him. my whole thing is like confidence, especially in baseball, cannot be overstated. It is a very real thing. You get out of rhythm, you get out of sync, you don't feel like you're, and you kind of get into these modes. These games become important. I would shift. Lineup would probably be my next shift. Maybe Michael maybe Michael needs some more time higher up as well. Like he's still hitting in the lower part of the order behind some guys that he'd been hitting behind this entire time. Maybe that's the next shift. But I think you got to shuffle some things. The guys at the bottom are going to be the guys at the bottom. The Waters, the Isbells, we know where they're hitting. It's really about where you're moving Massey, Salvi, Canna, and a few others.
Coming up in 10 minutes, we'll get back to the draft. One thing, Cody and I disagree a little bit on how the draft has gone over the last couple of years for the Chiefs and what they need to find more often. That's coming up in 10 minutes or so. But over the weekend, the San Francisco Giants were, of course, involved in a series, and one of their pitchers, Logan Webb, was talking to the media like anybody would after a game.
Pitch, sure.
Right. And look, we've all been in clubhouses before. A variety of different things go on sometimes in a clubhouse, different conversations, different noises, I guess.
With Bumgarner, Gum, and Palmer for at least 4 outings with I'm sorry. At least 4 outings with 10 strikeouts and no walks. What does it mean to you to be in that list with those guys?
I'm sorry, guys. Farts are always funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Logan Webb, one of his teammates, presumably in the background, clearly farts, and he just can't. He's a normal person.
He was trying to continue his presser.
And Palmer.
I will say, particularly funny sounding fart. Like in his defense,
It sounded a little bit dusty. That's what it is. It just sounded a little.
I mean, come on, man. He's talking to the media. You couldn't hold that one in?
Well, the clubhouse, it's their spot. It's their place, right?
This is their safe spot, you're saying?
I mean, Logan, if you watch the video, he's trying to hold it in, too. He's trying not to laugh.
He is. With 10 strikeouts and no walks. What does it mean to you to be in that list with those guys?
I'm sorry, guys. Farts are always funny.
It's such an honest moment. Oh, man. I don't know. I can't imagine. Like, you're trying to have this serious conversation about your pitching performance, and then you're just like, Usually I would take that as that's a light thing. I actually agree with Webb, though. Generally speaking.
It's funny.
Think about it. Even in really serious moments, it's funny because it's it might be funnier in those, right? Because it's everything seems so buttoned up.
Well, if it's quiet too, completely quiet, people are having a serious conversation, and someone just rips one.
Yeah, I mean,
everybody looks around, everybody's thinking the same thing, and so then you start laughing.
It's funny.
Do we know if Logan Webb lost or did he?
He's having a good season. I looked up his numbers. He's actually he's got an under three ERA. He's 2-1. He's actually having a nice year.
Because he's loose.
I was like,
he's feeling loose.
Even if he lost, then it's still a funny moment to lighten the room a little bit,
He was coming off an effort in which he went 6 innings and only gave up 1 run at 12 strikeouts. So
good move.
He absolutely dominated in his start.
And Palmer for at least 4 outings.
How close was he? That got picked up well on that microphone.
4 outings with 10 strikeouts and no walks. What does it mean to you to be in that list with those guys?
I'm sorry, guys. Farts are always funny. I'm not gonna lie.
There you go. Logan Webb. Yeah, we need to find out which teammate. If we were in San Francisco, you need to find out what teammate. That moment. Add to the story a little bit.
Oh, man. I wish that happened to the Royals. It'd be even funnier if it was a player you knew. I mean, I know Logan Webb, just as in knew personally, I guess would go with it. But yeah, funny. I can't argue any side of that. It's not my favorite baseball clubhouse moment of the last 5 years. That's the guy who looked like he was from, he was a founding father interviewing Jason Vargas, but very high up on the list. Any other clubhouse ones that stand out to you the last few years?
What was the backstory on that, by the way? The reporter. Or
I think some of it was just the way the picture was framed made it look more than it was. He wasn't actually dressed like a founding father. It just very much.
Because I didn't know if they were in Boston or something. Like today, the Red Sox play at here in 10 minutes or something like that, or are they already playing?
Was he wearing one of those wigs? Is that what you're saying,
dude? You're just gonna have to look up the photo. Okay. I don't have a better way to describe it than.
Yeah, Boston's already playing right now. They played at 10 o'clock this morning. It's a Boston Marathon Day, I think, or whatever.
What?
Hey, Boston Marathon Day.
That makes sense. I was like, why are they playing at 10 o'clock in the morning? Are they somewhere? But yeah.
Every year they do that one.
Drew, I don't other than he looks like he signed the original Declaration of the Independence. He's holding this like ancient recorder. It's just like a giant Marantz recorder. So like that does not help to the situation.
All right.
It's just a great photo.
Up next, let's talk more about the draft. One thing you want to see more out of the Chiefs general manager. And the Royals do have one legit thing certainly going right now for them. We'll tell you what that is next.
Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Follow the station on Instagram for ticket giveaways and behind-the-scenes content from the show at The Fan 965.
Technology is the future of every industry, and at Centric, they provide a technical foundation to help you launch your career, not in years, but in as little as 4 months.
When you look around, a lot of this is like, hey, you're getting ready to graduate. And you're like, maybe I don't want to go to a 5-year traditional school, a 4-year traditional school, and I want to go through this program that allows me to get into my career faster. That's why they say IT is the future of Kansas City, and why Russ Mondry, who has been there a really long time, right? As in longer than you could imagine, and wants to walk you through this stuff so you make sure you're comfortable.
Yeah, they're with you throughout the entire process, from the classroom to your interview. They're with you every step of the journey, and they help you get hired. They help you prepare for, find, and land your first job to start your new IT career. Go to Centric.com.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. With thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust us to bring happiness home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
As men get older, our bodies change. We all know that, and often we just accept the changes as the way it is. But some of those changes, such as bad sleep patterns, low sex drive, brain fog, no energy, and reduced gains in the gym, could be due to low testosterone. And that is something you can change. This is Jeff for Heartland Men's Health. And even if you're in your 30s, if you're experiencing some or all of the symptoms I just noted, you very well may need low testosterone treatment. With our treatment protocols, if you're like most men, you'll be amazed at the change. You'll have more energy, improved mental clarity, your sleep will be better, so will your workouts, and you'll likely find that your sex drive increases too. So give us a call today and make the change for good. Your initial visit is just $99 and includes blood work and a medical consult. And if you start on treatment the day of your appointment, your visit is free. Call 844-447-6600. That's 844-447-6600. Or go to heartlandmenshealth.com. We have 3 offices to serve you. Heartland Men's Health, a Promenic restorative health practice.
Hey there, Royals fans. It's Royals Hall of Famer Mike Sweeney. Have you or your kids experienced a high school coach who wants to make our Kansas City community a better place to live, work, and play? The Royals and the See You in the Major Leagues Foundation, together with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City, are shining a spotlight on 6 impactful coaches in the KC metro area. Nominate a high school coach today at royals.com/coaches with character.
Honey, it's me, your wife. Spring is here, and our house desperately needs the experts at Powell Exteriors Casey for siding, windows, entry doors, beautiful decks, patio covers, roofs, and more. Get ready for summer at powellcasey.com.
Rawhide Harley's dedicated team of finance experts are ready to get you approved. Credit so bad your mama won't lend you money?
I love you, dear, but hell to the no.
Then let the Credit Rebuilders of Kansas get you approved at Rawhide Harley. 100% of all credit applications considered. See rawhideharley.com.
On approved credit.
Hey, it's NBA champion Bill Wennington. It's the best time to be a basketball fan. All the thrills and the playoff drama, done sitting on the sidelines and ready to win some real cash? Check out Pick 6 from DraftKings. When it comes to basketball payouts, DraftKings Pick 6 posterizes the competition, including prize picks. Hit all your picks and score higher minimum payouts on Pick 6 Plus. Even more cash if you outscore the competition.
Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code 965. That's code 965 for new customers to play $5, get $50 in Pick 6 credits. Better payouts, bigger wins. Only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. 1 per new customer. Bonus awarded as non-withdrawable Pick 6 credits that expire in 14 days. Limited time offer. See terms at pick6.DraftKings.com/promos.
What's up, guys? It's Drew. Could you benefit from a little extra in the bedroom? We all could. Blue Chew can help. Your partner wants you to do whatever it takes to make your sex life better, and Blue Chew is your secret weapon for the bedroom or wherever you decide to get it on. Turn oh no into oh yes with Blue Chew. You know, if you're getting ready for work, you might have a coffee. If you're having dinner with your in-laws, you might have something else to spike it a little bit. But when it gets to feel hot and heavy in the bedroom, the only thing that you need is Blue Chew. They're an online prescription service, and there's no visits to the doctor's office. There's not those awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. It ships right to your door in a discreet package. Plus, their licensed medical providers work with you individually to help you find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. If you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com and get your first month free when you use our promo code KFNZ at checkout. You just pay $5 in shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code KFNZ to receive your first month free. Then you'll be ready to chew it and do it.
Shopping with your parents can be embarrassing.
Why would they sell jeans with holes in them? I'm going to speak to the manager.
Mom!
That hoodie is giving. You should get it. YOLO.
Thanks to the Chase mobile app, your kid can shop independently while you keep an eye on their spending. So you can go from...
We can be twinsies.
...to...
How was shopping? Saw you stayed on budget.
Thanks, Mom. Freedom for kids, control for parents. That's family banking from Chase.
Account subject to approval. Chase mobile app is available for select mobile devices. Message and data rates may apply. JP Morgan Chase Bank N.A. member FDIC.
Okay, raise your hand if you want to make your life a little bit easier. Great. Now raise your other hand if you like to be comfortable. Perfect. Now that you have both hands raised, imagine putting on your shoes. And that, folks, right there is your answer to an easier, more comfortable life. Go hands-free with Skechers Slip-ins. This is footwear you don't need your hands to put on. They can be raised in the air, and you can just step it and go. Why don't you experience what people can't stop talking about? Life-changing Skechers Slip-ins. Get your Slip-ins at a Skechers store, Skechers.com, or wherever stylish footwear is sold.
What's up, KC? This is Matt Quattrero. On your way home from the ballpark, make sure to listen to Vern's postgame show right here on 96.5 The Fan. I will not be listening.
96.5 The Fan, KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2 Kansas City, an Odyssey Sports Station.
$11 o'clock hour here on Cody and Gold. Alex Gold, Cody Sapp, Drew Nixon with you. Hope to see you guys on Thursday night at the Landing in Liberty for our draft party. A chance to win $965 plus a Juwan Taylor autographed helmet. If you can figure out what the heck is going to happen in this draft, specifically, it might come down to the teens, right? 10 to 20 might make or break your draft board from the chance at winning $965 or not. Because, look, there's some trickiness maybe in the top 5 or so, but those picks you can maybe figure out. Once it gets from like 10 to 20, it could be thrown off because you're getting points for picking the player and the right pick and the right team. So you might have had it nailed that so-and-so's going 17th, but if there's a trade, all of a sudden you got the wrong team, and then you end up not getting as many points as you thought. So hope to see you guys at the Landing in Liberty.
I know on Thursday we'll make our predictions for who we think the Chiefs actually take at pick 31, if they trade up, trade down, what selection we think will take place as we get close to the draft. As you mentioned, this Thursday is the Chiefs pick at the end of the first round once again. I think that's being used too much of as a crutch for Brett Veach. I think it's the only, it's like a constant, built-in excuse for his lack of finding star players. I'm not saying he's a bad drafter, because I think that would be overly harsh and unnecessarily harsh based on what he's done. But if there is something that Brett Veach needs to do better, it is in finding more top-end level talent players in the draft depending on the spot. I understand it's harder to find in the first round because you're picking at 31, not picking at 10. But people find star players in the second, third, fourth, fifth rounds all the time. Puka Nacua was a fifth-round pick. We had mentioned previous guys in the Chiefs' history, including Chris Jones in the second, or Justin Houston, or a million other players we can kind of go through that cycle of that are found in those rounds. And at this point, his best draft pick is probably Trent McDuffie.
No doubt.
Second is either Trey Smith or Creed Humphrey, depending on if you value where they took the player versus production versus just level of player. If it's just level of player, I think it's probably Creed Humphrey. As second, if it's value to level of player, it's probably Trey Smith. He finds plenty of starters, guys who stick around for 4 years, 5 years. It's just not a bad thing, but he does need to find more stars. I don't think that's crazy. Why is it crazy to be like, find more star players?
The way he's drafted is why the dynasty exists. That's why it exists. It's why it's been prolonged. It's why they were going for a three-peat. Sure. Well, some of the names you mentioned, I'd like a Puka Nacua as well, Cody. I would have
maybe Rasheed Rice is that. I don't know. He's an unknown.
Liked that as well. What you mentioned, I think, are a couple outliers, though. You're like, oh, there's some guys that were drafted in the 5th round or whatever. Like, sure, it happens every year, every couple of years, where there are diamonds in the rough that turn out to be star players. No doubt. But I would argue now, I think you're specifically talking about skill position.
Or
because
high-end
I think
starters.
you're talking about skill position, because I would push back on they haven't found high-end start. Creed Humphrey, best center in football.
Yeah.
Trey Smith, one of the best right guards, about to become the highest paid left guard, or right guard period, I guess, in football. Right? George Karlaftis, he's not a star, but he is becoming one of the better edge rushers in the league. Trent McDuffie, top 3 corner in the NFL, and you gave him credit for that when I heard you.
Yeah, Trent McDuffie's a star player. He's one of the best corners in the league.
Rasheed Rice, we are going to find out more. I mean, he potentially last year with the start of the season prior to the injury, I mean, heck, I think you thought he was going to be a 1,300-yard wide receiver. So we're going to find out this year on him. I get what you're saying.
It's 6 full drafts, not a small sample size anymore either.
I know you think it's an excuse, but I do. If you're drafting 28 to 32, you can't tell me your job at finding said star skill position player is not tougher than just about everybody else in the league. I just think it is. So, yes, I would love for this year's draft if they went out and they found the next top 5 running back in the NFL with their 2nd-round pick and a 3rd-round pick, and it's a running back. I would love for that to be the case, but if they draft a running back in the 3rd round and he turns out to be like the 8th to 12th best running back, they end up drafting a defensive tackle that ends up being a top 15 defensive tackle, that potentially could end up being even more beneficial for them. It's why they have gone on the run that they've had, not because they drafted one player and busted out all the other ones. They have drafted multiple players that have been starters. We even acknowledged last week this year's draft is more of a starter draft, maybe not a star draft. Look at the top end. Even if you had a top 10 pick this year, I'd be a little nervous.
I don't want to get stuck into the semantics argument because the text line 816, come on, Patrick is the reason for the dynasty.
Yeah.
Not technically his draft pick. I'm not saying he had, I think that this is like where we should live in a world of gray and that people don't want to. If we're talking about draft pick of record, it's not his draft pick. That belongs to John Dorsey. If we were talking, do I understand that he had a major factor in helping them come to the decision to draft Patrick Mahomes? Of course. But if John Dorsey just hated Patrick Mahomes, he wouldn't have taken him. It wouldn't matter how much Brett Veach banged the table for it. So it's
my point about Veach and the dynasty being is the prolonged the prolonged years of success. The way they have drafted is why they were going for a 3-peat. No kidding. If they didn't have Patrick Mahomes, they would not be going for a 3-peat last year. Obviously, I think we all are understanding they have the best quarterback in the league. That is why they have the rings that they have, along with Andy Reid. No kidding.
Sure.
But the prolonged success since Patrick Mahomes become the starter, why they have consistently been that is also because they have drafted starter-level talent over the years, and you have to be able to do that prolonged because you can't just go and find starters and overpay in free agency every single year.
Maybe they're just not taking big enough swings. Maybe that's what's led to this, like, hey, we do okay, but we're not taking the chance, guys. And here's the truth. You are right. The prolonged dynasty is related to the ability to find starters. The reason why they can win championships is the stars, and the stars were all taken not at pick 31. Chris Jones was picked in the 2nd round. Travis Kelce was taken in the 3rd round. I'm not saying find Travis Kelce. I'm not just saying,
I also would love to find one of those.
It's about time you look. But the truth is, you do still have to find Hall of Famers too. Like that is part of the job, whether you like it or not. I'm not saying it has to be every year, but he is 6 full years into this, and at this point, he has found none that we know for sure. But look, McDuffie would have a chance based on the start of his career. Creed would have a chance based on the stars. Those guys are not ruled out for that. They're not the people 3 years in the league that were like, well, that's a Hall of Famer. Although I'm not saying you would have thought that about Travis Kelce. 3 years into his career, that's a pretty early start. So I'm not saying that there's not still time left on it. But I think that's part of the reason I'm feeling more of that pressure now, is that the dynasty has been propped up by the 3-headed monster of Travis Kelce, Chris Jones, and Patrick Mahomes, none of which he drafted. And I'm not saying, again, he didn't have any factor. He was a part of the organization for some of those decisions. Not all, but some of those decisions. But, like, he didn't take any of the Mount Rushmore of why they're the greatest team in the NFL. Those aren't on his books. Well, at some point, those do have to become a part of it.
As time goes on, that'll be a fair criticism or how the dynasty continues or does not. That is a really post-2025 question. That is a starting in 2026. Go through this roster. Look how many guys are on one-year deals. Like a huge chunk of guys are on one-year deals, especially on defense, on the defensive line. A lot of guys are, we can go through one by one. Hollywood Brown, one-year deal. Isaiah Pacheco, Kareem Hunt, all expiring contracts, right? The defensive line, Charles Omenihu, expiring contract after this year. Mike Dan, I believe, expiring contract after this year.
He technically has a year after it, but it's like a dead
dummy year. Okay.
They could bring him back, but like the cost benefit doesn't necessarily.
So I guess what I'm saying, what you're asking them to do, he will have to do that as time goes on for them to still be where they currently are. I don't think, like, right this second, it is the...
I'm saying this year might be the year it needs to start.
It could, because and that's how they could draft a lot for the future, more so than even immediate impact guys. Whether we're talking about trading up for a Josh Simmons type, that would be a 2026 and beyond draft pick, not a 2025 draft pick. There's a few players like that. But I think in 2026 is when there could be a complete shift of... You mentioned the core that has got them there. That's when the big shift could change. And the pieces other than Mahomes that we talk about, that could be what they have to fill and figure out going forward. But for this upcoming year, that's why the draft is really interesting. Are they going to draft for impact guys in 2025? Or are they willing to take a couple high picks that maybe don't do much in 2025, but it sets them up for the next, era, if you will, of Chiefs football?
I just kind of go through and I think quarterback, this is why I feel like I expect your hit rate to be better. Other teams are having to do this while actively looking for a quarterback. You never have to do that, right? So, as much as you're
those other teams are winning rings.
No, but he has to pick at 31. He gets a whole extra pick that a third of the league doesn't get every year, right? He gets an extra, wow. He gets more, he does. Yeah. Not every team. I said a third of the league. I understand that, the Cincinnati
there's
and
three
Buffalo
quarterbacks. There's
and
probably three quarterbacks that are going in the first round this year.
I guess part of it is, and look, maybe it's not just skill position, because Rashee Rice very well could be that. I'll admit, Rashee Rice is the biggest unknown to all of this, because if he comes back from the injury and whatever, and he is that 1,300-yard receiver guy, let's say Rashee Rice doesn't turn into that, but Xavier Worthy does. Way too early to know on either of those guys if the kind of player I'm describing is in there. But I think sometimes it just gets. I think it's easier to find a Myles Garrett if you're just picking in the top 10. But I bet if we went through the top 15 sack guys from last year, my guess is that half of them are in the top 10, but the other half are guys taken in the sometime after pick 31, either around pick 30 or after. Because I know TJ Watt. I don't remember where Nick Bonito was taken. Was he a first round pick? Anybody remember he was taken? Because he was one of the top sack guys last year. Sure. I feel like I'd remember, because the top 10 guys, you almost never forget those, right? We all kind of know where those guys got taken in the draft. So my guess is that he was not picked there. He might have been picked in the first round. I just can't remember exactly where he was taken. But I think those guys can be found. I'm just I think part of it is Gold more about the idea that I do think it needs to start now, right? Now's your time to go find a star or two. And if this is the starter draft, maybe not this year. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? This might be a tough year for that. But you do have to have that ability sometimes. Even the Bengals, who were terrible drafting. You find Trey Hendricksons of the world. He's a star player. What was he, a third?
I think so. I don't.
He was signed in free agency.
I think there's a lot more examples of those. You make it sound like just one guy, but I would say.
Yeah, but I think you make it sound like there's 10 of them every year. I think there's a balance between what we both are saying here, which is normally what happens, right, in any conversation that we have. I think, you mentioned Trey Hendrickson. That is so. That's the one that stands out for them.
TJ Watt is probably the one who.
No, I just mean
Steelers.
I just mean in general. If I was in another city having the same conversation, I would say, well, the Chiefs found Trent McDuffie. How come we can't find a Trent McDuffie? And then you're telling me, well, the Bengals found Trey Hendrickson. Why can't the Chiefs find Trey Hendrickson? My point is, I can do that for every team. I can be, if we were doing sports talk radio in Denver today, I can pinpoint another team. The Denver Broncos are looking for their star tight end. Well, the Chiefs found Travis Kelce in the third round. How come we can't find Travis Kelce? I'm just saying we can play that game, I think, in every single market, asking why this franchise found that one player. Find me the team that over the last 5 years, maybe the Eagles are the only example, where they found, you're telling me they need to find Hall of Famers, where they found over the last 6 years 5 Hall of Famers or 3 Hall of Famers. That doesn't exist.
No, and again, that is not a number I would ever assign to it.
Yeah.
But you do have to find a Hall of Famer. That's the job. Whether you like it or not, and not you, whether the Chiefs like it or not, that the job is that he's done it 6 years. 6 years in, you should have found a Hall of Famer by now. I'm not saying you should have found 3 or 4 or 10.
But you understand why that sounds silly in the moment, right? Like I think long term it does. You're right that the core already existed, so that's why they've been able to. They've just drafted starters. Yeah. The reason why it sounds silly is because you're saying you have to find one, and he hasn't in the last 6 years. And I'm saying, what was the consequence of not? Did he have to find it? They've won 3 rings. Did he have to find it?
But I'm saying, but part of the reason I think that it just depends on how you value it. I think that they needed the things that they've done because of the starters.
Right, and we'll
they do
find
not
out
win it without the 3 Hall of Famers they have right now.
Sure. I mean, the
like
Patriots
those Hall of Famers.
The Patriots didn't win theirs without a couple. The Chiefs have done it with those. That is the next era of the Chiefs regime. We'll find out, and that's what I'm saying. Like from 2026 and beyond, we're going to find out who are those star players. If they do not have star players, I still don't think we need to put on the Hall of Fame level. But if they do not find star players, then sure, that's a problem we'll be talking about for the next 5 years. But I don't think it's as easy as we are. As we are maybe making it seem, especially when you are, Cody, drafting 28 to 32 just about every single year, man.
I mean, I get it, but like at this point, you still get shots. It's not that no Hall of Fame talents are found after that, I guess is the point. And if you're picking there every year, odds are you are the team that finds a player at 31 sometimes that eventually goes on to do that. And look, maybe some of this frustration is they got a real mixed bag in first-round picks. You know, Felix not working out right now. Xavier Worthy did in the early going, but we still got to see growth to know if it's like gangbusters, right? We don't know. Too early. They didn't have first-round picks a couple of times. Like that first year is always a throwaway year. I don't care what he did in his first year drafting. They didn't even have a first-round pick because they went for Patrick Mahomes the year before. Mixed bag of nonsense. They were picking high-ish, but not that high. Like it's all kind of a mix. But we got to see where it goes. Meanwhile, like you mentioned on the Royals, the offense stinks, but you're really happy. I'm good. You're really happy with one thing the Royals have done this entire stretch.
Carlos Estevez.
Is it more than one, or is it just that one?
I mean, that's the biggest. I mean, the whole rotation's been pretty darn good. Chris Bubich, who's pitching tomorrow night, has been terrific for them. But they have a legit closer. They have a legit closer that you know if you can get into the later innings starting pitching, or if Urseg, luckily they caught a break, it looks like, with the ball off his foot or back of his ankle. That could have been way worse.
Yeah.
You get it to him, and then Urseg into Carlos, you feel like you got a guy that locks the game down. It has probably been since maybe Ian Kennedy, probably the last name that comes to mind immediately, where you just felt like you give him the ball as a closer and it's done. It's taken care of. Yesterday, he gave you 2 innings, had a quick ninth, then comes out, works around some trouble in the 10th inning, ends up actually getting a win. For a team that has 9 wins, he's got one of the 9 wins credited to him, and he's got 5 saves. That's pretty damn impressive, Cody. The team's won 9, and he's got a win to his name and 5 saves. That's pretty darn good. You know, he talked to Vern after one of those saves, I don't know, probably now 2 weeks ago, and he was not 100% in spring training. I think we're starting to see him actually get better and better because he wasn't a full go throughout spring, and so now I think we're starting to even see the best of Carlos going forward. They have a legit closer. Like, go across baseball. Right now, I know Emmanuel Clase is struggling in Cleveland. He's been kind of the AL reliever.
He's been kind of up to that point.
But Carlos, and look, Carlos is going to have plenty of save opportunities, I still think, despite everybody thinking the season is over already. So the way he's pitching right now is going to come up massive for them if they're going to get this thing corrected in these tight margin games. And, hopefully tomorrow there's another opportunity for him to get a save against the Colorado Rockies and pick up another one. But he was awesome yesterday, and he's been doing that.
This is a lot what we've talked about with J.J. Picollo before, which is if your single biggest free agent signing is going to be Carlos Estevez, right? You don't give it to Santander.
Yeah.
You don't give it to Profar, 2 guys I'm glad they did not give the money to as of this second. But, if you're not going to give it to those guys, then the single biggest signing you make this offseason better work, because especially when the offense isn't going to work, and he's working great. It's been perfect. He's pitched, he's given up, 1 run in all of his outings. He's blown, I think, a save. And they still, I think, that was in the early, that might have been the first week of the season, like you pointed out, where he was putting a few more guys on base and making it a little dicier. He's been nearly perfect. Nearly perfect. And then it allows you to use Urseg in the way you and I want them to use Urseg anyway. I don't care if it's the 5th inning, the 6th inning, the 8th inning. I just want you to use Urseg if there are people on base and the game might be lost. That's when I want you to use him. A guy who can throw 100 miles an hour. I want the biggest strikeout guy in the biggest moment. And then when the ninth kicks around, that's when I want you to hand things off to Estevez. The Harvey part is where it's interesting, because if he comes back and looks like he did in the early part of the season, well, then they might have one of the best back end of the bullpens in the league.
They probably need him back,
Harvey,
though,
Lynch is good. Lynch has been very good,
to be flat out dominant, Harvey probably needs to be back in the mix, though. because we all know, like, Urseg and Estevez are not going to be available every night.
You're just looking back through, and yeah, I can't even find, other than maybe the walks would be my only complaint out of Estevez. It's not even that bad. That's all there is left to complain about. And part of it is just, at 32 years old, I'm always concerned. This is part of the reason I was fearful of it. He's obviously been a very good closer. It's opportunities now. Now it's your job as a team. I'm pretty sure you got the last 9 outs covered when Harvey's back.
Yeah.
Maybe the last 12. Because I'm not sure, it's not going to take me much longer before I believe that Daniel Lynch deserves to be a full part of that conversation. He's given up 1 run himself, and he's pitched more innings than Estevez. Not more high leverage innings. Mm-hmm. That's an important note. Definitely not more of that, but just more innings in total. At some point, if you got the last 9 to 12 outs, all I'm asking you to do is to score 4 runs before the 6th. And I know that's asking a lot right now because they've scored 4 runs or more, I don't know, 10 times this year or whatever, maybe. And I don't know. That seems high.
Aren't they like 7-1 in games where they score 4 or more? Something like that.
That sounds right. Yeah. They've scored more than 4 twice, man. Both of those were I don't know, 3 weeks ago and the first week of the season against the Brewers. So they need offense in order for this to work. But yeah, Estevez has been a perfect signing. Canna, that signing that trade actually, they just completed that into the trade. If you want to know the player to be named later, it's out there. Never heard of him. His name's Carlos Espinal. He's an 18-year-old in the Dominican Summer League. I hope he doesn't turn into a Cy Young Award winner. That's pretty much what you're hoping for out of the player to be named later. But once again, JJ strength gold, we've said are 2 things. It might not be like the players he has in-house. It might not be, MJ Melendez. It might not be some of that. But he is good at finding free agents that help their baseball team and trades that help their baseball team. And, if he can figure out the draft part of it, then we'd really be cooking.
Trash of the day.
All right, so this is a new trend, I guess, I was not aware of.
Okay.
On the dating apps. Something called Hatfished. Not catfish, Hatfished. We've all heard of catfish, but...
What, do you think the ladies aren't looking through this? I already know where this is going.
So, Hatfished. Apparently, hatfishing occurs when someone wears a hat to conceal the fact that they're more or less balding. This practice is often used in photos on dating apps. The term appeared, I guess this goes way back, but it's coming to light even more. There was a new article on this over the weekend. And it sounds like it's basically that simple, that guys in particular, are wearing hats or hoodies covering their hair so that people can't tell that they are balding or losing their hair. So the American Hair Loss Association estimates 2 out of every 3 men will start to lose at least some of their hair by the time they're 35. This is a thing. Now, I don't wear hats anyway, so I'm definitely not wearing a hat on a dating profile pic because you guys know, I've been doing the show with you, Cody,
well, you're not
for
now,
6
but who
years.
knows, right?
I mean, down the road if I had to.
You've said before that you might, if you're...
On my mom's side of the family, it's not good. It doesn't look good for me on my mom's side.
How are you feeling about it? Your hair looks okay.
So no joke, went to get a haircut a week ago.
Oh,
so
no.
this is a
Did
week.
she make a comment?
This is yes. So
Tough.
a week ago,
Tough.
Or 2 weeks ago, you guys know I had the back issue.
Yeah. How's that doing?
90%. It still tightens up if I'm sitting in the chair for a while, but it's so much better. Okay. I'm back at the gym. We're good. So that happens, and I was like, oh man, I'm getting old moment. Like, this is pathetic. Then I get my haircut 2 Fridays ago, last Friday, I don't know. At the end of the haircut, lady that cuts my hair says, hey, starting to see some thinning.
Ooh.
I said, what? I said, really? And she pointed out where. I was like, oh, shoot. Then I reminded myself, my mom's side of the family, it's not good. My dad's got a full head of hair still, and he's in his 70s. Mom's side, her parents, her grandparents, not good for me. Not good for me when it comes to that. And that's where I'll get it.
True?
That's where, yeah, you get it from the...
is that true? That's something I've heard.
You get it from the maternal side, is that right?
I think that's true.
Anyway, so yeah, to answer your question, that might be a problem down the road. There's things you can do to prevent that from being real problematic. You can get a head start, which is what I'm going to try to do. Get a head start on this.
Would you go to Turkey for a hair transplant? I'm
not going to go to Turkey, but I'm willing to do whatever it takes to make sure I don't go bald. Absolutely.
Wow. So you're willing to take any step necessary in order to keep a full head of hair?
I'm not going bald. No, not doing it. Not going to have just the side on the hair. No, that's not happening.
So you'd say you'd go as far as hair transplant?
Yes. Absolutely.
Man, that
yes.
is woo.
Not going bald.
I'm going to go back to the original point of trash today.
Yeah, the hat fishing thing.
What purpose does that do? Because look, if you do a great job of not revealing it for a couple months, you actually start dating and everything is great. And then it's like, hey, I've got, you take a hat off accidentally. Like you get home, you just take the hat off naturally, pop it on the counter, whatever it is. And then she's like, hang on a second. She says your name and it's like, Gold, is this really you? It's like, yeah, what do you mean? It's like, oh, this
the
is not
dating
the
app
person
problem
who you
is
present
this.
I think that's
yourself
what
to
everyone
be.
does on dating apps.
dating
Though.
app
I don't think
thing
men are doing
problem.
anything. I'm sorry.
There's
You're just
plenty
not
of
looking
women
through.
on the app
If
that-
every single photo of his is in a hat, you know.
Yeah. I think
you
this
know
is
what you're looking at. This is not a mystery.
I guess men are doing this, but on the other side, you're right. Like, if you go right now, if we were to log onto a dating app, there are plenty of, whether it's photoshopped, a little touched up, or just old, the photos. There's sometimes where you can't, was that photo from 3 years ago, or is that from this weekend?
Yeah.
You look way different. It's not even full on catfish, but it's misleading to be nice. And then sometimes you get the photos where it's like her and 3 of her friends for the first 3 photos. You're like, which one are you?
Yes.
Which one are you? You run into that. So yeah, this goes all the way around.
First photo's got to be a you. I'm not saying you can't have photos of you with your friends.
I agree.
First photo's got to be you.
Somebody has a suggestion, Gold, from the 913. Just grow a thick beard.
I can
It
do
helps
that.
anything.
I can do that. That's the thing. No
I
problem
can't
going
believe
to
you
the
said hair transplant. That is like, look,
Well,
if
I
you want
would-
to
I
take
don't-
some
that's- that's like
you want
the
to take a
extreme.
supplement thing, where
Some
like
Hims.
lots
That's
of people do
Hims or
that.
something. I don't know.
That's the extreme. You asked, like, if it got that bad? If there was no hair left except for on the side?
But what if it was just like a little thin in some spots and you could style it in a way where it looked okay?
well,
on you,
you can do some treatments to fix that. Yeah, I'm all on board if it gets to that point. I'm 34.
If I go bald, I go bald. It just is what it is.
A lady was cutting my hair. She's like, hey, just a heads up. This is just a heads up.
You are
now-
Cody. You're vehemently against Gold having a transplant. It sounds like
no. I believe in Gold once. Like Gold. I'm not against it. I was surprised. Against it, I don't care. People can do whatever they want. with
Here's
their
the
body.
difference.
Doesn't mean anything of that.
It depends where I'm at in life. Cody can easily say, oh, whatever happens. He's already married. He's got kids. It doesn't matter. He's like, what's the point? For me, if I'm 39 in 5 years and I actually really am losing hair if that happens, and I'm single still, that's way more. That's
height
still
helps in the dating game.
Sure,
Just not that.
I appreciate that, Cody. But like,
That's not going anywhere.
It's not. It's not. So I'm just saying, that's what's going on dating apps. Apparently, hats. I don't wear hats. I just don't. A+ body type with well-proportioned frame and premium length.
That's it. Again, like there's a way to style it. If
There
I
you
go
go.
bald, I think it'll be up here. But my hair's just like not thick in texture, never has been. But it's all there. I don't know.
It's just thin anyway.
Yeah, it was always. Does it make sense? Like it was never a thick textured hair.
Is your grandpa on your mom's side?
Well, I mean, he's been dead a long time.
Did he have a full head of hair when he was older?
He did.
Well,
For
then you're
whatever
good.
that's worth.
Well, then you're good.
For whatever that's worth, he had a full head of hair.
Then
but
you
I don't
should
know.
be good.
Yeah.
Then you should be good. Because, yeah, my dad has
It's
a
fine
full
in the
head
front.
of hair. But
that
doesn't
doesn't seem
matter.
to be the issue.
Yeah. All right.
That's the easier place to hide it too.
True. All right, up next, we'll get to the Cheese Spread half hour. The latest mock draft that's out there, and it leads us into a conversation about a trade involving a current player. We'll explain that next.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Bobby Witt Jr., and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Rainy weekend in Kansas City. Maybe you heard that drip inside your wall. I used to hear that. That's dead serious. Why I called Century Roofing to take care of my repair needs. They came out for their free estimate to tell me if I needed my roof replaced, to see if I needed those roof replacements to keep a small problem from becoming a big problem. They've been in the Kansas City area for 35 years. They've done over 30,000 roofs. So if you hear that leak, you had some hail come through, those things can be a concern to your roof, and you can find out how big those problems are thanks to my friends over at Century Roofing. Again, when somebody's been doing it that long, you know that you can trust them, and they'll go, no hassle, just schedule an inspection, take a look at it, and that way they can tell you where those problems are. Don't climb up there yourself. Look, I got tempted in that in years past too. Find out from the professionals and book your inspection today. Schedule your estimate today from KC Basin, female-owned Century Roofing. Trust the pillars of strength. Go to centuryroofingkc.com and tell them that Cody sent you.
Attention car shoppers, Kevin Harlan here with Rob Seid of Rob Seid Ford in South Kansas City. Hey Rob, what's going on?
Hey Kevin, we've got big savings, rare inventory, no pressure. It's simple, and that's how we like it. 2025 is off to a record-breaking start, and we're heating things up while the selection's hot.
Simple is what I love most about Rob Site Ford. So, Rob, what's the plan?
We've got employee pricing on new Fords, up to $14,000 in savings. In the inventory, we've got the hard-to-find models everyone's chasing. And, as always, you still get what sets us apart. A friendly, non-commissioned sales team, massive trade-in values, and the easiest, most hassle-free car buying experience in Kansas City.
That's why Rob Site Ford is the only dealership I'll send my friends and family to. But you're forgetting one thing.
What's that?
Rob Site Ford is Kansas City's top-rated Google Ford dealership.
Good call. Can't forget about that. Check out Rob Site Ford in South Kansas City at 135th and State Line, ROBSIGHT.com.
Going out to eat just got a serious upgrade, Kansas City. 30 Hop is your new go-to. An American bar and kitchen with bold flavors, local taps, expansive patios, and an unbeatable happy hour. Now open in Lee Summit and coming to Miriam's Grand Station on April 30th. As the proud lunch partner of the Cody and Gold Show, 30 Hop truly has something for everyone. Stop in for lunch, stay for happy hour. 30hop.com. That's 30hop.com. Local beer, American Eats, big patio.
Our biggest deal is back. The Tires at Cost sale at Telly Tire and Auto Centers. You pay what we pay. No gimmicks, no catch. All in-stock tires from Telly's huge inventory at cost. Plus mounting and balancing by certified tire technicians for only $27.95. The top brands, the lowest possible prices, with a 30-day ride guarantee and lifetime tire protection. There's never been a better time to replace your worn-out tires. These unbeatable savings won't last long. Hurry and reserve your tires today. Take care of your car. Take advantage of our sale. Take it to Telly. Additional charges apply for junk tire disposal and road hazard warranty.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Sometimes it feels like the world is moving at hyperspeed and you can't keep up because it's one thing then another. And don't forget the meeting and the yoga class and the dinner reservation. But then you get into the all-new Nissan Murano and you feel the breeze from the panoramic moonroof while the massaging seats melt away the tension of the day. And you realize that sometimes the greatest rush is not rushing at all. Shop the all-new Murano at nissanusa.com. Panoramic moonroof massaging leather appointed seats are available features.
You ever try fixing your car and realize you're missing that one part? Yeah, been there. That's why eBay's my go-to. They've got millions of parts, guaranteed to fit. I'm talking brake pads for when yours have seen one too many miles of stop and go. Oil filters, cause you don't mess around with your engine care. Even got this cold air intake on my watch list. I might just go for it. To keep the ride cool and your DIY streak hot. Find all the parts you need at prices you'll love. Guaranteed to fit every time. eBay. Things people love. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this. If something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Basketball playoffs are underway, which means Underdog just became one of the best places to make entries during the playoffs with their Extender program. With the Extender, you can play your way to increasingly bigger boosts each round of the playoffs. Start a playoff series by using a Game 1 boost. Continue boosting each subsequent game to unlock the next one. The longer the series, the bigger the boost. Join the millions of fans that have already won billions of dollars playing at Underdog. These games have been blowouts. Give yourself something to root for as you make those selections over at Underdogs. And if you get your entry correct, you could win up to 1,000 times your money. So $1 could turn into $1,000 with your hoops knowledge. So download the Underdog app and sign up with that promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P, to unlock a special offer for up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code TAPP, T-A-P-P. Must be 18 plus and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/extend.html for details. Concern with your play. Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Visit www.ntpgambling.org.
Royals coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
It's almost Andy Reid. The offseason is a perfect time for a $100 tune-up from Renner Garage Door. Get a free replacement quote today. Call or click rennerdoor.com, Renner forward and back.
RENNER. You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. Welcome in to the Chiefs Red Half Hour. Every day at 11:30 with Cody and Gold on your new home for Chiefs football. 96.5 The Fan.
That's right. It is the Chiefs Red Half Hour. We'll get into some trade scenarios in just a bit. And the reason why we're going to get into some trade scenarios is because I'm told we got a special mock draft. That's right. That's right.
Wow, just straight
Start
in.
things off, boys.
Right into the Chiefs Red Half Hour with a mock draft.
Immediately.
Is it a 7-rounder? They actually went out 10 rounds. They want to include undrafted free agents in this one, probably.
That would be. I've never seen that before. That would be bold. It is.
That's the next step, dude.
It is a 7-rounder. It is a 7-rounder from Pro Football Network.
Okay.
This is an interesting one though because I think it's going to be. It's something that's totally new. We have not seen it at all whatsoever. I don't even think we had a mock draft last year that had anything like this. So here we go. It does start off with the Chiefs at 31 taking an offensive lineman. Josh Connerly Jr. From Oregon. He's been rising throughout the process, viewed as a round one tackle across the board.
Is it weird that I heard no buzz? No. You see any other than the mock drafts? Yeah. Have you seen a single draft expert try to connect Josh Connerly to the Chiefs? Because I haven't.
I think we've seen
just
it
these
once
like
or twice
random mocks that think that they're taking offensive linemen.
Yeah, I mean some legitimate mock drafts. I wouldn't say it's like just a random guy. I mean this site that for this was like a legitimate site that does draft coverage.
It was more earlier on, I think, when he was mocked to them because I think they say he's round one, but I think he's
Josh Simmons goes at 34.
I was going to say we've seen him going.
That's surprising.
Further on back in the list. It is interesting as well. The Bills traded back again in this draft. The Browns, right before the Chiefs pick, take Jackson Dart.
Okay, so they did what I was talking about with Hunter and then trade back in.
But continuing with the Chiefs, it's not until the 4th round where we get into what I was talking about. But later on in the 2nd round, of course, with pick 63, Pro Football Network has the Chiefs taking Alfred Collins, defensive tackle out of Texas. I think this is one of the also good comps or the fun
Collins. Let's go.
The fun draft profiles.
Yes, that's where
Mitch Holtis was talking up Alfred Collins to us today, randomly in the hallway.
Alfred Collins is where this came from. A+ body type with well-proportioned frame and premium length. That's where that came from.
332. The crazy thing about this, Gold, your boy, gets picked right after him. James Pierce Jr., 64 to the Eagles.
Luther Burden goes 47 in this mock. 47.
That's tough. You're telling me James Pierce Jr. was on the board?
Yes.
And I think he's going. I think he's going to be there at 31 on Thursday. It's just whether or not the Chiefs like him or not. Like I don't think
he seems to be falling back.
He's more there at 63.
I don't. Yeah, that seems a little much. Unless
Luther Burden went 47.
Unless the character concern thing is a problem, right? Because I like the Commanders are picking 28th, right, or 29th. I'm sorry, I think 29th.
9th, yes.
Okay, they're picking 29th. They are going to draft an edge rusher. The Commanders
their
are.
biggest need, probably.
And so that's where some of the names that we're talking about for the Chiefs, like they could be trying to get the same player, Nick Scordon, James Pierce Jr.,
Jamar Stewart.
So you have a team 2 spots in front of you that is trying to potentially get the same type of player, unless the Chiefs all along have been not toying with us, but they were just dead set. We're drafting an offensive tackle no matter what. We don't care if it's Simmons. We don't care if it's Connerly or the other kid out of Minnesota, out of Ruskin Heights here, or whatever.
Ursary.
Yeah.
So round 3, of course, they have 2 picks. 66, Xavier Watts, safety out of Notre Dame. The reason
last time they drafted a Watts at safety, it stunk. R.I.P. Not R.I.P. R.I.P. I just meant as a player. Armani Watts didn't work out. Xavier Watts, any good?
Xavier Watts in the 3rd round is surprising. He is a ball hawk. He is one of the best guys in terms of picking off players. I think he led. I don't know if he was the top of college football, but over the last 2 years, he's one of the highest intercepting players. He totaled the highest number of interceptions. I think he had 12 of them in the last 2 years.
Set a school record 100-yard interception return. Yeah, tied for second in FBS with 6 interceptions.
He's very good.
This is another one of those. I go on Lance Zierlein's draft profile, and they do comps, right? They compare him to Malik Hooker, and they talk about rare instincts, great on-ball production. All this is good. It's another one where it lists a family note.
Oh.
Why? Some of these
what's this family note?
This one's another sad one.
Oh, no.
I think the ones where it mentions their parents being like a top-tier athlete, I get why you would
You're
like
like,
that.
hey, pedigree, Olympic level athlete.
This one's terrible.
What
Another
is it?
one. It says, again, why is it relevant? It says, father, Jeff, was a victim of a drive-by shooting in 2003.
Why are you telling me that?
Paralyzed from the waist down. Why is that a note on the draft profile?
I don't know.
I mean,
that's awful.
I got no idea.
It's a very good question. Pick
Okay.
95, Cam Scadaboo.
Back to the running back. Neither of us won.
Yeah, I was gonna say a lot. He's a fan favorite because the dude's got ridiculous vision and playmaking ability, but he doesn't have speed. That's like the number one thing that he doesn't have. If he had speed, he'd be a first-round pick. I don't think.
This is why he's not on the Cody and Gold list.
Correct. He
Off
doesn't
the
have
board.
that high-end speed.
He's off my board. You know, too slow.
Off the board entirely.
He's off my board.
Grueling physicality is
He's
the
gonna
way
be
that
really
was
good.
described. This is the interesting thing, guys, though.
All right.
So we get into the 4th round. The Chiefs have pick 133, or you would think in this trade, the Pittsburgh Steelers get pick 133, and the Chiefs get George Pickens.
What?
Wow, everybody will be happy that complained for 2 years that they didn't draft him.
I did want them to draft George Pickens, but he is now a known problem child. Now, in
I
fact,
am so out on this.
Dude, for a
I'm
fourth
so
round pick,
out on this.
You won't take on a headache for a
No,
4th round
I
pick?
am
Oh, I'll take on the headache for a 4th.
No, did you
I'm not giving him a
guys-
second, but I'll take on a headache for a 4th.
Did we just
all the headaches? I don't care.
Did we just not acknowledge what we saw when the Chiefs played them? Did we not? Did we all just forget what happened in December?
I'm very
where
aware.
He was taking plays off and pouting, and I would have
I remember all that.
basically just forgot about that entirely if you're calling for a trade. I would have made sure he wasn't on my football team. The minute I saw that, I would have said, you're done playing for the afternoon. Thank you very much. We're done. He's pouting. Give me a break. No, I'm absolutely not. We all know he has talent. No. And don't give me this, well, under Andy Reid wouldn't have tolerated. BS. Mike Tomlin's also a hard ass. He lets that happen. So, no. George Pickens, trade out entirely.
This is
Done.
so interesting.
For a 4th, I would do it in a second.
You would? You guys are on complete opposite sides of the spectrum.
In a second. First, no, I do not think he would just be no problems here. I don't think he would just mind his P's and Q's.
I think it's why they didn't draft him the first time when they had a chance.
I'm not even claiming that, but the Chiefs take way more problem child kids than just about any other team.
Sure, but it's the same regime that could have drafted him, and a lot of people believe they didn't draft him because of what we're seeing happen.
I will say the Chiefs do prefer off the field issues to on the field issues. They'll take on all the water in the world if you're getting in trouble that has nothing to do with football. But the second you start becoming a problem football player, that is where they typically draw a little more of a firm line, in my opinion, based on the players they have targeted or gone after before. Getting some trouble off the field will look the other way. Getting some trouble on the field is in like Marcus Peters, right? You start like getting into it with fans or taking plays off. They tend to boot you a little faster.
So you want to give up a 4th round pick for
fourth
round pick for problem child George Pickens, and then he's done after this year. He's a free agent. So 1 year, 4th round pick. Hope he doesn't just pout all season long because he's not getting the ball enough for Patrick Mahomes. And then, or you're telling me you want to give him an extension, which is even more terrifying.
That is a terrifying proposition. It's a 4th round pick. It's for 1 year. They gave up a 5th for DeAndre Hopkins. It could have been a 4th. This is a far younger, more talented player.
Sure.
As it sits right now.
He's not a mess, though.
And look, here's the truth.
D-Hop wasn't getting the ball. Did we hear stories about him pouting? I promise you, if the same thing happened where the Chiefs traded for Pickens and he just suddenly was not part of the offense for a couple weeks, we'd all hear about it.
I'm envisioning a world in which they take the running back I want.
Okay.
And then it is Rashee Rice, Xavier Worthy, George Pickens, and Travis Kelce. And my thought process is that is an unstoppable offense with Patrick Mahomes.
I'm out.
That cannot be. That's the number one offense in the league immediately, in my opinion. And so, like,
George
that part's
Pickens.
too tempting.
I mean, George Pickens, you said something that I know. You know why I know why you like Pickens?
I like him coming out of the draft, in my defense.
Well, that's why. You also said something 6 days ago on this show, and this is exactly what George Pickens is.
I am not a professional.
That is George Pickens, not a professional. He's just not. Drew, do you like the trade? It sounds like you might be interested in it.
Oh no, I know. I solely want. I was excited to bring this up because I was really intrigued to see what you guys would say.
I didn't know this was in this mock
People on the text
draft.
line might say because of
I-
all this. Should they trade for George Pickens at the deadline? That was always
Yeah.
that was a conversation that we had. I mean, them actually pulling this off would be interesting. It'd be some theater, I think for sure.
It definitely would be interesting. And based on how differing our opinions are on the trade, it could be fascinating to watch
If that
in
actually
2025.
happened, it would be fascinating
That would
to
be
see.
a fun watch.
It would be it'd be fascinating to see the one time where George Pickens doesn't get thrown the ball because he's not as open as
Correct.
he thinks he is, and he gets pissed at Mahomes on the sideline.
Correct.
Just to see it would be
I will say-
fascinating.
Correct. Now, I will say, if they did it, I would be rooting for it to work, obviously,
course.
and I would hope it works. But I would say, whoa, we all saw the warning signs. Don't come here whining
Sure.
about it in week 5.
You did mention, though, one thing where like Tomlin couldn't keep him in check. The one hard thing I'll say that is a big difference between those scenarios is that they have Andy, so let's just call him and Tomlin a wash in the keeping players, minding. But like, it's even harder for Tomlin to keep him in line when his quarterback is like Kenny Pickett and these guys that have no presence.
Mason Rudolph.
Zero
Yeah, I hear
presence at quarterback. None,
I hear
right?
you.
No clout, no juice, just a bunch of jags, including Russell Wilson by the time he got there too. So like at least Mahomes would be like, I got some clout to be like, yo, man, you weren't open.
I hear
don't know
you.
what to tell you.
I hear you. I think it's a fair point. But typically, we have seen enough. Typically, with players with the attitude like George Pickens,
usually a problem.
they don't suddenly just have an epiphany and like, you know what? Oh, I'm just a totally different person now. It usually doesn't work that way. So I don't know. That's fascinating. Okay.
I mean, I would, yeah.
As soon as I saw this,
It
I was
wouldn't
like,
be
"This is the
boring.
one we're doing today. This is the
It
one
definitely,
we're
it
doing."
definitely. I mean, there's just no way in which it would be boring.
Mm-hmm.
I can't argue that. I just.
Oh, and he'll make some great catches. I don't deny that. It's just like Drew said, what happens when he goes a couple weeks without a big game, without a big catch?
Give us the speed round version of the 6th and 7th. We don't need to spend a lot of time on him because
Well,
I want to
the
ask
Chiefs
a
don't have
follow-up
a
to
pick
this.
in the 6th round,
They
so
got
that
3 in the 7th.
That's pretty easy to get by. They take Brandon George, linebacker from Pitt,
All right, I've heard of him.
at 226. They also take further down LaJonte Webster, wide receiver out of Colorado, at 251, and then Mr. Relevant is Mose Vavau, offensive lineman from Fresno State.
Not Nazir Stackhouse, which has continued to be Bink's 7th.
Oh, they
round
take the
guy.
guard at
No.
Mr. Irrelevant. That's
Yeah,
fun.
That's fine. That's like, I guess here's a follow-up question on the George Pickens thing that I feel like it's worthy of this conversation. Is there a player that you were either willing to trade off of the Chiefs or trade onto the Chiefs right now for the draft's sake? Because that is the thing we do always miss in draft
From
talk.
the
Not
Chiefs or
just
to
us.
the Chiefs?
To or from, either. Because this is the thing we consistently miss in draft talk for teams that does still occur on draft day or in this weirdo time where there has not been a trade for a draft pick in the first round of these other ones as consistently. Like, is there somebody you do want to bring into the organization? Or like, I don't think anyone here is going to say trade Trey Smith because I think that would be nuts. But like, is there, are you willing to let Joshua Williams go for a 6th? Are you willing, are there players you're willing to kind of like rob Peter to pay Paul, right? To kind of like adjust in and out of there? Because that would be the follow-up to this. Who are the guys that you're willing to like ship off the team or bring back in from the team? Because I would do it for a 4th. I would do it for George Pickens. I mean, I don't
think
know
there
where
is,
he got
Cody.
that.
I don't think there really is. I don't really think there is a player that I would be willing to do that on today's present roster.
A current player to give up a pick for, to get rid of for a pick.
The problem is on the Chiefs roster right now, there's not a lot of good like ship out candidates, right? If I asked you, unless you're willing to just like totally give up on a player, and I think that'd be crazy for the ones that you would never get the value back in return, right? Like Felix or some of these other guys where the corner room is where I would entertain it. Guy, like I mentioned Joshua Williams, I mentioned him for a reason. You draft another corner, you got Christian Fulton.
But why are you in the rush to trade a player that's been in this on this defense for a 6th round?
I don't think
pick?
he's very good.
But
And
like
I
for a
would
6th round
rather-
pick, why?
I value that in Brett Veach's ability to draft players. I'd probably just take my chances there instead. I'll risk it with Nazi and these others. I'd probably move off of one of the corners this offseason, whether it be a cut or those things candidate is probably the range. But outside of that, other than I don't think you're ever getting anything for Sky Moore or Wanye. I'm just asking about the guys who like would hypothetically make sense, right? That you would have to make those. On the team is the far more interesting proposition. Pickens being one of those. The text line's like, trade a 4th for Tyreek Hill. Like, they already did that. That's crazy, right?
There might be one, and I don't know if people are going to like this or not. Given how good this part
defensive lineman?
given how good part of this draft is, What do you think you could get for George Karlaftis?
They can't afford to do that. Who the hell's getting after the quarterback in 2025?
He's saying you solve it in the draft
I'm
and you
saying
just go right back to the well.
You go back to back right to the well.
I would think you could get a second. I don't even think you could recoup the value in which the pick he was taken.
Sure.
Yeah.
I think you could maybe get a second and I think you could get multiple day 2 and day 3 picks. But I don't think you could make any of those equal to first.
I would just if we're going on this path, I would just say next year you tag and trade them next year. Then if they were trying to actually pull.
What
that
if it was
off.
like Karlaftis for a player like Hendrickson and you just decided it was a wash?
Oh,
and you give up picks. Yeah, I'm saying you give up picks in this scenario.
Okay.
I'm not saying they're a 1-for-1. Although they might be based on age. You're overvaluing your guy. Hendrickson's 3-4 years older.
You're saying
and you got to pay him more.
You're saying you give up Karlaftis and a third for Hendrickson.
Yeah.
And you have to pay Hendrickson.
And because you got to pay Karlaftis. Either way, I'm paying
one's
somebody.
making a lot more than the other.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but one's a far more productive player.
Sure.
Karlaftis is a really good player, but he's not getting 17 and a half sacks.
I would not do that trade if you're asking. I personally would not.
I don't think I would either. I'm trying to spitball here, throwing out some options. Now they're doing it. Somebody's saying trade Karlaftis to Dallas for Parsons. Same general energy.
Sure. Yeah.
But I just don't
I would like that as well. But
that's going to take more than
You'd have to give up Karlaftis and 31 to get
correct.
To get Micah Parsons.
But if Dallas took that, I would do that right. Just to be clear.
Sure.
If Dallas said, we'll give you Micah Parsons and you give us George Karlaftis and pick 31, I would make that trade today. This second, this hour, this moment.
Yeah.
It's like I wouldn't, and like that can't be good from a Dallas end. What are the odds they're agreeing to that if I'm immediately like, phew, you know?
I do really think that if you had to pick somebody in terms of that you would get maybe the most value on, I thought Bolton, I don't know what you get for Bolton, plus Spags likes him too much. No. Obviously, you're not getting rid of Chris Jones. Trey Smith, they still want to keep him, obviously protecting Mahomes. George Karlaftis seems like the guy that is the most star caliber player that if you told me I had to take somebody from the Chiefs and trade them, I would pick George Karlaftis just because of the value you would seemingly get back.
But you'd have to get back either a pick that you thought you were immediately taking a defensive lineman with, or a fellow defensive lineman in there. And Karlaftis has been a really good teammate, really good player.
Of course.
Like, there's just no reason. It's probably easier to find players to put on. There's not a running back you'd trade for instead of draft one. It just doesn't make sense. The players they would trade for this year, they can just draft and have 22-year-old player playing that position out of the second or third round.
The Chiefs trading for a player that's across 30 just is ass backwards from how they operate. Like, it just, on a long-term deal, right? Like, they'll trade for a mid-season DeAndre Hopkins type where the contract expires at the end of the football season, which is what happened, and then he's now in Baltimore. Trading for a player in his 30s that's not homegrown and then giving an extension to him is completely backwards for how they operate as an organization. That's why I don't think they would ever do that with this current regime.
If they were going for a three-peat this year,
yeah, maybe it's different.
I wonder if they actually would say, you know what, we're willing to take on Trey Hendrickson, who's in that contract year, and just have him play.
Unless your name is Jones or Kelsey, they don't even like paying homegrown guys deals that cross over 30. You know what I mean?
You better be a future Chiefs Ring of Honor member, otherwise, they're not real keen on it. Like, they just let us, they just let a safety walk. They've let two back-to-back safeties walk right around that threshold.
What do you guys make? I just saw our station Twitter account, our social team just put these out. You guys have seen like the trend for the last month or so of these like AI action figure things.
Yeah.
The Cody and Gold action figure set just got put out, I guess.
Ooh.
Okay. What do you guys make of the respective one? They did one for each. So like, let's start with Drew. So Drew has a golf ball and golf club attached to it, of course. Football, green shoes, Bengals hoodie, tattoos all over his arms and legs, and a KC, like a Royals hat.
I like it.
Do you like that one?
I like it.
By the way, all these, for some reason, they all have everybody, whether it was Fesco, Dusty, you, me, we all have the same body. Everybody's short and pudgy. I don't know what's going on with every single one of these action figures. Mine has a dog, a piece of candy, a grill, and money, and me in a Chiefs AFC Champions hoodie. That's accurate with the Apple Watch. Cody, you've got the the Kansas City hoodie.
Okay.
You got like a notepad, a hat, cooking utensils, and glasses.
Why do you have a backup pair of glasses?
Why do you have two glasses?
Okay, first off,
you have two glasses.
Why notebook? Why two pair of glasses?
Notebook. You're a teacher. You're studious.
You know what? It's fine. It looks like a perfectly acceptable action figure with one big complaint here.
Okay.
I'm just going to say this. Seems awfully suspicious that the previous shows got their own day.
Oh, who cares?
Dedicated to their own post.
Ours is a set.
Have we got to be lumped together?
We're a team. It's a set. We're a team,
What the hell? We're just throwing in the towel now? Now we're just putting in.
You make very valid points.
It is weird.
Why do I have two pairs of glasses?
The 2 pair of glasses
Those
thing,
aren't
I'm
even
confused.
good cooking utensils.
Again, my favorite thing about the whole thing is everybody's the same body type on all the shows.
Why do
And
you have money?
I guess they think for
sports
sports betting, I guess.
It's
I
gotta
guess.
be it.
I'm assuming. I just think it's funny. Since Dusty was the first one they put out last week, every single one of us is short and pudgy. Every single one.
Yeah, they did go with a similar body type.
Now, Drew is the only one wearing short sleeve. His is he's wearing like the Belichick cutoff hoodie, but it's Bengals. And the fact that they have tattoos on the arms and the
It's
legs is
hilarious. That's awesome.
Do you have a leg tattoo?
He's got one on his ankle.
I've got
Like an ankle one, but not like this.
Well,
This is like
I've
this
got,
is
like,
like
the calf
on
tattoo.
your shin.
No, I don't.
These are on your shin
I've
and
only
your
got
arm. You don't have tattoos all the way up your arm, though, do you?
No.
Yeah, I didn't think so.
I've got the one on the calf/ankle. Yeah.
There you go. It's on our Twitter account
might make
and
this the new
Instagram, by the
profile
way.
pic, I'll be
If you
honest.
guys were wondering,
I like it.
Yeah, I mean, mine. Other than again, we all have the
Hey, I
wrong
did a
body
bad job.
stature.
He's got 2 different shoes and they're in weird spots, and I've got an extra pair of glasses.
I will
don't
say-
need more than 1 pair of glasses. I just wear 1.
The only thing that I can think of with these neon or these shoes is it's like slime green, but it's like it's like the puke emoji. You know, that kind of rubs me the wrong way, but I like it. I like it.
There you go.
Did you a favor by putting a grill there,
I guess so.
You own a Traeger, so.
I do. Yeah, that's just a charcoal grill right there. Gets the job done.
That's what I use.
Yeah, those nothing wrong with those at all. All right, up next we'll get to what's trending. We'll talk a little bit more about the Royals road trip they just had and what this week means for their future. Next.
This is Cody and Gold on your new home for Royals baseball. 96.5 The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
You can hit the jackpot when you bet the NBA on FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Because with FanDuel's Downtown Jackpot, you have the chance to win a share of $1 million in bonus bets. All you have to do is place a bet on player-made threes using your exclusive profit boost. And if your player has the most threes on the night, you'll win a share of $1 million in bonus bets. They shoot and you score. It is that simple. Just visit FanDuel.com/Alex to get in on the action. That's FanDuel.com/Alex to enter the $1 million downtown jackpot. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sports betting partner of the NBA and 96.5 The Fan. 21 and present in Kansas. Opt-in required. Prize pool to be split equally among all eligible participants who made the correct pick. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets which expire 21 days after receipt. Restrictions apply. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. FanDuel is offering online sports wagering in Kansas under agreement with Kansas Star Casino, LLC. Gambling problem? Getting help is your best bet. Call 1-800-522-4700 or visit ksgamblinghelp.com.
Don't let clogged drains slow you down. Call Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Rooter today for our $79 mainline drain clearing special. The pros at Hamilton will inspect your drains with video camera technology to pinpoint exactly what is needed to clear those clogs and help prevent expensive drain repairs. The expert technicians at Hamilton are ready 7 days a week to solve your problem the right way, the first time. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews ensures your peace of mind. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
Honey, it's me, your wife. Spring is here, and our house desperately needs the experts at Powell Exteriors Casey for siding, windows, entry doors, beautiful decks, patio covers, roofs, and more. Get ready for summer at powellkc.com.
Hi, Drew and Jonathan Scott here, reminding you that a lot of life's firsts are better with help from American Family Insurance. Like your first home expansion or your first big lightning strike. There's a first for everything. Get the right home policy at the right price with the right help from American Family's agents. Life's better when you're under American Family's roof. Insure carefully, dream fearlessly. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company SI and its operating company 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. So, I wanted to write a thank you note for every dollar Missouri Lottery players have given to Missouri and education. But that would be 8.4 billion notes. So to save a little time and a whole lot of paper, here's just one. Dear every single lottery player in Missouri, thank you for helping us give $8.4 billion to Missouri and education. Sorry, my trumpet's in the shop. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
I think one of the things that patients don't realize is that when they get a joint replacement, that's not a lifetime treatment option. And they're probably, if they are a younger patient, signing up for multiple surgeries down the road.
As a physician and medical director for QC Kinetics, Dr. Caravelli's seen a pattern of trending joint pain. Prolonged medication, steroids, then surgery, possibly another surgery.
So a lot of our patients are trying to avoid or put off surgery, and this is the treatment that can help them do that.
QC Kinetics extracts your body's healing substances, concentrates them back into your aching joints to help heal and restore those areas, providing lasting relief.
Oh, I love being able to tell my patients, before we do this surgery, let's try another option. Let's see if this is right for you, because now they might not have to have surgery at all.
Call today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 816-412-6299. That's 816-412-6299. 816-412-6299.
Some things just go together, like peanut butter and jelly, or a Casey's spicy chicken sandwich and a 49-cent medium fountain drink, or a Casey's breakfast sandwich and a 49-cent fountain drink, or even Casey's limited time Italian deli sliders and a 49-cent fountain drink. You get the idea. It's not crazy. It's Casey's. See store for details.
Our daughter Jessie loves playing detective.
A clue.
But since we discovered she has sensitive skin, we've been playing detective too.
We thought the problem was our puppy.
But it was actually our old detergent.
Aha.
So we switched to Tide Free and Gentle. Tide Free and Gentle provides an excellent Tide clean, and it doesn't leave behind irritating residues like dyes or perfumes, so it's gentle on your skin.
Case closed.
If it's got to be clean, it's got to be Tide Free and Gentle.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature-Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature-Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle, based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
All right, when it comes to getting life insurance for your family, a lot of excuses can get in the way. But ask yourself this: if something were to happen to me, who would pay the mortgage, the kids' education, and the other bills? Then forget the excuses and check out Ethos Life, the online, easy way to get life insurance in 10 minutes. Ethos has rates that you can afford, like a $500,000 policy for a 40-year-old male starting at $1 a day or $30 a month, with a few health questions and no medical exam. Get your free quote right now at checkethos.com. That's checkethos.com. Not available in all states. Rates do vary.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 biggie bag with a junior bacon cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, junior hot and crispy fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Hey, it's Cole Riggins, and this is 96.5 The Fan, your home for Royals baseball.
KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, an Odyssey sports station. What's trending?
What's trending here on Cody and Gold is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. We do start with the Royals. We're going to talk more about this road trip, but obviously they go 2-8 on the road trip. Yesterday's win felt massive. How massive was it? Well, we're going to find out how they play this week. We'll talk about the Rockies and just where they're at, some of the things that continue to go wrong for the Royals at this point in time. But they did get a win yesterday in Detroit to prevent the sweep and to avoid the 7-game losing streak. They snap it at 6. They're off today, back at it at the K tomorrow when the Rockies come to town.
Next up on What's Trending, the NBA playoffs got underway this weekend. We're through the play-in portion of it. I saw a couple of players really being critical of it. Like, what the hell do we play 82 games for if I still got to play my way into the playoffs? All blowouts. Ass-kicking is across the board. The Warriors got game one against the Rockets yesterday. Steph had an absolutely ludicrous shot. Cavs went one up on the Heat. The Wolves the Wolves won by, or the Thunder won by 50 over the Grizzlies. Yeah. The Wolves ran over the Lakers. It wasn't real close.
No, other than the Clippers game against the Nuggets that went to overtime, and Christian Brown, local product, obviously had a huge shot in overtime. Other than that, the NBA playoffs for the opening week was not competitive. Wasn't that entertaining.
No, really, really bad start to the playoffs. But I don't know, maybe they'll get better in the later rounds. Like anything else, less regular season games, less playoff teams would actually be better. But we all know that the leagues don't go from less playoff teams, they just go to more. It's money. It's more money, more people watching.
Elsewhere, the Eagles and their center, Cam Jurgens, reached an agreement today on a 4-year, $68 million extension. That includes $39.4 million guaranteed. It ties him to the Eagles through the 2029 season. That's according to Adam Schefter. His annual average per year or whatever is about like a $500,000 less than Creed Humphreys.
Couldn't quite top Creed, huh?
No.
Still going to be the top paid center. Normally, you get kind of jumped right away. He's going to get to hold that title for a whole year.
Center's probably that position that just, the movement at that position financially is not quite the same as some others, I'm guessing. But.
Yeah, that's probably the case. Next up on What's Trending, both Sporting Kansas City and the KC Current won over the weekend. The Current stayed perfect in their 2-0 win, alone in first place in the NWSL, because the Orlando Pride went down. They had a goal. Scored like, I was at a friend's house. Even though I don't really watch it, a friend always invites me over for giant wrestling events. I make some of them. So I was watching WrestleMania.
Were you locked
Saturday.
into that?
Locked in probably feels like a stretch.
Okay.
But did I watch part of it? Yeah, they always have to explain stuff to me. That's part of the problem.
So many storylines.
I don't know. Yeah, there's like a lot of storylines, and I don't know all of them. So I need a lot of things explained. Like, why is this like old accountant looking dude just punching people in the nuts at the end of it? Why is he going against the people he apparently supported his entire career to go with Seth Rollins? I had to learn all that on Saturday. But the Orlando game, because his wife is a big NWSL fan, I watched the end of the Orlando game and the end of the Current game as well. So I saw that the Current remained the only undefeated team in the NWSL.
5-0. Hopefully some of our listeners that won some tickets from us on Friday enjoyed going out to CPKC Stadium. On the show, Drew strikes me as the person that would love WrestleMania or be into wrestling. He's not, but I would have guessed. That would have been my guess, and he's not. Carrington was at WrestleMania, I think, this weekend out in Vegas. But that is what's trending here on Cody and Gold.
He was live tweeting it, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was there. He was out in Vegas. I mean, the crowd is always insane.
You might as well go both nights. I don't know why he just could have won.
I'm sure it's expensive, Might be a little. He was at Stadium. So he was with our friends at Circa.
That's true.
On Saturday night, hanging out at Stadium Swim. It is the lunch hour. Hope you guys are having a great Monday. Of course, our new Monday lunch partner on the show is 30 Hop. Monday, $5.99 classic burgers. 30 Hop is the new go-to, an American bar and kitchen with bold flavors, local taps, expansive patios, and an unbeatable happy hour. They have a location out in Lee Summit that's open, and next week, I believe on the 30th, they will open up the Merriam Grand Station location. That is just a few minutes down the road from us. Cannot wait for that.
Yeah.
They're a proud lunch partner here on Cody and Gold. 30 Hop truly has something for everyone. Stop in for lunch. Stay for happy hour. 30hop.com. That's 30hop.com. Local beer, American Eats, big patio. They just dropped off some food, too. So I can promise you in the next break, we're going to find out what we got.
Well, I grabbed the receipts. Do you want to know what they sent?
Sure. Let's go through it.
3 appetizers.
All right.
The Bang Bang Brussels. I'm assuming that's a Brussels sprout.
I think that's a fair guess.
Buffalo cauliflower.
Okay.
And dynamite shrimp. So you're no shrimp for you. We'll keep that one away from you. They sent 3 entrees.
All right.
Truffle cheesesteak melt.
Ooh, yeah.
That doesn't sound terrible.
Oh, yeah.
A classic burger, the Monday deal you just mentioned. And then the yakisoba bowl. So grilled chicken and some of that. I'd be interested in any of those entrees and, honestly, any of those appetizers. So great news.
I'm starving.
You guys can kind of make your choices. I would eat any of those 6 things as the least picky eater on the show.
Yeah, no, it all sounds great. The shrimp is just simply because I just can't eat. It has nothing to do with it. Just can't eat shrimp. But everything else, I'm in. During the break, about 15 minutes or so, about to go in on this. Drew, you can come in studio and grab some if you want as well here. You can actually, you know what? You have the luxury. You can come in and grab some now. You can start eating it.
Tempted.
But no, 30 Hop, we're excited to have them aboard the show. And Monday's a hell of a lunch special. $5.99 for a classic burger. And I am excited just down the street. They're about to open up a brand new location. That nice new area there, the Grand Station Lofts that are out there, apartments. You got 30 Hop, a few other places as well. So
before we talk about the Royals, which we'll do here in about 30 seconds, I do want to remind you, the Cody and Gold road trip, it's getting popular. There's not a set number of tickets, so you don't have to worry about that. But at 965thefan.com, you'll see the link to the Cody and Gold road trip. We are heading to Springfield Saturday, May 3rd to watch Cags hit home runs or do whatever he does. Right now he's hitting 260 with 4 home runs and 20 RBI.
That'll play.
In just 16 or 15 games down there in Double-A. We're going to go to Hammond's Field. We're meeting at a bar, Harbell's, beforehand. We actually got to call them. Remind them that we're coming because as it sits right now, including us, we have 111 people going on this trip. So it's going to be a crowd. We're going to have fun before. Alex and I, we're staying down there. We're going to have fun after. Should be a really good time. We're looking forward to it. So if you want tickets, 965thefan.com. You can purchase your ticket there. If you want the shirt, we're going to be wearing the Cags one. That'll be sold separately. If you've already purchased tickets, you don't know where, text 913-586-7965. We can send you a link for an order form, or on social media handles at Alex Gold, at Cody B. Tap. We can do it there as well. Those are $10 as well. Optional thing. I'm guessing like 70% of us will be rocking them probably for the thing, but certainly not like a requirement. But I'm really looking forward to it. Did not hurt the Cax hit a grand slam this weekend to keep the juice going. He was on a bit of a cold streak and then hit a grand slam, and I'm like, oh yeah, okay, that's why we're going.
And the early look at the forecast looks incredible for that Saturday, May 3rd, when we're all in Springfield. We'll keep telling you about it. Appreciate everybody that's already signed up to join us, and I think we'll get over 150 people. It sounds like with where we're trending for this trip in a few weeks. Let's talk about the big league club, though. They badly needed to get home. They badly needed to get away from that road trip.
Just get a breath.
Get an off day. They also just got done with a stretch of 17 games. They're off today. 2-8 road trip. And they were very fortunate that it wasn't 1-9, if we're being honest. 2-8 road trip. They get the win yesterday to prevent the losing streak going to 7. And we said going in the road trip, needed bare minimum 4-6, really needed a 500 trip, bare minimum 4-6, and they barely salvaged 2-8. And we all know the reason for it. It was all about the offense and the struggles. We'll get into the decision to send down MJ Melendez again a little bit later on. That happened on Saturday. But across the board, other than Bobby, they're really not getting much hitting, period. And I think for this team, if you're looking at where they're at, that win felt massive yesterday because you take a deep breath. But for it to be a massive win, it means it has to parlay itself into a strong week here at home beginning tomorrow when a bad Rockies team comes into town. And look, we talk about the offense for the Royals. Believe it or not, the Rockies are worse. I know it's hard to believe.
The records are very similar, but the Rockies' offense is worse for sure, and their pitching staff's on a little dicey front too.
And so I'm sure they're saying the same thing. Hey, they're going to play a team that hasn't been hitting very well and all that. But if you are under the belief that this offense can figure it out, that they can get going, that some of the guys hitting the way they are is not going to continue, that eventually they will bounce back, this is the week. Really, there's a stretch of 20 games we can get to tomorrow, but this is the week for it to start. Rockies and then the Astros this weekend. You know, it's not often you can call for sweeps of series, but against this team, you dug yourself a little hole because of a 2-8 road trip. How do you get out of that? Can you level the field again? Can you get closer to 500 again? Well, this is a big week to do that, considering the opponent that you start the series off with, and you clearly are going to have the pitching advantage every single night, maybe the entire week. I mean, there's not many nights where you don't anyway, but definitely in this Rockies series. Can you build off at all what happened yesterday and what I thought was massive? Otherwise, we're sitting here today. We're still talking about a bad road trip at 2-8, but we're talking about a 1-9 road trip, losing 7 in a row, an off day, thinking about the loss. Like, I think that Carlos Estevez win yesterday in extra innings was so big.
Well, especially because imagine the feeling the other way around, Gold. You're up 2-0, little bit of a little wobble from Waka where he gives up a couple of runs. You blow it, it's 2-2. And then, but if you had lost, you had the lead, you're halfway through the game, you get to school early, and then you lose. I mean, they had to avoid this one's going to bury you. It's going to ruin the attitude of everything. And I thought they did a good job of winning it. Winning against Scooball can give you a little phew. I'm not saying they went out there and scored a ton of runs. They scored 4. What's crazy is with their pitching staff, they don't have to be an elite level offense. They just have to be
not the second worst.
They just have to be not the second worst offense in the league. And look, the MJ stuff, which we'll get to in just a minute as well, that's part of why they made those decisions, right? They had to make those decisions. If you go through, there's no way to sugarcoat where the offense is. And that's the single biggest reason why they just had a miserable road trip. 2-8 is a miserable road trip. I don't care how good the baseball teams are that you were up against, and they were good. The Royals would not hide any other version of that, and they just still have so many guys that are off. I am curious to see, we'll know more on the lineup tomorrow, if moving Vinny down was more of a permanent thought, or I thought it was just because they were up against Scooball and they didn't want him hitting so high in the order.
It might be both. And we're going to find, as you said, we'll find tomorrow. Maybe a combination of both. Mark Canha, never thought we'd be sitting here in the first month of the season saying, man, he's one of their best hitters, but he is currently. The way he's performing, he's going to give them professional at-bats. He's not pressing the way some of the younger guys on the team are. And, yeah, maybe it was just Cody, the pitching matchup, but I think there's something to be said. If you move Vinny down in the order, that's not a long-term thing, of course not. But for the time being, if they were to do that again tomorrow, let's say against Colorado, and I don't know if they will. They might move him right back up to the 3 spot in the order. But if it was to take some pressure off him, not make him feel like he's got to come up huge in every spot because nothing's going and he's pressing, then it was a smart decision. But we'll find out tomorrow when the lineup comes.
They're 5 games under 500. Had I told you they're 9-14.
Yeah.
If I had told you 23 games into the season that Salvador Perez was hitting 182, Vinny was hitting 195, Massey was hitting 197, and Hunter Renfroe was hitting, let me find his, 140. You would have also assumed they were 5 games under 500, Gold.
I would have assumed they were worse.
Yeah,
I would have assumed they were like the White Sox. They were 5-15 or something right now.
Yeah, like the results based on the offense are not like an MJ's hitting 173. They got more guys hitting in the ones in the starting lineup than they got guys with a batting average that starts at 2. And the batting average, it's always a lot lower than you think. Major League Baseball batting average right now, the average is like 240 or lower. So, like, it's all in that. Like,
yeah, but when I hear you.
No, you got.
But they're
I'm
the second worst offense in baseball.
No, I'm saying you don't have to, like.
Yeah.
I don't need you to, like, hit 500. What I was trying to say is, like, you don't have to hit 500 for the next 2 months in order to start being back to, like, a league average player. Right now, I mean, Bobby Witt Jr. is a star. And thank God for him. Where would the offense be without Bobby? Where did Bobby start slow?
Well, they'd be one spot worse. They'd be the worst offense in baseball.
Yeah, that's probably the truth of it. So they just got a lot of work to do. The one on Saturday, like just the start of the series, you're like, oh my God, this is going poor. And then when we all, because at least we all went into that Sunday expecting to lose, and I'm glad that they didn't, because every person on the planet was like, you've lost 6 in a row, and now you got to be on the road against Tarek Skubal. Okay, and your offense is the second worst in baseball. Good luck. Good luck seeing how that all plays out. Unless Walker throws a no-hitter today, you're probably cooked. And thankfully, it didn't go down like that. Yeah. They managed to hold on.
But this is another, just like the road trip was, this is another big week and even bigger because of the hole that you dug yourself a little bit on the road trip. But the reason why I still will push back on those that will say, well, season's over, like someone texted in, another year where that's football season already on April 21st. The reason why I'll push back on that and kind of roll my eyes back at it is when you have a top 8 pitching staff in baseball, you can't tell me on April 21st the season's over when you're 500. Like that's why. Now, am I promising you that in 3 weeks the offense overall is going to be much better and they're going to be above 500? No, I cannot promise that. I don't like where it's trending. But on April 21st, just saying the season is over when you still have a massive strength in all of baseball on your squad this early and you're not 10 under 500 or something, no, I can't get there. Now, look, if they get swept by the Colorado Rockies, we're having a different conversation.
Friday. Yeah, I'll be ready to really.
But saying the season's over because they're 5 under 500 on April 21st. I'm sorry, I'm not going to get there. And I know I'm always a little bit more when we're talking about the Chiefs too. Just my style. I'm always a little bit more. I'm a little more patient with that kind of stuff. We run into this during football season when it's week 4 and people want me to call for people to be fired 4 weeks into the season. Same thing. Like that's just not how I operate when talking about sports. I try to wait a little bit and not overreact 3 weeks in, and maybe that's not a mentality that some of you like, but that's how I approach things. I think you're a little more patient on the baseball end, Cody, because it's 162 games than
There's
other
sports. There's a lot more leeway. Like with hockey and NBA, like football, it's like we talked about like this isn't even like. But Drew's team's a perfect example of why football, you don't have that much time to mess around. Like in the NFL, they've messed around the Bengals for like the first 4 to 6 weeks the last 2 years. And as a result of that, their ass is at home in January rather than playing in important games. And so like in football, a lot less leeway. You only get a career of 4 years. So you just go burning a year of not being a good football player. You might not be a good football player. And so like there's a problem there. But with baseball, I mean, some of it is like last year, and some of this is like returning to the average. I think Vern pointed this out on a social media video, and it goes to the same thing. The Royals last year were second best, I think, in baseball in hitting with runners in scoring position. That's why Vinny, Salvi, and Bobby Witt Jr. were all going to be 100 RBI guys. I'm just rounding Vinny up for the sake of he would have been there had he not gotten his thumb broken. So they're all 100 RBI guys. This year, they're hitting 205 with runners in scoring position. Their problems on offense could be solved not even just by everybody hitting with a better average, but just hitting when runners have a chance to score closer to the average they hit last year, not even all the way back up to it. Because right now, and the reason why I'm willing to be more patient is the pitching. if their pitching was also bad, I think we would be burying this team.
Sure.
I think we'd be like,
correct. But they're a top 8, pitching staff in baseball this early in the season. That's why they had a chance. What did you scarf? Oh, we just caught Drew mid-bite. What are you scarving down over there from 30 Hop? You took the burger. He took the burger. I guess we'll have to find something. You took the burger. Good call. That's a good call.
I saved the melt for you, Gold, because by the sounds of it, the reason I didn't take
you can either have the grilled chicken bowl
or
you can have the melt, the cheesesteak melt.
Oh, I'm either one. We'll figure it out during the
break.
way
you reacted to the melt, I wanted to.
Oh, it sounded good.
Melt.
I mean, the burger sounded good too. How was the burger? Or you're still mid-bite?
It is very good.
My bad.
Burgers can't miss.
$5.99, man. $5.99 on Mondays.
30 Hop, the new Monday lunch partner here at Cody and Gold. That's what we're talking about. In case you missed that at the beginning, they brought by some food, which we're very much looking forward to eating in the next 5 to 7 minutes.
More reason,
we're break.
No, I'll be honest. This is always the toughest part. The toughest part. It gets dropped off, and I got to wait 25 minutes. You're just staring at me in the face right there.
At least it was like 12. It was like 12:10.
This is where we talk about the next thing real quick, and then we go to break a little bit earlier, so you guys.
But that doesn't change the amount of time I have to eat. Getting to break 2 minutes earlier is not going to solve the amount of time I have to eat it. That's the problem.
This story that Drew's referencing, though, is pretty wild. This is with Kent State. Kent State, they fired their football coach. And they didn't have a good season. Drew was giving us the lowdown. Like they won, 2 games or something like that last year?
He has a career record of 1-23.
Woo. Okay, so
bad.
1-23. He did not get fired due to performance, they claim. It's because an investigation determined that he took over $100,000 in loans from a booster who was also a school vendor. So they fired him on April 11th. He was placed on administrative leave in late March. The school never gave a public reason for why he was placed on leave or fired. According to the Akron Beacon Journal, an independent investigation by an outside law firm found that their head coach had received 6 figures in loans from this individual starting in the middle of 2023 after Burns said his house had flooded and he was having financial issues because he had not sold his house in Minnesota. So this guy's trying to help him out. There was no evidence he paid any interest on the loans. The loans are a possible violation of state ethics laws, preventing state employees from receiving benefits. He was making $500,000 as their head coach. A story in November claimed he owed $24,000 on the bank had sued him for a lack of payments. The bank got a judgment in its favor. It was dismissed after he paid back the money. So this guy was dealing with some financial issues. He asked the booster, "Hey, get a loan?" He said, "Sure." Turns out it's against the law. Turns out you can't do that.
Why is that against the law?
You're a state employee.
I think you should be allowed to take money from boosters. I'll just say it.
Do you see why this could be a problem?
He's a state employee, but it's not like.
Do you see why this could be an issue?
If he was in the state senate, sure, I agree by the nature. He's a college basketball or football coach. Who cares? Like if you're just like a college coach, state employee feels like I feel like that's in place so that like I'm not bribed for infrastructure deals. What's this guy gonna do if he takes a bribe from this guy?
Maybe not as much football coach, but could you see how like a university, someone high up in a university, getting money from a booster or somebody with influence like that as a state employee could be a problem?
How much was the loan for? Did
100 grand. 100 grand.
Okay, he made year one. He made $475,000.
Yeah, he made $500,000,
and then it escalated.
Well, he's obviously not good with his money. He said he probably had a drinking and a gambling problem. Which the article, dangerous. He said probably, allegedly might have had those problems.
Yeah.
So like you got those, the money spends a little faster. Taxes.
Well, and this comes originally a month ago they put him on leave with pay, and now this is
so man he
was
like
just so look clearly he it sounds like he violated state law, but also the fact that he was 1 in whatever you said 13.
He was 1-in-23.
Or 1-23.
They did not win a single game.
Might have made it an easier decision to say, you know what?
What if there's like an endorsement thing? Is he allowed to take an endorsement? Or he's just not allowed to take any side money at all? Feels like he's being limited the way I don't want players limited,
He could not take funds from a booster. If you wanted to help the guy out, no problem. He just couldn't get the money from someone tied to the university as a booster event.
When Nick Saban was coaching at Alabama, he's making money from Progressive as like an endorsement. Like Deion's making money, I'm sure, from Aflac. I'm sure he's making money on the side. It's just not the booster aspect, I guess, is what triggered it. But yeah, I think they could have covered up the whole thing and just said, you know what? He stunk as a head coach. We're moving on, and just not glossed over it, but moved on from it quicker without this being, I guess, a big deal.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it feels like they wouldn't have fired him if he was winning at an 800 clip. They had to figure out
if he was suck or if he was.
I'm just telling you right now. Bill Self does the same thing. He keeps his job. This feels directly. This is why I think he should be able to get away with it. The law is not. We think this is bad, and it could be bad for people. The law and the way they're seeing this is it's bad because he's bad, right? He stinks, so now we care. I think
don't
they
think there's
look
I don't
the
think
other
there-
way.
I don't think there's a dispute though, based off like the letter of the law. He broke the law.
Yeah.
Right? Like that.
Yeah,
that did
no,
happen.
I'm not
Yeah.
denying that part. That does appear to be the case. You know me, I like to work in a legal gray area.
Now, I think
the
also,
purposes of-
I get why you mentioned the example, but the difference is this guy, and that's still a ton of money, right? He was making $500,000. Difference, a coach making $5 million is not asking probably for a loan.
Yeah, let me go see how much
From a
Ryan
booster.
Day makes, and then we'll compare because they're both in Ohio. Let's see how much. I'm
Yeah,
sure
but Ryan
Day
Day makes
is
so much
upwards
he's
of-
not even.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
He's not asking for money from somebody.
although even at
Ryan
that
makes
amount of money,
$12.5 million.
you got a big enough problem, you
He
can
makes-
still, you know.
Hold on, he makes.
I mean, he just won a national title. He deserves what he's making.
He makes
He's one of the top coaches in college football right
He
now.
was making 200 times or 200% more than what Kenny Burns is making, then, right?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Well, I mean, one guy's at Ohio State. Think about the athletic budget. One guy's winning
What's funny
national
is, like,
titles.
all
or a
three of us
national
would kill
title.
to make $500,000. So,
course.
like, you know, it's fine.
Yeah.
If you have to coach
I'll
the
go.
worst team
I'll
in
go
college
coach
football,
Kent State right now, and I promise not to take any bribes. Okay, I
you'll-
won't take any
now,
bribes
will
from
you-
any of the boosters.
Will you be better than 1-23?
I won't be worse.
you
not
won't be
winless?
worse than 0-12.
I won't
at
be
least,
worse.
What they went last year.
I won't be worse. How about that? I will at least get a single win as the Kent State head football coach.
Okay, so when we do our
All right, so Drew's going to break 100 at Augusta. You're going to win a Division I college football game as a head coach.
I don't have to play quarterback.
Problem solved. I mean, that's more likely than Drew's breaking 100.
I
I'll
think
tell you
this
that.
also means that when we do our college football tournament here in the summertime, if we have it again,
Cody's gotta be Kent State.
You have to be Kent State, Cody.
One of the worst teams on the game.
Can I change some of the
100%.
sliders up?
Nope, one of the worst teams on the game.
You have to be.
But
the
I'm not going to win my matchup anyway, so I might as well go down swinging.
Coach your football team, Cody.
All right, up next, it's draft week, so let's get to the latest draft rumblings that are out there, plus the random question of the day.
What's up, Kansas City? This is Vinny Pasquantino, and you're listening to Cody and Gold, weekdays starting at 10 on 96.5 The Fan.
Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Have you or a loved one been diagnosed with cancer? You want the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. That's KCPI, the Kansas City Proton Institute. KCPI has a full suite of the most advanced imaging and treatment technology necessary to localize high-intensity proton beams. That's a critical part of maximizing cure rates while minimizing recovery time and long-term side effects. Proton therapy provides patients with the most advanced form of radiation treatments for cancer. It destroys cancer cells with supreme accuracy, reducing the risk of harmful side effects. KCPI has Kansas City's first and only system that uses pencil beam technology, resulting in precision targeting and less radiation to your surrounding healthy tissue. Proton therapy is now available in the comfort of an office at KCPI, making it more efficient and affordable than a hospital. So contact KCPI for the most knowledgeable physicians with the latest technology. Don't wait. Get precision technology with the highest safety measures with KCPI. Online at kcpi.com.
As America's leading business lender, Bank of America is on your corner and in your corner, right here in Kansas City. With $215 billion in business loans and over 3,700 business specialists across the nation, we help businesses thrive so communities prosper. What would you like the power to do? Learn more at bankofamerica.com/local business. Bank of America, official bank of FIFA Club World Cup 2025. Copyright 2025 Bank of America Corporation, all rights reserved.
Life's better with American Family Insurance. Because whether it's a family road trip in your dream car or hosting a family reunion in your dream home, we help you feel protected so you can enjoy those dreams with peace of mind. Save up to 23% when you bundle home and auto. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
Call Aspen Lawn and Pest Control. Our iconic blue trucks and expert team get it right the first time. Award-winning full-service lawn care and pest control since 1985. Call today for a free estimate. Visit aspenlawn.com.
I'm Bob Burke, founder and chairman of Burke America Parts Group, a family of brands that includes RepairClinic.com, an appliance and HVAC parts solution company that's grown into an international brand. Before AmericanEagle.com, we partially launched a new technology platform developed by another firm. American Eagle helped take our technology to a whole new level with digital marketing, software development, and business insights into our key markets, appliances, HVAC, and outdoor power equipment, and did so both on time and on budget. AmericanEagle.com has the resources, experience, and talent needed to produce solutions. Our new technology platform, developed by AmericanEagle.com, has produced tremendous results with higher traffic, conversion, engagement, and online revenue. If you have any home repairs you need to take care of, check us out at RepairClinic.com. If you need a world-class website or technology project, then I would highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Call AmericanEagle.com at 773-NETWORK. That's AmericanEagle.com, 773-NETWORK.
Get 5 quarts of O'Reilly Full Synthetic Motor Oil and a MicroGuard oil filter for $29.99. In-store only. Limit supply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 biggie bag with a junior bacon cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, junior hot and crispy fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Find what you love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines.
Drink responsibly. B21.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6812. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS.
Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start.
Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems.
We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau.
You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call
800-575-6812. That's 800-575-6812.
Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Royals coverage sponsored by Renner Garage Door. Forward and back, RENNER.
It's almost Andy Reid. The off-season is a perfect time for a $100 tune-up from Renner Garage Door. Get a free replacement quote today. Call or click rennerdoor.com. Renner forward and back.
RENNER.
I'm at a smoothie bar asking people if they'd switch smoothies with me for $574.
Oh, I'll switch.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
That's a headache.
Nope, it's painless.
Oh, so it's easy money.
Yep, check Allstate first and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 biggie bag with a junior bacon cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, junior hot and crispy fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios.
I asked Drew to add like 5 more minutes so I could finish my lunch. He said, we can't do that. He said,
so boss won't allow that to happen.
He said, it's not possible.
He had all the time in the world to eat his. He came back in for shrimp.
That's right. He did. I will say, the next segment I'm going to finish this yakisoba
I was never
bowl
going to be able to eat all of it, man.
Was
I am
really,
but
really
one
good.
man.
Yeah, I still got some more.
If you wanted me to add an extra 30 seconds or a minute,
No,
I mean,
can't do it.
Not enough.
Can't do it.
Not
I
enough.
can tell you it would have been done.
Yeah, no. Very, very good. Go see our friends at 30 Hop, our Monday lunch partner here on Cody and Gold. Brand new location open up next week in Merriam, right about down the street from us at Grant Station. And then, of course, right now, for those of you in Lee Summit or near the Lee Summit area, perfect spot. And on Mondays, $5.99 burgers. Draft, Thursday night. A lot of rumblings out there today, Cody, about what could happen. Not so much with the Chiefs. There's not a lot of rumors new today, but it could impact the Chiefs and what's available at 31, and that is even starting in their own division. Adam Schefter says there's a lack of teams that want to trade up, which makes sense based off of how we've at Draft Experts analyze this one for us, whether it's Bink, whether it's Matt Miller. And by the way, Bink and Chris Unocero have their show tonight, the draft special right here on 96.5 The Fan. But Shefty's saying the one team that is at least inquiring about trading up is the Denver Broncos, a divisional team. They're picking 20th right now. So what are they trading up for? How many spots?
It's gotta be offense, right?
I think it's offense. I think it's tight end. Ashton Genty would be a guy they love, but are they going to move up 10 spots or more? I don't know.
Unless Abdul Carter is going to 11 out of nowhere, which I don't think is going to be the case.
That's where I wonder, do they trade up 6 spots to get a Loveland, the tight end, or Tyler Warren, the tight end?
But I mean, right now, a lot of the people think Ty Warren's going maybe in the top 10. Like the Jets have serious interest. So, like for some of the players that are just elite level talent, talk me into how they sync. Find me a way that Ashton Genty gets past the Bears at 10. Find me a way that Ty Warren gets past the Jets, honestly, at 7. If those teams aren't taking quarterbacks, unless it goes Sanders at 3, Dart at 7, or Dart at 9, I'm having a hard time seeing the player they're going for that isn't Colston Loveland, or if they're huge fans of Amari and Hampton or McMillan.
Yeah,
like,
could be.
Like if it's McMillan or somebody of that ilk, I could see them saying, you know what? We're finally out of the cloud of the Russell Wilson contract because now they don't know him. We got 2 more squeeze years left of Bo Nix before he's like starts getting more expensive. Really, like they got 4, but you know how this works.
Yeah.
They got a couple years left to squeeze out of the he's a cheap quarterback, let's load up around him time. I think it's got to be offense. I could see Ted McMillan because they have said like there's some draft people who think he might fall right through because it's all the stuff they're actually accusing Burden of, like his work ethic or he quit on the team. It's all the same.
He doesn't finish routes.
He doesn't finish
He's
routes.
not the fastest. His 40 time also was kind of hurting him. But yeah.
So like there's a couple of guys who normally seemingly would be way up there in that first round, Burden and others. Maybe they're just in love with one of those guys. I can't figure it either way. I'll be honest, it's going to be an impossible year to try to trade down. In the top 10, it's going to be hard.
It's not a good year to have a top 10 pick in a weird way.
When we go to the draft party at the Landing on Thursday, I don't think I'm going to predict a trade in the first 10 picks. I think I won't. I think that the first 10 will just be the 10. Yeah. I think that the teams who are picking there are going to be those teams, and I don't think we see a pick. And I saw offshore. You and I were seeing it in the break. 4.5 trades was the offshore number.
Yes.
For total. I think it's below that because I don't think we get one in the first 10.
Yeah, it might be 4 trades, no more than that. I'm with you. You maybe lean towards the under, but I still think there'll be a move in the top 10. The reason why is because the Saints are at 9. And if they want to just take one of the quarterbacks, then no. But I could see, even though it's difficult to trade back, is there another team that's interested in another player trying to leapfrog somebody that's picking 10 or 11? Is there a team at 12 or 13 trying to get in because a player slides that they didn't think was going to be available? So the trades to me will not be about trading for a quarterback per se. If it happens in the top 10, it would be about trading for another player that slides because we get more quarterbacks than we thought in the top 10.
For some reason, Abdul Carter goes to 4, then I probably change my opinion. But I think he's going 3rd overall to the Giants.
Yeah, I know Thursday we'll do our final picks and all that. Like I don't Abdul Carter to me, if he's not the 2nd overall pick, and I don't think he's going to be, I think Travis Hunter will be. The Giants at 3. Unless they've been smokescreen season the whole time and they just take Shedeur Sanders, it feels like Abdul Carter's the easiest pick there at 3 for the Giants, right? Like, if you're not going to take Sanders and Hunter's off the board, Abdul Carter is just like one of the I feel like the easiest pick you can make at 3 if you're the Giants.
I think the biggest thing that's going to happen on Thursday that we're not giving enough credence to. So we know the 3 teams that are definitely taking a quarterback. The Titans, the Saints, and the Steelers. Unless Aaron Rodgers tomorrow, which clearly does not be the case, is taking one. Those 3 teams are taking a quarterback. But what's going to happen, what happens every year is the 3 that we think will take a quarterback but take them lower and just, see what happens with a 2nd or a 3rd round guy, which is the Jets, the Browns, the Colts, the Rams, I think belong in this conversation because of the age of, the Raiders because of Geno Smith, the Seahawks. One of those teams I just mentioned that isn't the top 3, I think they're taking one of the bigger names. I think they're going to end up taking Dart or Sanders, and it's not going to be just the 3 teams we think are taking the 3 best quarterbacks are taking the 3 best quarterbacks.
There have been mock drafts.
Way more mocks have Dart going.
Somebody else is going to want those.
They've had the Rams getting Dart. I've seen that multiple times when going through and picking out mock drafts for us to take a look at the Chiefs.
I think Dart can go first for sure. I think, in fact, over under 2.5 quarterbacks. The over, you can't even bet it now because it's minus 400. Like it's so juiced now that you'd have to bet $400 to win 100. Like it's unbettable unless you think it's all smokescreen. Only 2 are going. I don't. But I also think 3 is all we're seeing. Like, I don't think we're going to see 4 quarterbacks. I really don't believe Jalen Milroe, despite being invited and all this kind of stuff.
Accepting the invitation,
and
right?
he accepted it. The only way Milroe would get drafted, I guess, in the first round is you tell me that Sanders goes 3 to the Giants. The Saints feel like they have to take Dart at 9. The Steelers still want a quarterback at 21. I don't know. And at that point, this is why the Steelers could have done themselves some favors and set a deadline for this Wednesday for Rodgers. We need an answer Wednesday. Make it happen. If not, we can pivot on our draft plans.
Like, it's cool. We understand. But that's the other thing. Like, Adam Schefter had his big, things we're hearing. Week of the draft. Things we're hearing. One of the things he had talked about in there is what the hell happens with Kirk Cousins? Because Kirk Cousins is stuck in no man's land. The team is stuck in no man's land. You and I both agree. It seems fine for you to say, we're not trading him. We love our guy, Kirk, which is not true. But I understand why you say that because you're in the middle of maybe trying to shift him. The rumor he said in this was that if they can get it down to the acquiring team would owe him $10 million, which he says they can do contractually. It's just about a willingness. That there are a couple players for it, and the Steelers being one of those. That, if you don't have, honestly, Rodgers is the better choice because you don't have to give up draft capital. And he'll cost just as little as Kirk Cousins. But, that's not the worst fallback plan in a draft in which you don't trust the quarterbacks.
Well, I don't think Kirk Cousins
like they'd get something out of Kirk Cousins in Pittsburgh, you know?
I don't
think
believe
they're a contender, but they'd get something out of it.
I don't believe Kirk Cousins will be the backup quarterback for the Falcons this year by the time it gets to week 1. Yeah, I think he's getting traded before that. They can act like all they want that they're fine with that. There's no way the guy that got benched for the last year's rookie, now second-year player in Michael Penix, is not just going to sit on his ass all season behind making, $40 million, $25 million guaranteed or something, $40 million overall. I don't buy it. And so I think, they'll redo the contract to where it's a tradable want out so bad eventually that they make it happen. And keep an eye on what happens in Indianapolis with Anthony Richardson and Daniel Jones battling for a QB spot. Who's the odd man out there? Does that prompt a trade to Pittsburgh? Does that prompt a trade anywhere else? Kirk Cousins, I don't think is going to go to Minnesota unless J.J. McCarthy gets hurt during OTAs or something terrible like that. Otherwise, that doesn't seem like a real destination. Cleveland balked at trading for Kirk Cousins because they didn't like the dollar amount, and now it seems like they've kind of moved in a different direction. They claim, right? But after signing Joe Flacco and Kenny Pickett, so trading for Kenny Pickett too.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he might be traded this week. What are you going to do? You're just going to do all the offseason? Then you're just banking on the team who has a quarterback get hurt?
See, I don't think he gets traded until after the draft,
for Kirk Cousins, if I just don't,
I think you have to wait till after the draft now, because if you're a team, at this point, though, there is no incentive for a team to trade for Kirk Cousins before the draft. I want to see how the draft board falls. I want to know, was I able to go get my guy, Jackson Dart, Quinn Ewers, whoever you like that you think
Tyler
can be
Show,
that.
It is.
I don't know why you would trade for Kirk Cousins till after the draft concludes and you know where the dust is settled, who you did get, who you didn't get, et cetera. I just don't think they'll do a trade before. I think you're right that it could happen. It could happen on Saturday or something.
Yeah.
Maybe that's right. Maybe it's Saturday on day 3 of the draft, and it's clearer then.
It is really interesting how Tyler Show has all of a sudden just been the talk of the town for everybody.
I didn't know that name until 3 days ago.
Schefter in his article said that some teams have him as their number 1 quarterback on the board above Cam Ward.
I think that, I'll be honest, I think that has to be smokescreen stuff.
I'd be saying that if I wanted Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
I'll tell you right now,
yes.
That's exactly what I'd be telling every team if I actually wanted Jackson Dart. I'd be like, oh, but the guy I love, Tyler Show.
For all of a sudden, guys that, like you said, Gold, you don't even know the guy. For somebody to go from 3rd round pick or whatever to the number 1 quarterback on the board is, in the matter of a weekend, is crazy. It's got to be a smokescreen. There's no conceivable way. Plus, look, if they wanted to say that all of a sudden Quinn Ewers, that was his pro day was very good, but if that might be one thing, but he's 26, or he's going to turn 26.
That's so old.
It doesn't make any sense how he would actually be the number 1 quarterback on anybody's board.
And discrepancies happen on draft boards. Everybody's different. Once you get to the 2nd, 3rd round, not the 1st round, you know what I mean? There's discrepancies, but not to that extreme. Look, the Chiefs have, what did Brett Veach say last week? 202, 203 players on his draft board. There's other teams that don't have the same players on their board at all. There's some players that the Chiefs have way higher. That's what who the Chiefs take in the 4th round might be a guy other teams had as a 7th round pick. That kind of stuff happens all the time. What you don't usually see is this kid that nobody was talking about as the number one quarterback on the board out of nowhere. This doesn't make any sense. Now, could he go higher than Quinn Ewers or Milroe? Sure, absolutely. I think that's in play. But we know Cam Ward is going number one overall. The question is, does Dart go ahead of Sanders? Does Sanders go to the Saints? Does he go, does he surprise everybody, end up in the Giants? Does he go to the Steelers? Like, Sanders is still going to be a first-round pick. We all agree. It's just, where is he ending up? It's not a great quarterback draft class, so that's how we could see some craziness happen. But I think we're seeing 3 quarterbacks go in the first round.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, I don't know. People get hungry for quarterbacks and crazier stuff had happened. But for a draft this deep, it makes not a quarterback, but at the other positions, it makes no sense to be reaching on like a Jalen Milroe in the. It makes no strategic sense in this draft to be doing that. The 5th-year option would be the only argument, and even that, I would say, what exactly are you doing with it?
Random question.
For you, Gold. For you, Drew, over the text line, 913-586-7965. Of course, the random question today is brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Results every week. Then receive free support for life online at awaken180weightloss.com. Question I have today is related to Easter, which took place yesterday. And we were getting in an internal debate of the normal stuff you normally would, which is not Easter specific. I will open this up to any holiday, and this could be homemade or store-bought. I want to know your favorite sweet candy or treat that is holiday specific. You're not getting this thing in July, Easter candy, because I'll just tell you right now, the Starburst jelly beans are way up there. Way up there on the power rankings of candy specific to a holiday that you only get at that time. I can make an argument for a Reese's egg. I actually think the trees are a little bit better than the egg. I know that's off board, so I'd probably rank the tree ahead of the egg, so I'd get back into Christmas time for that. I don't care if it's ribbon candy. If it's anything specific that's around a holiday, that's the thing I want to know. Either dessert or candy, what do you think is the best holiday-specific one?
Yeah, so the Reese's peanut butter eggs are pretty darn incredible. So,
it's up the list. The peanut butter and chocolate ratio, very good on those.
It's really good. That's up there. And I don't know if this one counts, but like those really expensive, but just they're overpriced, but they're the Lindor milk chocolate things. Typically, you only see. I think you can buy them year round,
but 8 in a bag. You only think
you have to admit though, like they literally melt in your mouth. They're incredible. So those are the two that. But for whatever reason, I only have those in like December. Even though I think I could go buy them in the store right now. But you don't want to have those in July.
No, they don't feel right.
They melt. They melt in your mouth. So they're going to melt when you're in in the summertime. Even if you just take it out of the package.
That's how I feel about the chocolate orange. You guys ever have those?
I haven't had chocolate.
They're like what's the brand?
I'm glad you didn't say Peeps because those are terrible.
I haven't had one in so long. I don't.
Awful.
My daughter got some. We went to the movies like a couple of weeks ago when I let her choose Terry's. That's the chocolate orange I was thinking of.
Okay.
Terry's chocolate
orange. Someone says s'mores.
S'mores? Is that a holiday? I mean, I guess do we think of that as being like a 4th of July? Someone mentioned bomb pops for the 4th of July. Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
It is summer specific, I will say. I'm not anti that to go with there.
A lot of Cadbury
Someone says
eggs.
the Snickers egg, which I haven't had in a while. Cadbury, which one? The cream-filled eggs or the like malted milk bowl? Because I like those better, but they make my teeth hurt after like 2. I get like 2 of those like malted ones.
You like the malted balls?
And then they're just like it's just too much or something. I don't know. The ratio's off, That's why I'm asking. I want to know which one this is. So those are the suggestions. Is there a dessert you prefer any of the high holidays?
I mean, is
there one that like hits the best?
Not a high holiday, but I still like it. Around Thanksgiving, I still love pumpkin pie with a little Cool Whip.
Okay.
Pumpkin pie with some Cool Whip, still so good. And I only have that around Thanksgiving. I don't have any other time of the year.
Yeah, I mean, pumpkin pie. Would it feel weird if I brought in a pumpkin pie right now?
Yes, it'd be
but
very
even
weird.
now, it just wouldn't seem. It would seem off or off-putting in some way. Some part about it would just seem weird and bizarre.
Someone says just a simple peppermint candy cane. They just want the OG.
Wow.
It's the OG.
I mean, I think they've overshot on the candy cane flavors.
And there's different, so there's different flavors.
But I'm just saying, we've gone too far.
You don't like
We've gone too far on the candy cane flavors.
Like, give me a flavor you think is too bad, like the bubblegum flavored ones, too much?
Bubblegum flavor in general is an awful flavor. It's not good in anything. Not even bubble gum. I want like a minty gum.
I mean,
I don't even like gum flavored gum. I just want like the rest. I just want like,
What if it's in a bucket or something? Do you not do? What about that?
That's a little different.
You like gum in a bucket or no? I didn't know if you like that still.
My brother once pooped in like a gum bucket.
And a what?
And a what?
And a what?
Oh,
And a
man,
what?
that clip will never die on this show.
Yeah.
But there's lots of it. Someone said they said it's Snickers brand. It's shaped like an egg. That was the one that I hadn't seen
Okay.
before. Do you had one of those before?
No.
Snickers egg?
No, I have not.
Oh man, I'd like the
They
jelly
have the
bean
Reese's
Christmas
ones too, don't they? Or
The Reese's one we talked
or
about
Reese's,
earlier. Yeah. That one's like way at the top of the list. I didn't do an Easter basket for my kids.
What?
My in-laws did it.
They still got one.
They
Then.
need two Easter
Okay.
baskets.
You made it so okay. They got one, then they're good. They got one. I thought you were just saying they were without one. Period.
No, they got one, just not for me. I felt like if they were getting one, they didn't need the other one. The other one, I mentioned I was remembering more Easter candy. The sweet tarts, the like chicks and bunnies, also very good.
Sweet tarts.
Mm-hmm. You guys like a sweet
I
tart?
like sweet tarts, but the chicks and bunnies thing, I don't know what you're talking. Sweet
it's
tarts.
Like it's like I don't know. They shape them like Easter. It's Easter
like a sweet
specific.
tarts
Yeah.
flavored.
Yeah, I haven't. You want to talk something I haven't had in? I mean, sweet tarts. It's been, dude. It's
long
probably
time.
been 15 years
Since you had one.
since I had a sweet tart.
This is
Oh,
just
yeah.
all the stuff that like I get around my kids. Easter or Christmas or whatever.
Somebody from the text
holidays.
line mentioned it. The simple like Christmas peppermint candy cane. You just can't go wrong. That's my favorite. It's
Has
like
any- Oh yeah, he mentioned. I mean, that
It's
is
a
a good
go-to.
one. Who has anyone had the Easter gummy cluster? Pro gummy cluster. There's an Easter specific one. I wanted to know how that ranked amongst.
like the Nerds clusters. Or
Oh, there's an Easter version. What's the
Yeah.
difference for versus the normal nerd gummy clusters?
I don't know. I just knew that there were.
They
I
just
saw it on
different
the
colors?
shelf.
Oh,
Well, I think no, because like like now the nerd they don't have just a regular. They got like the berry. They got like a million flavors of those too.
The ones that my nephews liked recently, they saw in the store just because the Shackalicious gummies, to me, they probably taste terrible, but they're
Shackalicious?
called Shackalicious, and because, my nephews really like the NBA and stuff. And so, yeah, because they're shaped like the Shaq's face, like it's Shaq's face on the gummies, and they're very popular, I guess. But I
haven't had them.
I've never had, to me, they're one of those where they probably are just, there's some where you just know they're going to taste like crap. Something strikes
you think
me.
it's a bad.
Yeah, it strikes me as those are terrible.
Little Debbie Christmas tree cakes getting a mention over on the text line. What is your favorite? We've talked about this before. Drew, what's your favorite Little Debbie?
Oh man.
Or otherwise, like that.
This is easy. This is so easy.
You know what? I don't remember your answer, and I'm going to guess.
The cosmic brownies are bomb.
I thought that was a very
Still could
strong
be.
consideration
Still could be.
for Alex.
Still could be. Damn it. Still could.
Oh man, because I was between that. I thought about a cosmic brownie. That was really high on my list.
I used
But
to
I'm
like-
gonna say Alex's favorite is a zebra cake.
No, no. Swiss cake roll.
I thought of that one too.
Swiss cake roll, man.
cakes,
The Swiss cake, like a ridiculously unhealthy amount as like a kid, having the Swiss cake rolls, like an absurd amount. I would go through. Now I tried to have one. They don't taste as good to me as they used to. But yeah, the Swiss cake rolls.
I used to love the zebra cakes, but I ate so many I got sick to my stomach, and since then I literally I don't think I've had. Yeah, it ruined it for me.
Wait, so the Texans give me a hard time.
What?
About the not giving an Easter basket
No
relating
new
to the backpacks
backpack.
and the Mother's Day gift.
This is true. What do you
Hold
give
on,
your
wait,
children?
wait,
People are
wait,
asking.
Wait. If my kid is going to get an Easter basket somewhere, how many Easter baskets are they supposed to get? Isn't one enough?
One from their direct parents,
But we don't go to,
Not the in-laws from you guys.
It's such a
What is what Gold
loose.
said?
From
It's
their
such a
mom and dad.
I mean,
So
what's
you're
the
saying
difference?
that they woke up yesterday morning
With nothing.
with nothing.
Correct. They said Happy Easter. I said okay, Happy Easter. And then we went in, did flower pots, and we lived our lives.
That was it.
That was it.
Okay.
No Easter basket.
Did you do like an Easter brunch?
Yeah, we went to my sister-in-law's
Okay,
house for
okay.
Easter brunch.
Okay.
Is that where they got the baskets?
That's where they received the baskets. They weren't in my defense, because clearly we've set a precedent here. They weren't like, hey, where are our Easter baskets? They are noticeably missing from this living room area. They said nothing about it other than, when are we heading to our
you're
aunt's
saying
house for Easter? That was it.
So you're saying at a very young age, you just established it. They don't get a damn thing on Easter from you. And that way
It's
you don't
just
have
not-
to change.
In fairness, at this current time, it has not been a gift-giving holiday in my personal household.
People are asking, are you anti-Easter?
Not anti-Easter. It's fine.
So
I just,
we never, to my knowledge, I don't know when it stopped, but we didn't really get Easter baskets like that after
There's a trend.
Like 5 or 6 afterwards.
So-
Like we would get some candy, and we would do the Easter egg hunt, of course, and everything. But we never got the basket post like 6 years old.
Dead serious. There's a current trend on like TikTok and Instagram and all this of adult children being mad at their parents for being cut off on the Easter basket. And some of these are like, I'm
trend?
26. I'm dead serious.
As if it's Christmas?
It's like, I'm 26. My sister's 28. My brother's 30. My parents didn't give us Easter baskets. And they're like on video being like, what the hell, Mom?
Whoa.
There's no way
Where's
they're
my
serious.
Well, all I'm telling
They're
you
serious?
is
They're my age
they
and they're
seem,
complaining?
Yes.
Oh, this is just
Yes,
this is
that's
like you
wild.
said. This is a trend. They're just trying to go viral. I'm not buying that. There's 27-year-olds out there actually mad their parents didn't give them a damn Easter egg.
Hey, look,
basket.
maybe
I agree.
it's engagement farming. I'm not.
Yeah, I think it
all
might
I'm
be.
telling you is that there's a lot of people complaining that their parents have cut them off from the Easter basket in their 20s. The initial trend started, I think, because these people who got old enough that their parents were giving them to their children, and not them were like, "Hey, what the hell? I also want an Easter basket, not just this kid."
I wish I would have known
who was
about.
mine.
I wish I would have known about this before, because I would have told my dad, who just turned 59, to tell his 92-year-old grandmother, or
Where's
his
my
mother,
Easter basket?
"Where's my Easter basket?" Like, excuse me.
That is the random question of the day. Cody is getting absolutely destroyed
Eviscerated.
on the text line 913-586.
I don't know, get them some Easter baskets.
7965. Definitely. Oh, yeah, you go. You can get that discounted candy today. Today's the day. Discounted Easter candy everywhere. All right, up next, we'll talk about a player that was obviously sent down over the weekend for the Royals. Will he ever be back with the big league club? And what's next if things don't go well this week?
This is Cody and Gold, brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com. Tune in to hear Royals insider Josh Vernier every Wednesday at 12:30.
We need to nip this in the bud. We need to nip
what in the bud? On your home for Royals baseball, 96.5, The Fan.
We're hiring residential garage door installers at Overhead Door Company of Kansas City. Join the team trusted here since 1927. Apply today, get a call today. No experience necessary. Paid training for motivated applicants to install garage doors. Hiring bonus up to $2,500. Mechanical, carpentry, or service industry experience is a plus. Good benefits include health, dental, vision, and pension. Earn as you learn to service the best garage door customers in KC. Apply today at overheaddoorkc.com.
Going out to eat just got a serious upgrade, Kansas City. 30 Hop is your new go-to. An American bar and kitchen with bold flavors, local taps, expansive patios, and an unbeatable happy hour. Now open in Lee Summit and coming to Miriam's Grand Station on April 30th. As the proud lunch partner of the Cody and Gold Show, 30 Hop truly has something for everyone. Stop in for lunch, stay for happy hour. 30hop.com. That's 30hop.com. Local beer, American Eats, big patio.
Hey there, Royals fans. It's Royals Hall of Famer Mike Sweeney. Have you or your kids experienced a high school coach who wants to make our Kansas City community a better place to live, work, and play? The Royals and the See You in the Major Leagues Foundation, together with Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Kansas City, are shining a spotlight on 6 impactful coaches in the KC metro area. Nominate a high school coach today at royals.com/coaches with Carrot.
Hi, Mia here at the winnings desk of the Missouri Lottery. So, I wanted to write a thank you note for every dollar Missouri Lottery players have given to Missouri and education, but that would be 8.4 billion notes. So to save a little time and a whole lot of paper, here's just one. Dear every single lottery player in Missouri, thank you for helping us give $8.4 billion to Missouri and education. Sorry, my trumpet's in the shop. The Missouri Lottery. Winners welcome and play responsibly.
Underdog just became one of the best places to make entries during the basketball playoffs with their Extender promo. With the Extender, you can play your way into increasingly bigger boosts each round of the playoffs. Start a playoff series by using your Game 1 boost and continue boosting each subsequent game to unlock the next one. The longer the series, the bigger the boosts. Underdog is now available to play in Missouri, and their app has over 100,000 five-star reviews and millions of players. All you have to do is download the app and choose whether a player will go higher or lower on one of their stats, and you can mix and match across other sports like I like to do. Download the Underdog app and sign up with promo code BOB to unlock a special offer of up to $1,000 in bonus cash when you make your first deposit. That's promo code BOB. Must be 18 and over and present in a state where Underdog Fantasy operates. Terms apply. See assets.underdogfantasy.com/web/extend.html for details. Concerned with your play? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit www.ncpgambling.org.
At CertaPro Painters, we know that a happy place comes in many colors, like ones that inspire a sense of wonder, or a new flavor that makes life just a little bit sweeter, or one to celebrate those moments that lift you to new heights. We can reawaken any space to make your happy place your home. CertaPro Painters. That's painting happy. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Contractor license and registration information is available at CertaPro.com.
Hey, Joy. Oh, you are glowing.
Oh, hey. More like Mirajoyed. That Miralax helped me go. I was so backed up. Tried mega coffees, prune juice, everything. Then Miralax. And hello, gentle relief without the harsh side effects.
Ooh, how does it work?
It works naturally with the water in your body for constipation relief. Find Miralax today at Walmart.
Use as directed for occasional constipation.
I'm at the movies, asking people if they'll switch seats with me for $574.
Here, take mine.
So what about $574 if you switch your home insurance to Allstate?
Too much work.
Not if you call them. They handle the switching.
Now, that's a plot twist.
Shh. Check Allstate first, and you could save hundreds on quality home insurance today. You're in good hands with Allstate.
Not available in every state. Based on the national average annual savings for new home insurance customers surveyed in 2023 who switched to Allstate and reported savings. Savings vary.
Get 5 quarts of O'Reilly full synthetic motor oil and a MicroGuard oil filter for $29.99. In-store only. Limit supply.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
You know what's better than a limited time deal? An unlimited time deal. That's why the Wendy's $5 Biggie Bag with a Junior Bacon Cheeseburger, 4-piece nugs, Junior Hot and Crispy Fries, and small soft drink is available all the time. Because the best time for fresh, never frozen beef and Applewood smoked bacon is all the time. Duh. I feel like I'm repeating myself a lot. For the best deal of all time, gotta be Wendy's.
Unlimited time does not mean forever. U.S. price and participation may vary. Prices may be higher in Alaska, Hawaii, and California and via third-party delivery. Fresh beef available in the contiguous U.S., Alaska, and Canada.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and more. There's so much waiting for you. All kinds of beers and thousands of wines.
Drink responsibly. B21.
What's up, guys? It's Drew. Could you benefit from a little extra in the bedroom? We all could. Blue Chew can help. Your partner wants you to do whatever it takes to make your sex life better, and Blue Chew is your secret weapon for the bedroom or wherever you decide to get it on. Turn oh no into oh yes with Blue Chew. You know, if you're getting ready for work, you might have a coffee. If you're having dinner with your in-laws, you might have something else to spike it a little bit. But when it gets to feel hot and heavy in the bedroom, the only thing that you need is Blue Chew. They're an online prescription service, and there's no visits to the doctor's office. There's not those awkward conversations, and no waiting in line at the pharmacy. It ships right to your door in a discreet package. Plus, their licensed medical providers work with you individually to help you find the right ingredient and strength for your prescription. If you could benefit from extra confidence when it's time to perform, visit BlueChew.com and get your first month free when you use our promo code KFNZ at checkout. You just pay $5 in shipping. That's BlueChew.com, promo code KFNZ to receive your first month free. Then you'll be ready to chew it and do it.
Join us for the Fans Draft Party on Thursday, April 24th from the Landing in Liberty. We'll be broadcasting live, plus your chance to win $965 and an autographed Chiefs helmet in our draft contest. KFNC FM and AM, HD1 and HD2, Kansas City, in Odyssey Sports Station.
913-586-7965. Cody and Gold, Alex Gold, Cody Tap, Drew Nixon. Top text on the text line, Drew. You just started laughing. Did you see it?
How y'all got Drew doing Blue Chew commercials? He's like 17.
He's 10 years older than that.
12
Drew's-
technically, but yes.
I was trying to be generous.
Thank you, Cody, because every single day it seems like I'm reminded I'm almost 30. Hey,
You're
almost
the
30,
youngest
Drew.
person on the show. Nobody's going to feel bad for you.
I know.
Almost 30. I'm already 40. I just don't really care that much. Whatever. It's like
do
I never
you
did.
need-
Honestly, I didn't make a big deal about my. What's that?
I'm saying if you need any help,
Oh, Blue Chew?
Blue Chew. Chew to do
Thanks.
it, Cody.
Appreciate it. Currently, I'm good, but
Currently.
Can't, hey, you can't
That's
speak.
good to know.
Do you know how many, what percentage of men eventually
But you
suffer
said-
from
you said-
erectile
yeah.
dysfunction?
You said currently.
Correct.
So, I can't predict the future.
Yeah.
It's hard to say. By the way, if you're heading on the Cody and Gold road trip, just want to
Those
keep
are
reminding.
so linked. Yeah. Way to tie those
Well, I
together.
just felt like an easier transition than getting into a
Drew will be
topic.
handing out samples.
I want to remind you, that'd be hilarious. I want to remind you of the two most important things about the road trip. One, you can find the tickets at 96.5 The Fan. They're $10 a piece. You can select your section. We're all sitting in a similar area of the stadium for Saturday, May 3rd to watch Cags play some baseball down there in Springfield. And if you want the shirt we will have there, you have to text us 913-586-7965. We can send you the link to the shirt order form. And we're going to hand those out day of game only down at Harbell's at 3:30. It's a bar and grill right near the stadium. We'll hand them out all there while we're down there in Springfield. If you put your order in, you got until Wednesday to get the sizing and all that stuff correct so we can get you taken care of. We'll take them all down to Springfield with us and hand them out down there. They're available for $10 as well. If you've already ordered your tickets, 913-586-7965. I'll send you the link. If you're looking to order your tickets here soon and you want that link as well, just let us know.
Yep, that's simple. Make it easy for you. We'll get to another mock draft at some point this hour, but we all know over the weekend the Royals made a move on Saturday. MJ Melendez optioned to AAA Omaha as Mark Canha was eligible to come off the IL. That was the move they decided to make. They had some other options, right? They could have just sent Drew Waters down. They could have sent Tyler Tolbert down. They could have done some other things, but MJ Melendez was batting .084 before he got sent down, and as he got sent down. And
It's pretty low.
I think they were more than patient, obviously, with him to try to get this thing corrected. Wasn't the case. And now the question is, do you think MJ Melendez gets back up with this team, and what's the future hold for him? We can play some of the audio from JJ Piccolo, and he mentioned just overall what went into this decision.
There's never a right day or right time. It's just you get a feel for what's going on with the team and how a player's performing. But it was something we had been discussing for the last week or so, knowing that Mark was going to be back. And, unfortunately, somebody's going to be left out. In this case, it was MJ, and just want to see him go back to the minor leagues and continue the work that he's doing.
What hasn't happened make this the right time for him beyond the move that was needed?
Yeah, well, first I'd just say I give him a lot of credit because he spent the whole offseason working on something that we believe he's on the right path. Made a couple other adjustments while we were in New York and saw it pay off a little bit, but changes like that need to take a little bit. It will take a little bit of time. And sometimes the setting is just best at the not at this level, maybe in AAA where he can relax a little bit and reset and continue working on the things he's trying to do.
That audio from Joel Goldberg on Saturday in Detroit. So a couple things with the move. Everybody's been thinking this was going to happen at some point, whether they thought it was going to be a week ago, whether it was going to be 2 weeks from now. It was trending in that direction for a while. And you heard JJ Piccolo, who's going to join us tomorrow, acknowledge that for the last week or so, they've been really looking at potential options once Mark Canha was coming back from the IL. Does he get back up with a big league club this year? Does he end up being a starter for this organization? Again, he's 26 years old. A lot of people will point to, if you're looking at the optimistic side for sure, what happened to Mike Moustakas, who had 300-400 at-bats in the big leagues in between minor league stints, right? Minors got called up, had X amount of bats, got sent down, wasn't performing, got called up very quickly due to an injury, and the rest is history. And by the way, this Saturday is Mike Moustakas bobblehead night, I believe, out at Kauffman Stadium. So is that in play here? I mean, time will tell. I'll tell you this. I don't think this is a 1 or 2 week thing. This feels like if you're sending him down because you acknowledge the switches that he made at the plate in the offseason that haven't panned out yet, that he's still trying to work on all that, obviously.
How are you going to convince him to do it now that he's in the minors?
Got to convince him to do it. So you got to have the buy-in. Big, hit to the ego, I'm sure, right? And then you also have to have the results to get called back up. And how is the big league club performing at the time? There's a lot of factors. This doesn't sound like something that's going to be, he's back up in 2.5 weeks. This could, if he gets called back up this year, this could be a month or two, depending on how it's going, right? I mean, the results simply have to be there. You sent him down because the results were not there. He has to have results in AAA, and they have to be quality at-bats, and you got to get the confidence back up. That's stuff that's not happening overnight.
And still, somebody has to be not performing at the big league level. Like, I don't know how people are going to feel if all of a sudden it's MJ Melendez comes back up because they DFA'd Hunter Renfroe. Doesn't it feel like you've just created a wash? Look, I don't want to say he has no chance to succeed. That's crazy. We have watched this a number of times. We watched Mike Moustakas, Alex Gordon, Giordano Ventura was down for, I don't know, like all of 15 seconds, I think, before he got the return trip back because of this. They have sent guys down and they have come back up and they have been successful members of the team. Hell, they've been starters. They've been World Series winners. So I'm not saying, but like the MJ thing, like somebody asked me like about before the show, maybe Dusty was asking about Vinny. The time frames are a little bit different. When they brought those guys back up, they were still trying to find a way to compete. They sent them down at a time when they weren't already competing in some ways, Gold, or they hadn't like won anything yet. They hadn't gone to a playoff series, right? In this case, the Royals are established. They're trying to maintain the status they acquired last year, which makes it feel very different. He's also had 3 full years as a full-time starter in the bigs and is now getting sent down. I hope it's not. I really hope it's not, for his sake and for the Royals' sake and for the same thing we mentioned last week, which is I'm rooting for all of them to succeed. It's way better as a fan, for the player, for the person, a million things. I want MJ to go down and hit 600 in the minors and then come up and hit 300 here. I fear this is a death sentence, that this is it for his time at the Royals. Because to be a full-time starter that long, go back, you made all these changes. How can you think that those are for good? How can you think those changes worked? I mean, I couldn't. It got me sent down to the minors. At least I was playing big league baseball. I wasn't a perfect player, but if he was hitting like the previous 3 years, he wouldn't even be in the minors.
Correct.
Right? He'd still be a big league player.
It got to a point where they had no choice.
Yeah.
You know, I think JJ mentioned in more of the audio, we didn't play all of it, but, you know, also magnified by the fact that nobody's been hitting on top of it. Like, not that .084 would be acceptable any time, even on a team that was first place. But it's magnified, right? When you have the second worst offense in baseball, the chance just to even ride out even longer is less likely to do on a team that's struggling the way they were offensively. And that didn't help the cause. His future, his career, obviously, everything's on the table, right? Literally every single possibility that he gets back up and figures it out, that he's eventually part of a trade down the road and some other team thinks that, you know, based off his athletic ability and all
like
that.
what he did in previous years.
You know, there's that. There's also the complete flame out part. Like everything's on the table. I don't know what, for his sake, I obviously hope he gets everything figured out. And that's probably a very, very tough pill to swallow over the weekend to get sent down. But I think JJ Piccolo mentioned in the interview too that he had there with the media in Detroit that he handled it like a pro. He probably wasn't all that surprised. You know, that
you have to kind of know that's coming.
Yeah.
Like that's the sad part. At some point, you know, like at some point you can sense this coming your same way and you're like, this sucks. And I don't want it to come to that. But at some point, you know, like I know, Gold, that like, eventually it's coming for you. If you don't perform at that level or stay performing at that level, eventually they're going to find a way. And so you hope for his sake that he just goes down there and he figures out against lower level pitching, the hitting changes he made and how to make those function. Because the truth is, his time was limited in the big leagues if he was just going to stay the same player. If he wanted to be a 10-year big leaguer, he was going to have to grow and improve and be better. It's just hard for him because it's like, I know I can make a major league check and be a big league ball player. Maybe not like a perfect one, but like I can do that playing the old way. Oh, man, it's tough. The next move, we can talk about that later in the show because if the offense keeps hitting like this, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, what if it's another week or so of the offense still being, you know, essentially the second worst offense?
You got to change the lineup order probably next.
You know, there's only so many personnel changes you can make with the big league roster. Like, despite everybody may not be hitting, like you're not optioning and DFAing 6 players. That's just not how this whole thing works. You know, there's another.
My guess is hitting coach would be the next body.
That's who would
I could be wrong, but like my guess is like that'd be the loudest next voice.
Alex Zumwalt will be heavily in the crosshairs if another week or two goes by where the offense is like that. Fair or not, that's just the reality of how this thing works. You know, I saw some people referencing, you know, the Rockies got rid of their hitting coach. I don't think they're apples to apples because the Rockies also did not have the success last year, et cetera. So I don't think just because they were willing to do it so early in the season means the Royals should be willing to do it so early in the season. But he will be a name that is discussed more and more if things don't turn around. I mean, that's the nature of the business. You know?
Because like it's, as you pointed out, they were never going to just like DFA Hunter Renfroe and send MJ down on the same day.
Yeah, they're starting left fielder and opening day right fielder as well. We're not both getting taken, you know, out of the organization at the big league level at the same time. That's just not how they were going to operate a month into the season.
And to be honest, going into the year, I wasn't planning on Mark Canna being an everyday player for this team. Yeah. There's something about, we have to admit though, right? You said like next changes. Moving him up in the order is the easiest next change and impacts no one except for you're pushing maybe Salvi and Vinny slightly down the order, or maybe just one of those guys, or maybe you're just pushing more Massey and the other guys down in the order. They last year needed this too after Vinny got hurt. They just need like professional at-bats somewhere after Salvi. Like you have to feel like you need to pitch to Salvi in order to like make the rest of it go. Like they've got a more professional approach at the top with Jonathan Indy, who is also off to a slow start. I'm not pretending like he's a perfect player either, but he does walk a lot more than the other guys, and I think he'll come around as well. But like it does seem like they're helped when they just get like this old salty vet in the order giving good quality at bats. Canna kind of feels like that guy. I'd probably move him up in the order for a little while. I wouldn't go as crazy as the text line earlier who suggested let Massey hit third, move Vinny to 7, or not Massey, it was Michael.
Oh.
Hit Michael third, move Vinny to 7th until he's hitting above 250. I'm like, his career average might not even be 250. The league average is like 240. They're just not a winning team unless Vinny hits the way he's supposed to hit. Like, you and I agree on at least that one sense.
They're not a
You're not
winning
going to
team
solve your
unless-
problems by hoping worse players become better and their better players go further down the lineup.
No, this season's if this season ends up being a failure, it's because Salvi doesn't get going. It's because Vinny doesn't get going. It's because Jonathan India doesn't get going. You know, to a lesser extent, it's because Michael Massey doesn't get going. But mainly, it's India, your leadoff hitter, with an average batting average I think at 200 right now, and his on base percentage is a little bit higher than that, but still. I think he still might be third on the team in on-base percentage, honestly. Just that's how bad it's been for everybody else. But, you know, your leadoff guy has not been the guy to this point when it comes to getting on base that you thought. And then, yeah, Vinny, not even close right now to what he has been. And he'll be the first one to tell you that. I mean, this has not been.
He's been really honest in interviews about it.
Yeah, so that's the only way. Like, if this upcoming week, starting tomorrow against the Rockies, is to go better, as in a winning homestand, the only way that's happening is if the guys we just mentioned start hitting more consistently. It really is that simple at this point, because the pitching is giving you a chance to win every single game, whether it's the front end with the rotation or obviously the back end with Urseg, assuming he comes back from what could have been a really bad situation.
And Estevez.
And then Estevez has been as good as anybody. Honestly, he's been as good as a reliever in baseball so far this season.
Yeah, I mean, he's got 5 saves and a sub-1 ERA. You're not really gonna. What could you do some more? You can't ask the pitching to do more. Honestly, you should be asking them to do less. You're already overextended the ask. The Royals, that was the first time they had scored 4 runs in a game in like 2 weeks. They've only scored above 4 runs twice. One was in the 3rd game of the season against the Milwaukee Brewers, and one was like April 4th, I think is what I looked up, so almost 3 weeks ago. And that's the problem. It's everybody.
A lot of people say
it's everybody. It's that the entire offense is cold at once. Normally you can hide one guy. We wouldn't even be talking about it if one guy was cold and they were still winning baseball games. The problem is that it's together.
Yeah.
It's everyone but Bobby,
of course,
and Michael.
No, someone said the thing to turn around the offense is Drew making his way out to the K. He hasn't been there yet this year. They think you're the solution.
Have you been? You've been to the K.
No,
You've been to
not this year.
Kaufman
You haven't been there this year yet. You get there this year, they think you can turn around. You can show up tomorrow night, offense clicks, and you get it's all you.
It's gorgeous tomorrow.
It's
Why don't
all
you get
you.
out there?
I'm thinking about going tomorrow night.
It is supposed to be a really nice day.
Is there a giveaway?
Wednesday theme ticket is Irish Heritage special bobblehead. You gotta have a theme ticket on Wednesday. Tomorrow
What's the
night,
bobblehead? Is it like Slugger?
and he's just in green, kind of.
Okay.
Tomorrow's a Trapper hat giveaway.
Right up your alley. Right up your alley.
You do like hats.
That's right up your alley, man. The weather is going to be gorgeous.
I've never seen Drew wear a Trapper hat. Like, that's the kind like Jason Kelsey was wearing on Sunday Night Football, right?
You mean like a bucket hat?
No. Like the one with like the fuzzy earmuffs, dude. That's a Trapper hat.
Oh, no. Yeah. It's.
I think, right?
A Trapper hat, yes. Yeah.
I don't know.
It's got the fur, kind of like the fur. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or like Elmer Fudd. Does that help?
No.
With the long, like
hunting
it's
wabbits.
That kind of hat. Yeah.
Hunting wabbits. Okay.
They're called Trapper hats because they were worn by
Trappers.
That makes sense.
See, Drew?
They
See
needed
how
their
this all
ears to
works?
stay
You
warm.
learn something new every day, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
Just another quick plea here. If you work for the Royals and handle the hot dog derby, I would like to race on Sunday.
Do not allow him.
I'll be out
Don't
there
allow
for
it.
UMKC Day. I don't know why you wouldn't want a Rue
He's 0
to
for
be
4.
a part. to be a part of the race. I don't know why you wouldn't want to rue. My time to finally win the race could be this Sunday. I'm going to bully my way.
They should make you race
summer.
against one of your students.
I'll race every
That'd be
homestand
great.
if they want. Oh, student,
Race
God,
one of
in
your
their
students.
20s.
Especially the one that's a basketball player. Is he showing up in class?
He was gone this previous class.
Mm-hmm.
He did say I'll see you Monday though. You know, he recently told me I'll see you Monday.
You can hop in that portal, get away from your class.
Why would that have to do with my class? That had nothing to do with my, that would be basketball related, I assume.
Get in that portal. He's done with your class.
Yeah.
Your class is driving away from UMKC.
I hope not. He's too tall. Basketball player. You can only be like 6'4" or 6'3". They got like a height limit for those things. You can't be, be playing power forward.
Sounds
for
like
D1
a lot of excuses. A lot of excuses for this.
Not excuses. I said I'll race. Doesn't matter if they can whoever. I don't back down from the race, even if I know I'm going to lose.
Yeah, I'll give you that.
I'll race every homestand if they let me. I'll race every single homestand until I win.
That would be like the touring circus.
That's right.
Can
That's right.
Cody Tapp finally win? That's what
It's like the opposite of racing the freeze.
That's right. It
At the
becomes
Atlanta Braves games.
It becomes really sad and depressing very quickly.
It's not can you beat Cody Tapp? It's can Cody Tapp beat you? That is the bit.
One of those times let's admit, one of those times I'd accidentally at least trip somebody, wouldn't I?
It's going to be senior citizen night, someone says at the K, and you're going to lose to some 80-year-old.
Just smokes
hot dog
me.
derby.
Just some 80-year-old. He's like, I fought in 2 wars, and just like outruns me in a hurry. You're like, damn, well, you're a badass. It is what it is.
We got to one earlier. You guys want to get to a new mock
Let's
draft?
do it.
Yeah. I mean, it is draft week. So if we're going to do multiple mock drafts in a day, draft week feels like the time. So yes.
All right, we're going to go to Chad Ryder of NFL.com.
He's on tonight with Bink, right?
Yes, he will be on with Bink and Chris this evening right here on 96.5 The Fan starting at 6 p.m.
All right, so this is a 7-rounder as well from Chad Ryder.
That's a lot of picks, man.
This is interesting.
I think I'd get bored. I'd just start copying someone else's by the time I got to the end of it. I'm not doing 7 rounds.
Says the professor.
I don't make them write papers.
Go ahead, Drew.
It's got to turn in podcasts, man.
So he has a trade that the Chiefs make with the Baltimore Ravens.
At 31?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
Essentially, what this trade is they swap first and second round picks, and then they give up 95. So the Chiefs all of a sudden would have 27 in the first round rather than 31, 59 instead of 60.
It's not terrible.
So at 27, you might say, well, who do they trade up for? Ariante Ursary, offensive tackle from Minnesota.
Is Ursary going in the first?
He's right around that fringe, like he's that fringe of
Depends
late
on the
first, early second.
Damn, they got
on
to
the
trade
tackle
up
stuff.
for Ursary now? Oof.
So,
all right. I don't love having to trade up for him, but if they view him as the long-term answer, okay.
So they trade up to 27 to get him, and then as I said, they trade or they swap picks again in the second round, which means they have 59. They take Landon Jackson out of Arkansas, edge rusher. We've had him mocked before to the Chiefs. A lot of people like his motor. That was the big thing. High motor for the edge guy.
If the Chiefs trade up and it's for a tackle and it's not Josh Simmons, then clearly what it means is despite all the talk about defensive line, which they can still draft in the second round, that
Which
they
they're
were
doing
dead
this
set. No matter what, they were drafting an offensive lineman. They're fine with having a developmental year. They want to go into 2026 with an option of Wanye Morris as a right tackle, Jalen Moore as a left or right tackle. In this case, Ursary, left tackle or right. Like they want to have 3 options at tackle in 2026. That's what that would mean if they draft tackle in the first round, whether it's Simmons and certainly even if it's the local product.
So by this point, Simmons is gone in the mock draft. Kelvin Banks is gone in this mock draft. One name that's not Josh Connerly Jr., he doesn't have going until 38 to the Patriots in the second round. So do you like Ursary more or do you like Connerly more? I don't know if that's up for debate in terms of the decision making. But anyways, again, at 59, Landon Jackson, edge rusher out of Arkansas. In round 3, again, they only get the pick 66 because they traded 95 to Baltimore in this mock. Darius Alexander, another name that we've seen come up. Chad Ryder's got them taking the defensive tackle out of Toledo with pick 66. So
the running back's going to be later then, I guess, huh?
Running back they're going to be later. Again, no trades regarding any further rounds, but 133 is the next pick that they have. This is a new name. Running back, Jarquez Hunter out of Auburn.
What? Okay.
5'9", 204. His RAS score was 21st out of all running backs.
That's a new name, though.
4.40.
21st out of all running backs this year or all time, like last 15 years?
Oh, no, it is in 2020. His combine rank. His combine rank was 21st out of all the running backs in this draft.
That feels like the opposite of what I wanted.
4.40.
So
First team All SEC. Round projection, round 5 through 6, according to Lance Zierlein.
So it's a little bit of a reach.
Known for his character and work ethic.
Hey.
Squat rack warrior. Immense power in his lower half.
Squat rack warrior is quite...
An AFC scout said, quote, really authentic guy, spends a lot of time on football. Impossible not to love his toughness and contact production.
So this guy so Bink
just
should be
a good
fan of this
dude,
guy.
I guess. Just a good dude, huh?
Bink should be a fan of this guy then, because he just loves football, is what it is. Like he's a football guy. Interesting. Some running backs to go after him. Brishard Smith, running back out of SMU. A name that I think is one to watch maybe in the later rounds if they don't take one, like around 4 or 5, because of what Brett Veach said about the returners. Jordan James out of Oregon. He's a guy that was really good in the return game, replaced Bucky Irving, essentially, when he left Oregon. Maybe that's a name to watch. I feel like the return thing is really not necessarily a tell. Like, if they don't take Amarian Hampton or they don't go early, if they think 3rd to 5th round is the window, Tootin and Jordan James have punt return and kick return experience. By the sounds of what Brett Veach said, guys, it makes it seem like they're going to go in that range.
Jordan James... comp is Damian Pierce, round 4 projection. That's what they mentioned for him overall. But he athletically was 22nd, so he's actually one spot worse than
Hunter.
So just looking for the worst athletes at running back in the draft?
Worse, but they're just,
In regards to the 7th round as well, just to finish things up, Caleb Rogers, the guard, a guard out of Texas Tech, they have taken at 226. Further on down with the final 2 picks that the Chiefs would have in this is they take Joaquin Davis, NC Central, HBCU, shout out, wide receiver. And then with Mr. Relevant, Eugene Asante, linebacker out of Auburn.
Mr. Irrelevant.
2 Auburn Tigers in this mock draft.
It's to go to somewhere in California, we learned.
What did Bink say, San Diego?
No, it wasn't San Diego. It was, God, where was it?
No?
I don't know. I think it wasn't, I don't remember now.
Mr. Irrelevant for Newport Beach.
Newport Beach. I was looking at the rest of this draft because I am most curious because this is how it shakes down to the Chiefs. They have Genty going 4th in this one. They have Sanders going to the Raiders at 6.
Oh, really? Okay, so Geno...
I mean, they only have a couple of years of Geno. It's not like they got like a long-term answer.
So Shador's going to sit at least a year behind
That might be
Geno
the,
Smith.
that might be the sneaky team, other than the Saints, or other than the ones that we mentioned. No, we talked about it earlier. The Raiders, maybe.
Yeah, Pete Carroll. Did you guys see on Friday or Saturday press conference with him and SpyTech and their GM? And like they were joking.
I know it sounds like something that Bill
Belichick
was involved in.
Yeah. SpyTech's the last name. Of course, Brady liked him. And when you look at the press conference they had, the reporter asked about Genty, and Pete Carroll leans in. He's like, to his GM on purpose, make sure all the cameras and the microphones caught it. And he's like, be careful now. Like they're making it so obvious that they want Genty. That makes me wonder, is what Drew's saying with this pick, where it's like, no, they actually don't like Genty at all, or they like him, but they're not going to take him, and it's a surprise. But it's weird with where they're picking. Unless you think the Patriots or Jags are taking Genty, there's nobody the Raiders should be worried about drafting Genty before they would have a chance, right?
Yeah, I would assume.
I think so.
Unless maybe.
I mean, I'm assuming there are like 3 or 4 teams that want Genty.
Would he go to the Panthers? I don't know if the Panthers would even. I don't even know. If they have a lot of needs.
If you're sticking with Bryce Young, but if you're, no offense, same thing. If you're sticking with Bryce Young, why not give him maximum talent? Why not make his life as easy as humanly possible? At least Genty does that. He takes all the heat, not all, but he takes a huge chunk of the heat off of him. Like if I'm sticking with I could still make the argument you should just move on from Bryce Young. Wait, you got 8 games and he was the number 1 overall.
Move on from him.
Like
move on for who?
Well, they'd have to draft somebody.
But for who?
Well,
I think they're all in on Bryce Young now. He actually showed something. And in this year's draft class, like it's not like Arch Manning's in this draft. Move on from Bryce Young for Shador Sanders or for Jackson Dart? No.
Look, I think I'm not saying I do it. I don't know why you couldn't make the argument. Okay. The guy had 15 touchdowns and 9 interceptions in 12 games last year. It's
Based on how he
I'm not
finished,
exactly like, oh man, nothing I better do to hold on to Bryce Young as much. He definitely showed more than he did in year 1. Not arguing that for sure. But
I
it's
think
like
that's why
there's
you
still
keep
like
him.
massive question
Well,
marks.
yeah, nobody's saying he's Jaden Daniels now, where it's just case closed, like we know, and CJ Stroud. No, nobody's saying that. But like he's not the answer kind of thing. I think we've seen enough to know that like he's going to be their quarterback for a while. To what extent does he get to? We'll find out. But anyway, coming up next, let's get to what's trending right here on Cody and Gold.
This is Cody and Gold on your home for Kansas City sports. 96.5, The Fan. Brought to you by Heartland Men's Health, the leader in men's sexual health. Thousands of men have been successfully treated for low T, ED, and more, all with discretion and compassion. Make your appointment at heartlandmenshealth.com.
Technology is the future of every industry, and at Centric, they provide a technical foundation to help you launch a career not in years, but in as little as 4 months.
When you look around, a lot of this is like, hey, you're getting ready to graduate. You're like, maybe I don't want to go to a 5-year traditional school, 4-year traditional school, and I want to go through this program that allows me to get into my career faster. That's why they say IT is the future of Kansas City, and why Russ Mondry, who has been there a really long time, right? As in longer than you could imagine, and wants to walk you through this stuff so you make sure you're comfortable.
Yeah, they're with you throughout the entire process, from the classroom to your interview. They're with you every step of the journey, and they help you get there. They help you prepare for, find, and land your first job to start your new IT career. Go to Centric.com.
Are you prepared for the change in seasons? Take advantage of Hamilton Plumbing, Heating, AC, and Router's $69 seasonal HVAC tune-up deal to help prevent costly breakdowns and ensure your heating or cooling system is running at peak efficiency. Over 40 years experience and more than 8,000 5-star reviews are great reasons to trust Hamilton. Our licensed technicians and exceptional service guarantee will give you peace of mind. Visit callhamilton.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 2025-11121.
We're talking with Dr. David Bach, board-certified urologist at Kansas City Urology Care. What's the most important thing men should know about prostate cancer?
I would strongly recommend PSA testing. It's a simple blood test. It's inexpensive, and basically every male over 50 should be having this PSA once a year. Prostate cancer is the second leading cancer killer of men.
And why should they go to KCUC?
We not only treat more prostate cancer than anyone else in this part of the country, we also start with cutting-edge diagnostics to offer the most precise diagnoses of prostate cancer using ultrasounds and MRI. We can offer surgical, medical, and radiation types of treatments. And even for men who require additional therapies, we're able to offer all that at a single site.
Get your PSA level tested by the experts. Kansas City Urology Care. At KCUC, you see the best in KC.
To make an appointment, visit appointments.kcuc.com.
BetMGM is making your next golf tournament winner bets more exciting with Second Chance. What's Second Chance? Ever bet on your favorite golfer to win a tournament only to see them miss the green? Well, with BetMGM's Second Chance promotion, you'll get your stake back in cash if your tournament winner bet finishes in second instead. That's right. Simply bet on any player to win a scheduled golf tournament during a promotional week. If you're right, you win. But if your pick finishes in second instead of first, you get your stake back in cash. Watch your favorite players go for the win all season long and bet knowing you'll get your stake back if they finish second. Log in today and make your picks with confidence with BetMGM. BetMGM and GameSense remind you to play responsibly. See BetMGM.com for terms. 21 plus only. Kansas only. Existing customer offer. Subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards paid back in unrestricted withdrawable funds. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. In partnership with Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel.
Looking for the best food, drinks, and game day vibes? The Landing Eatery and Pub in Liberty has you covered. Happy hour Monday through Friday, 3 to 7 p.m. with great drink specials. Game day buckets, 5 beers or seltzers. Keep the party going Saturday and all day Sunday. Catch every play on over 68 TVs while enjoying our massive 102-item menu. Love live music? Our neon-lit smoking patio has bands Thursday through Sunday. Don't miss out. Check out our daily specials at landingeateryandpub.com.
Honey, it's me, your wife. Spring is here, and our house desperately needs the experts at Powell Exteriors Casey for siding, windows, entry doors, beautiful decks, patio covers, roofs, and more. Get ready for summer at powellkc.com.
Every morning, we rise and shine, make breakfast, and brush away the night's rest. These routines help us start the day off right. Nature-Made vitamins are a simple step in that daily care regimen. multivitamins with daily essentials, clinically studied probiotics for gut health support, magnesium to help relax the body. Nature Made is made to care for you every day. These statements have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. These products are not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
Here is your Game of the Week, presented by Hyundai. Baseball is in full swing as summer is quickly approaching. Two of the hottest teams in baseball right now will face off as Toronto will head to New York in a heated divisional battle. The lead in the division is narrow, but both of these teams will hope to rely on their all-star sluggers to lead the way to a series win through the weekend. Will the newly named USA Baseball captain lead the way, or will the legacy first baseman in Toronto come away with the series? Don't let the urge to sing along to that catchy tune distract you from that truck drifting toward your lane or that lane-splitting biker creeping up beside you. Fortunately, every Hyundai offers available class-exclusive advanced safety features that can alert you to potential dangers around you, and Hyundai has over 130 IIHS Top Safety Awards since 2006. Because Hyundai is always working to ensure the road doesn't get you, IIHS Top Safety Awards include Top Safety Pick and Top Safety Pick Plus Awards to Hyundai vehicles from 2006 to 2025.
Paid for by government. Did you hear? A recent stash of $10 gold Liberty coins from the 1800s has been found. These gorgeous gold coins are as bright and shiny as the day they were struck in the late 1800s, and less than 200 of these gold coins are available. Coin experts are calling this gold find an incredible opportunity. Call 1-800-386-7194, and you are guaranteed a $10 gold Liberty coin minted by the U.S. Mint in the 1800s. But with extremely limited availability, you must call now. These gold Liberty coins from the 1800s are still in uncirculated condition. That is history you can hold in your hand. To learn more, call 1-800-386-7194. Call now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package, a $40 value, free with every order. Call 1-800-386-7194 now to secure your $10 Gold Liberty coins dated from the 1800s before they sell out. That's 1-800-386-7194.
The technicians you can trust with your house keys. Anthony Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Electric.
Clog drain? Our experts clear tough clogs fast and include a free camera inspection, so you have confidence that your pipes are flowing freely. Unclog your drain for just $74. Schedule today at anthonyphce.com.
You're listening to 96.5 The Fan from the Mission Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling Studios. What's trending?
What's Trending is presented by Baker University, where graduates earn higher salaries and land jobs faster than any other university in Kansas. Apply today at bakeru.edu. An off day for the Royals today. They had played 17 straight games. They're coming off a road trip in which they were just 2-8. They salvaged the final game of their series against the Tigers yesterday. Much, much needed to snap the 6-game losing streak. They're back at it tomorrow out at Kauffman Stadium when the Colorado Rockies come to town. And the Rockies are worse offensively than the Royals.
The only team worse offensively than the Royals at the moment. Ideally, things will start heading in a good direction for the Royals starting tomorrow night. Great timing. Get to Targ Skubal, get back to home base, get a day off, right? Go kick it for a little bit, have dinner with the missus, whatever you need to do. Just relax a little bit. Next up on What's Trending, the NBA playoffs underway officially, out of the play-in tournament and into the actual field. Stink over the weekend. They were bad.
Yes.
The Warriors crushed the Rockets. Cavs are up 1-0 in the Heat. That game wasn't close. Thunder won by 50 over the Grizzlies. Probably the most surprising not close game was how easily the Timberwolves handled the Lakers. Luka Doncic scored 40 points, and it did not matter, to be clear. That game still was not close. So a rough start to the NBA playoffs. Hopefully those games will get closer a little bit later on. But yeah, the start to it miserable. Not a single close game, honestly.
Yeah.
The Steph shot was the most recognizable thing of the entire week.
The Nuggets, Clippers, Christian Brown. With a huge shot in overtime. That was obviously the best game of the weekend. It's not even close. The rest, not competitive so far. Very early, remember, the playoffs for the NBA go on for 2 months, so 2.5 months. We got plenty of chance for some great games. Elsewhere, the Eagles and their center, Cam Jurgens, reached an agreement today on a 4-year, $68 million extension. That includes $39.4 million guaranteed, according to Adam Schefter. That keeps him in Philly through the 2029 season. So they go from a future Hall of Famer and Jason Kelce to Cam Jurgens. Not bad. Not bad at the center position. We know how crucial that is for what they try to run, especially if the tush push is still a thing by the time the NFL season starts.
Not quite as impressive as, like going from quarterback to quarterback, but still pretty impressive overall. Next up on What's Trending, Sporting Kansas City and the KC Current both got wins over the weekend. The Current are the only undefeated team left in the NWSL after the Orlando Pride went down 1-0 in their match. Temo with no goals for 2 straight games. That might be the first time ever as a member of the KC Current, but they still won. Didn't matter. They're off to a 5-0 start this season. They're off to just simply put, and obviously Sporting hadn't won in like a year, so anytime they get a win, it feels nice.
A couple wins here recently for Sporting Kansas City.
Yeah, overall, pretty good.
That is what's trending here on Cody and Gold. And yeah, don't forget, Cody and Gold road trip. Less than 2 weeks away. A week from this Saturday, all right? A week from this Saturday.
Like 115 people probably? I saw some more people sign up today.
Yeah, I'll get an updated count. I think we're around 110 listeners scheduled to join us in Springfield to watch Cags for our Cody and Gold road trip. When we head down to Springfield as the Northwest Arkansas Naturals take on the Springfield Cardinals. That's the Cardinals AA affiliate. If you want to go out to Springfield and join us, sit in the same sections, if you go to our website, 965thefan.com, you'll see on the homepage the Cody and Gold Road Trip logo. You click there. We got a special $10 ticket deal, and make sure you get the seats right by everybody else that's going down there. Make sure you do that first. And then if you want one of those CAGS T-shirts and you're going on the road trip, you got to come by Harbell's Bar and Grill to pick one up before the game. We'll be there starting at 3:30 in the afternoon on that Saturday. But also just text in to 913-586-7965 or go on Twitter and DM Cody at CodyBTap or at Alex Gold, myself. And we'll make sure we get you the ticket order the T-shirt order form. The T-shirt order form. And you have to have that order in by Wednesday. That's when we'll put in the orders. So you want to make sure you get that taken care of. So that way everybody's rocking the same CAG shirt.
For pickup in Springfield. And look, yeah, we'd like you to wear it because someone's throwing out the first pitch in this group. We want you representing the group. We don't know who yet, but they told us we can get somebody out of the group. We're going to try to select it randomly and give someone an opportunity. Somebody in the listener group will throw it out. Yep. Not me, Alex, or Drew.
Yeah, Drew tried to take bribes. I said, no, Drew, we cannot do that. Drew wanted to do bribes for this. I said we cannot take bribes for whoever's throwing out the first pitch. It's completely random. So we made sure we kept it pretty fair. I'm sure somebody would. But we're making it fair. We're making it very fair.
It's going to be a good time. I'm really looking forward to it. We'll see you out there. If you need any more information, again, just hit us up. We'll make sure to get you any of that information. One guy you'd mentioned earlier, and this is where I have a hard time being too negative, I'll say, on where the Royals are, because fundamentally the thing that is going to make it easiest for them to win, Gold, is the idea that they can pitch. And one guy you'd pointed out earlier, which obviously stands out in this, is Carlos Estevez, because Urseg is doing his job. Lynch has been doing his job. Before he got hurt, Hunter Harvey was doing his. But Carlos is pitching like one of, if not, he's pitching like a top 3 closer in baseball right now. I understand that it came with some wild moments earlier on, but he appears to be picking up steam as this thing chugs around a little bit. He's closing out almost every opportunity he's given, and he hasn't had that many over the last week. But last night when they needed him, I mean, they were up 1 run. They got their run home from second. They needed him to strand a guy at second that he didn't even put on there, and he was able to get the save for this team. He has been an excellent, so far, free agent signing. And the back end of the bullpen coupled with the starting rotation is what makes me think that the record will start reflecting closer to what I think their pitching is doing.
They have a legit closer. There's no doubt. There's no doubt about that. Like, they went out and paid some good money to make sure they had that, and he's lived up to it. And I still think he wasn't 100% right in spring training, didn't get the full workload because of it, and now you're starting to see him get in a groove. And when you have 9 wins on the year and he's responsible for 1 win and 5 saves, that's think about the impact he's had on the first 9 wins on the season. I mean, that's big time. So
the fact that he's saved half of them, sure.
Yeah, that's big time. And, he's just a vet that has been in every situation possible in the big leagues, right? Like, nothing is going to rattle him. I think it's very clear, whether it's extra innings where a runner's obviously already on second base and you walk a guy and then you feel like, oh boy, here we go. He's calm, right? His demeanor's calm. Also, he's becoming a bit of a fan favorite, not just because of his
celebration
performance, but because of the celebration and what he's got going on. Everybody's starting to learn more about Dragon Ball Z because of it. And
have you been studying up on your Dragon Ball Z?
I mean, I know that one particular move, I guess you would say, but and it's definitely, I always laugh when Rex Hudler at the end of every game does it. Carlos Estevez is the most sure thing as a closer they've had since somebody like Ian Kennedy. And I know you're like, Ian Kennedy, remember when Ian Kennedy converted from a starting pitcher, then became a closer, and he was really, really effective for this team. He was disappointing as a starter, making all the money, went to the bullpen, and he was really, really good as a closer. This is the first time they've had someone like that. I know you'll say, well, what about Lucas Erceg?
It's so crazy to remember
Lucas
Ian Kennedy.
Erceg,
He was a really good closer that one year.
But Lucas Erceg is not the closer for this team. He is exceptional at putting out fires. He's someone that if you are in the most high leverage spot in the 7th or 8th inning, it's going to be him. But Carlos Estevez is a closer for the 2025 Royals. And that is, if he stays healthy, that's who will be the closer throughout this entire season.
Yeah, I think so. And that honestly, it's a weird mix because you and I have talked about this. A lot of teams don't do that. They don't necessarily just do like person for person, like across the board. Yeah, we're good, whatever it is, Gold. And they're just like, it's one closer. They kind of bounce it around. But because they have Erceg, they don't have to use their closer just in leverage. Their closer can close. And the leverage guy can be Erceg. He can just pitch wherever. He can pitch in the highest moment. He can pitch against 2, 3, 4 in the 7th or 3, 4, 5 in the 8th or in the 6th inning if the bases are loaded and they want him to go 4 outs. They can do all of those things and cover their end. So it makes a lot of sense that that's available to them, and it's kind of a perfect fit. I've been really impressed. Like, I get in Canada, I think it'd been a good trade so far. Renfro's one of the worst free agent signings JJ's made, but that's in a short list of bad free agent signings. We have to admit that one of his strengths at this point, right? The trades is one. I mean, that's just like that's a no-doubter. The trades have generally really gone their way. But the free agent signings, he hasn't just like lit money on fire and then walked away. Renfro's probably the closest to that so far, right? And outside of that, where have the issues been? This is yet another hit.
Yeah, no doubt.
They could have signed Profar or Santander, both who were off. One guy's suspended for half the season, and the other guy's off to a bad start. Doesn't mean it'll be a bad contract, but they didn't want to give him 4 years. So, like, to this point, the way they spent their money this offseason looks like it worked great. I mean, unless you think he's just going to fall off the planet.
Look, work great, but there's plenty of criticism among fans, though, that they still did not do enough, right?
Yeah,
and I think it's a fair criticism so far with what's happening. It's very clear that if you could go and look, I understand they tried. Like they tried, but deep down, if we're being honest with how we evaluate things, that's not how the game works in terms of fans viewing your success or not. You know, if you say, well, we tried to go get, look, if it was the Chiefs or whatever, if the Chiefs told you, well, we tried to go get a left tackle, but they didn't, it still is a problem. Just because you tried doesn't mean fans should be like, oh, well, shucks, they give it a good try.
It's better than not being aware of the problem, I guess.
For sure, they were clearly aware of it, but ultimately you have to solve the problem. It's great that you can evaluate it. You got to solve it. Easier said than done, I understand. And yes, they did try, and maybe if the team can get going here, they'll have an opportunity to also fix it via the trade market in the middle of the season. But the only way that happens is if this team gets going, right? Otherwise, they will be sellers, and it won't matter anyway.
That'd be depressing.
But we're a long ways away from that. I really
you don't want to talk about who they'd sell. No, I do not.
That's not a fun conversation. It's not a realistic one as far as I'm concerned. On April 21st. Thinking of general managers, though, away from baseball that just doesn't get it. Let me tell you a GM that doesn't get it. Okay. How about Dallas Mavericks GM Nico Harrison? We all know he was the GM that traded Luka Doncic.
He keeps stepping in. He just do something else
yes,
stupid?
He's having his postseason press conference right now, live. Right now, I'm watching clips of it. He admitted during this press conference, I wasn't aware that Luka was important to this extent to the fans. I didn't quite know it to what level. I did know that Luka was. I did know that Luka was important to the fan base. I didn't quite know it was to what level. I mean, come on, dude. You're just. I don't know how the Mavericks don't. I don't know how the Mavericks don't fire this dude anyway. You traded away Luka, and now you're like, oh, I didn't know that our biggest superstar on the team was important to our fans. I didn't know they'd be upset.
The biggest star that we've had since Dirk Nowitzki.
If I were the owner, I'd fire him while he stood at that table. Like, get your ass out of here.
Wasn't he asked?
You're done.
I think he was Gold. I don't know if you. I don't know if this is a similar clip. I think I saw a clip as well that somebody asked him why he shouldn't be fired. I think somebody asked him that question directly.
That's a hell of a question.
I mean, it's not wrong.
It had to have followed that up.
Look,
you can't openly admit that.
I didn't know how important the superstar player on our team was to the fans. If they're the best player on the team, they mean something to the fans, just automatically. What did you think? There was going to be no blowback from trading away a guy as young as he is who scores 30 points a game?
You see the new allegation stuff, though? Like, basically, some of this stuff is coming out. ESPN, McMahon had an article about what was happening before. This is from ESPN. A few days after returning to Dallas from a Hall of Fame event when the franchise had endured a frustrating losing season on a high from honoring Dirk Nowitzki, Harrison informed Smith, which is another member of the front office, I believe, that it wasn't possible to meet in person. He had gone to his hometown Ohio to be at the side of his gravely ill mother. Harrison set up a video conference meeting instead. Goes on to say Smith was then informed that his services in Dallas were no longer needed, ending a nearly 2-decade tenure with the franchise. The reason for the dismissal centered on Smith being too negative, according to sources briefed on the discussion. He went on to say he was 100% threatened by him, a team source told ESPN, referring to Harrison's concern that Smith's voice carried too much weight. He's going to show that I'm in charge and nobody else can question that. So it just sounds like Nico Harrison was on a power trip, got rid of this other guy with the franchise, and then he also traded away Luka Doncic.
He's unraveling. Just fire him. I mean, he's doing destructive things at this point to your organization. Just let him go. This isn't even like
the only way it could
that
be,
crazy.
The only way it could be salvageable is they have a 1.8% chance to get the #1 overall pick, and it wouldn't even.
I don't want him doing it.
No, it wouldn't even be Nico Harrison's doing. But if they get Cooper Flagg, that might be the only thing, along with Kyrie getting healthy, because Kyrie hasn't been healthy for the last month and a half.
If you get the #1 overall pick, any GM can take Cooper Flagg. Drew?
Well, you would think.
I'd be a pretty bad GM in the NBA. I can take Cooper Flagg if you give me the #1 overall pick.
That's what I'm saying. He wouldn't deserve credit
successfully.
For it.
No,
he needs something else. He needs luck to break his way, like it never has.
Man, that's
for it to be a salvageable situation.
That is honestly. Sometimes it's not even this. It's how do you let that come out of your mouth? You know,
you can't say it publicly.
How? Yeah. How do you,
even if you feel that way, you can't say it publicly.
How do you say out loud? Hey, I didn't realize Luka was all that important to this team.
His answer to the question, Drew, you said he was asked why he shouldn't be fired by a member of the media. The quote he gave back, and this one's like, what is he supposed to say, right?
Sure.
But he said, I think I've done a really good job here. But also, like, what is he supposed to say? You know. But that was the first thing he said to response to that.
I don't think that was a good. You had to.
Unfortunately, he said, unfortunately. Quote, unfortunately, I'm super stubborn, so someone telling me to do something doesn't work too well for me.
That's another weird thing to admit.
This guy,
so he's just going to throw up his hands and say, you know, sometimes I step on my own foot, and
What a disaster this press conference was, and I haven't seen our quotes. I haven't obviously watched the whole thing. What a disaster! Nervous, you know, he's out here.
Oh, dude, I mean, you imagine how threatened you feel right now.
He knows he's about to get fired.
This was like a bear's about to attack you, and you're just like trying anything not to die.
It's not like Cuban's the GM anymore. It's not like Cuban's in charge.
Oh, well, no. The trade would never have happened with Mark Cuban in charge, let's be real.
And I'll also be honest, I don't know if Harrison would have been fired. Even if it was made, Cuban would have been fired by now.
Yes. Everyone should fire him. They shouldn't let him leave the facility today. Like, change his key card. He can't talk like... Look, it's bad enough to make the trade. That's pretty much a fireable offense in my opinion anyway.
It was a really bad decision, yeah.
But you can't also sound like a doofus after doing the doofus thing, right? You got to sound like you got a plan and you knew what you thought of every conceivable thing before you traded Luka. Not, oopsie, I forgot the fans like him. You have to know that. You have to know the blowback that's coming when you trade him. You have to be aware. You have to at least pretend to be aware of those things.
It sounds like he was only thinking of what Nico Harrison wanted in that situation and didn't think about anybody else in that, because there's no way, I don't know how long he's been the GM for, but there's no way that he didn't understand how important Luka was after they made the finals last year. Based on, he actually made some good moves to help them.
It's so crazy.
He made some good moves that helped them get to the finals, getting Daniel Gafford and PJ Washington, and then he just ruined it all.
Finals, then one and done playing around.
Was he the person who took the beer from Luka?
I don't think it was him.
Somebody else.
It was somebody else.
Okay. But that feels like it was an edict from on high, like from him.
Yeah.
He had something to get Luka's work ethic.
I think it was Michael Finley, actually, who was a
took the
Mavs
beer.
legend.
That was an all-time moment. Dude, he just walks past him, snags his beer, and Luka looks at his hand. He's like, okay, damn.
And again, even let's say he does have some sort of a concerning problem regarding the eating or whatever the case is. When you see him drop 40 points, it doesn't matter. And I understand that they couldn't get him back into the shape that he was when they drafted him. But if he's still doing what he was doing in that physical condition, there's no way that you still make the decision to trade him. I did see, I think it was Windhorse maybe, that they're thinking that in the next 3 to 5 years, he's going to he's going to mess himself up so badly, or it's going to get bad enough where he can't physically play every night because of his physical condition. Like he can't.
Well, Anthony Davis can't do that now, so it's not like exactly like they traded for some sure thing physically.
Street clothes. Yeah, that's a good point.
I will say, I think you're probably more likely to get Luka to switch up his lifestyle, et cetera. Now, like I think the rest of his career, the benefit if you're the Lakers, you have a player that's trying to prove the Dallas Mavericks wrong every single day of the rest of his playing career. And I think that's powerful. And so if there was ever a way to convince a player to change his lifestyle and eating and all that, like I think there's a chance he'll actually buy into it now because he's going to try to give a middle finger to Nico Harrison the rest of his career, the rest of his life.
You would think so.